In the future, the Great Xia Kingdom will face an unprecedented descent of the supernatural. Countless terrifying demons and ghosts crawl out from the abyss, leaving the Exorcism Bureau completely helpless. Yet in the most dangerous restricted zone, a scene unfolds that defies all logic. A legendary, fearsome millennium-old vengeful spirit is huddled in the corner, shivering while washing stinky socks. The red-clad specter, capable of terrorizing an entire city, is forced to mop the floor until it sparkles. And the mastermind behind all this is none other than a young man draped in a striped bedsheet. He possesses no profound spiritual power, nor does he come from a renowned family of exorcists. He does not even know a single legitimate combat technique. Everything he does is just pure, unadulterated nonsense. When he shouts elephant leg kick, the system silently grants him the strength of a Buddha elephant. With a casual toss of a worn-out old slipper, he can swat away a despair-inducing second-rank male vampire. As long as you do not treat him like a normal person, he holds the hidden trump card to pin the gods to the ground. The supernatural entities can never understand how they ended up falling into the hands of such an eccentric madman. However, the beginning of it all traces back to that afternoon, the Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital. Recreation time had just begun, and two nurses guarding the patients were chatting away. Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital, outdoor recreation time. Two nurses guarding the patients gathered together. Did you hear? A drunkard died at the East Bridge. When he was found this morning, half of his body was missing. That is nothing. It is even scarier over in the South District. They say a little girl is knocking on doors house by house, and when the door opens, she asks if you are her mother. How come I have not heard about this? The news was blocked. People from the Exorcism Police Department went door to door to notify everyone not to open the door no matter who knocks at night. What if it is family outside? Then you have to choose. Do you want one person's life or the whole family's life? Chen Zhuo perked up his ears and listened to the nurse's conversation, wearing a striped bedsheet like an invisibility cloak. One foot had no sock. The other foot wore two socks. He stood up on the bench. Chen Zhuo cautiously scanned the people around him. After making sure it was safe, he buried his unevenly cut hair into the bedsheet. Inside the sheet, Chen Zhuo held a slipper in his right hand and poked at it with his left hand. Agent 1 dispatched to Earth, requesting connection to Headquarters. Headquarters, please respond if you copy, over. Earth has been occupied by ghosts. We can take this opportunity to launch a sneak attack from behind. Headquarters, please respond if you copy, over. After a long time without receiving a response, Chen Zhuo pulled open a corner of the bedsheet. No one noticed him, so he safely stuffed his communication device back into his pants. Chen Zhuo looked toward the chair and took a firm step toward the back of it. And then, Chen Zhuo fell headfirst like a planted onion and coincidentally hit his head on a rock. Some unknown mental patient yelled, "Time for the funeral feast, time for the funeral feast." The other patients followed suit, raising their hands above their heads and cheering gleefully while spinning in circles around Chen Zhuo. When Chen Zhuo woke up again, he was in a ward, and it was completely dark outside the window. System activated, detecting host's physical condition. Severe mental illness, do you accept treatment? Chen Zhuo rubbed his eyes and shook his head. The system panel remained completely motionless in front of him, showing excellent stability. Outrageous, those villains in white coats actually drugged me while I was sleeping. Despicable scoundrels, absolutely no martial ethics. Host, do you accept treatment? You are the mental patient, your whole family is a mental patient. Go treat your 18 generations of ancestors. Get lost, you are blocking me from absorbing the essence of the sun and moon. Host, treatment failed. Just as Chen Zhuo was sitting cross-legged on the hospital bed, practicing breathing techniques, the sound of dripping water came from outside the ward. Chen Zhuo could not fully immerse himself in his cultivation, so he pricked up his ears to listen to the sounds in the corridor. It sounded a bit like mopping, with very light footsteps. Who is not sleeping, and is out there mopping the floor in the middle of the night? Wait, it is my turn on duty tomorrow. Could it be that someone got the days wrong and is cleaning up for me? What a total idiot. Let me see which idiot is mopping the floor for me. The wards of the psychiatric hospital are locked before bedtime at night, so Chen Zhuo could only peek out through the small window on the door. In the pitch-black corridor outside, only under the moonlight could a figure be seen walking slowly. The footsteps were very slow, and every time the figure passed a ward, it would stop to take a look. This idiot is cleaning quite carefully. Chen Zhuo craned his neck, eagerly waiting. Finally, Chen Zhuo waited until the idiot arrived at his door. Separated by a piece of glass, outside the door was a pale, swollen face, all wrinkled as if it had been soaked in water for a long time, with water dripping from its messy hair. He could barely tell it was a woman. Never seen her before. Looking this hideous, she would definitely leave a deep impression. Could she be new here? System scanning. Female drought demon, early stage of Tier 2 vengeful ghost. Died by drowning, soul bound to the corpse, transformed into a demon. To hunt prey, she needs to make eye contact for more than 3 seconds. Based on the host's ability index, the system evaluates the danger level as extremely high and strongly recommends the host to close their eyes. The female drought demon's eyes moved mechanically, meeting Chen Zhu's disgusted gaze. Danger, host, please close your eyes as soon as possible. The thoughts of a mental patient are always different from those of normal people. Are you glaring at me? Are you despising me? Are you looking down on me? Chen Zhu pointed at the female drought demon outside the window and cursed. Do not think just because you are a woman when I get out, I will beat you up every time I see you. Still glaring? You are still glaring at me. With my hot temper, you think I cannot fix an ugly freak like you. The female drought demon suddenly grinned wickedly and looked away. The sound of metal dropping came from outside, and the already loose wooden door creaked open inward. The female drought demon wore a long white dress, and black water dripped from her body onto the floor. Seeing this, Chen Zhu lifted a foot, took off his slipper, and slapped it right onto the female drought demon's face. I am on duty tomorrow, and you make a floor full of black water. You are deliberately causing trouble for me. I will beat you to death. The female drought demon remained completely unmoved by the hit. High-level warning, host, please be careful to dodge. Chen Zhu raised his right hand, extended his index finger, and pointed at the female drought demon's eyes. I do not care if you are new here. Once you are here, you have to know the rules. I am going to teach you a lesson right now. Still glaring at me? Unconvinced, are not you? The female drought demon opened her mouth wide, her mouth tearing at the corners with strands of flesh connecting them, and a sharp shriek came from her throat. She was angry. She wanted to bite Chen Zhu's head off in one bite and squeeze his eyeballs out. The female drought demon opened her bloody maw and rushed toward Chen Zhu's head. The system, adhering to the principle of strengthening the host, is allocating a 1-minute energy burst for the host. Host, please, forget it. Chen Zhu just felt a burst of heat in his hand, and the hand holding the slipper slapped fiercely onto the female drought demon's face. When the slipper touched the female drought demon's face, it made a sizzling barbecue sound. The force was so great that it slapped the demon straight out of the ward. Chen Zhu carried his shoe, walked out of the ward, and turned to look at the corridor, which was covered in black water. You ugly freak, who told you to come? Chen Zhu raised his slipper and beat the female drought demon wildly. The female drought demon was beaten so badly that she trembled, hiding in the corner and not daring to move. Seeing that black water was still dripping from the hem of the female drought demon's dress, Chen Zhu pointed viciously at it. The female drought demon subconsciously gathered her dress, not daring to let another drop of water fall. Tamed by Chen Zhu, the female drought demon obediently followed his instructions, cleaning the corridor she had dirtied, and even went as far as breaking the locks of other wards to clean them as well. The sound of cleaning woke up some of the mental patients. Chen Zhu, does she listen to you? Can you let her wash my socks? Chen Zhu, have her wash my underwear too. When is she coming next time? I will save some dirty clothes for her to wash. Cleaning and scrubbing all night. It was not until dawn that NVBA finished the chores Chen Zhu had assigned her. After finishing, NVBA did not dare to leave. She stood by Chen Zhu's bed and gently nudged him while he was fast asleep. Chen Zhu was pushed awake and felt extremely annoyed. Are you blind? Cannot you see I am sleeping? NVBA pointed to the clean and tidy floor, signaling that she had finished the work. Chen Zhu yawned and took a perfunctory glance. You learned your lesson this time. NVBA nodded. Come once a week. Keep an eye on the duty roster. Clean up the room the night before my name appears on it. You hear me? NVBA nodded. Get lost. Chen Zhu flopped back down and went right back to sleeping with his mouth hanging open. Fearing that Chen Zhu might change his mind, NVBA hurried out of the ward, closing the door behind her. In the duty room, 2 doctors stared intently at the surveillance monitors, not daring to sleep all night or even breathe properly, terrified that the slightest noise would alert the ghost and cost them their lives. In the morning, Chen Zhu was woken up by a nurse. He opened his eyes to see a circle of white coats standing by his bed, along with several security guards in blue uniforms. Faces he did not recognize. They must be the new guards. They were not holding sticks, their uniforms looked pretty nice, and there was even a female guard. His gaze landed on Dr. Ayuan, who had given him injections before. His expression shifted to a grimace as he slumped into a sitting position. "You despicable coward, ambushing me while I was sleeping, you have no honor. Is the stuff in my head something you guys injected while I was asleep? You despicable, filthy creature." The director of the psychiatric hospital, Lee Kingshan, turned to the uniformed officers. "Officers, you see, he is a severe mental patient. He probably does not even know that what he beat up yesterday was a NVBA." Chen Zhu suddenly realized, "Oh, I should have guessed. To be able to go out and splash dirty water in the middle of the night, it must have been you guys who brought it here. You intentionally made my floor dirty just to make me do a day's work. Have you sunk this low and become this shameless?" The staff members being addressed as police officers looked at each other. Does he ever have a moment of clarity? The director shook his head helplessly. Anything that looks good attracts the gaze of the opposite sex, including the gaze of a mental patient. Chen Zhu's eyes fell on the policewoman. Her beautiful face, delicately sculpted features, a playful ponytail, and a figure whose merits were not hidden at all by the standard uniform. The policewoman coughed and took a small step back, avoiding Chen Zhu's burning gaze. System scanning. In Chen Zhu's eyes, the beautiful woman turned into a skeleton. There were small red dots moving right where her chest was. Zhang Yaoyu terminal breast cancer. Cause, long-term inhalation of yin energy. Those two little balls in your front are sick. Why did not you go see a doctor sooner? It is too late now. Zhang Yaoyu's face turned red instantly and she snapped, "Pervert." Embarrassed, she hid behind her colleague. A lunatic, what would he know about what can be said and what cannot? He even raised his voice and shouted, "I can help you treat your little balls, otherwise your little balls will shrivel up." The director felt awkward. That is just how his condition is. No one cared about what a mental patient had said, and the group marched out of the ward. Outside the ward, besides eating and sleeping, what does he do every day? He likes to pretend he is a master living in seclusion. When he is bored, he sits in the sun to cultivate, which has even caused him heat stroke. For the last few weeks, though, I have not seen him cultivating during the day. He has just been using a slipper to contact aliens. Aliens? Last month, the hospital organized a screening of an alien movie. That must have inspired him. In the psychiatric hospital at dawn, you could see medical staff busy everywhere. Waking up, washing, queuing for meals. These are the most ordinary things in the eyes of normal people. But in a psychiatric hospital, they are a massive undertaking. Fortunately, when it comes to eating, no one is more enthusiastic than Chen Zhu. In his eyes, eating is just as important as cultivation. In the food line, Chen Zhu is always the first one, holding his bowl with both hands as if receiving some kind of divine baptism. The service window slid open slowly, and Chen Zhu handed over his bowl with a sunny smile. 001 reporting, requesting headquarters to give me a few extra pieces of meat. It is you kid again, all right, Auntie will give you a few extra pieces of meat. Mental patients are just like ordinary people. Some are likable, some are annoying. Chen Zhu happens to be the former, which is why, even though he has no relatives, he is treated quite well in the hospital. Sitting in his designated seat, Chen Zhu straightened his back and stared straight ahead. This was his dining ritual. After just a few seconds, the ritual ended and he started eating. Congratulations to the host for successfully taming a NVBA. The system rewards you with one lucky draw. Due to the host's mental condition, the system has automatically drawn a K-Siddhigarbha exorcism talisman for you and taught you how to draw it. The sudden mechanical voice in his head startled Chen Zhu so much that a piece of meat fell off his chopsticks onto the floor. At the same time, a yellow talisman appeared out of thin air by Chen Zhu's hand. Chen Zhu picked up the K-Siddhigarbha exorcism talisman, toyed with it, bent down to pick up the piece of meat from the floor, and used the talisman to wipe it off. He popped the meat into his mouth, wadded the talisman into a ball, and inconspicuously tossed it under the table next to his, continuing to eat as if nothing had happened. System. After breakfast, Chen Zhu started his leisurely day. To ensure the safety of the psychiatric patients, Zhang Yaoyu and several other exorcism police officers began further deployments, installing exorcism equipment in every corner of the hospital. From a professional perspective, the surveillance footage showed that the damage Chen Zhu caused to the NVBA was only physical, and in existing records, NVBA have no senses. They cannot feel pain. This means Chen Zhu did not inflict any substantial harm on the NVBA. Based on this, it is very likely that the NVBA will return. In the afternoon, the exorcism police who finished installing the equipment sat on a bench in the yard to rest, while Chen Zhu played nearby. He wore a cotton jacket he had found somewhere, bundled up tight, with only a pair of underwear on his bottom half, and was running wildly around the courtyard like a madman. Behind him followed a nurse and 2 security guards. I'm a little winter sparrow, flying, flying, flying. Chen Jiu, stop running. Winter is over, summer is here, do not believe me. See if the sun is hot. Chen Jiu stopped in his tracks and looked up at the sun. Summer. Before he could finish, the guards pinned him to the ground and forcibly stripped off his cotton jacket. You group of mongrels, bullying others just because you have authority. Chen Jiu sat on the ground and cursed. No one paid him any mind, and it was not long before Chen Jiu switched into summer mode. Summer is here, I am going swimming. Without even giving the nurse time to react, he whipped off his clothes and pants, and in nothing but his underwear, dived into the sand pit doing a doggy paddle. Just then, a chubby mental patient walked by, spotted Chen Jiu's balled-up socks, picked them up, gave them a sniff, and tucked them into his pocket like they were a treasure. This scene was caught by the exorcism police not far away, and they all burst out laughing. Night fell. In the psychiatric hospital, it was just like usual. A bit of a commotion first, those needing sedatives got them, and those who needed to sleep went to bed. In the hallways after lights out, the sound of everyone snoring loudly made it not nearly as scary as one might imagine. All the staff hid in the duty room, watching the movement on the monitors. Chen Jiu went to sleep early today, but near midnight he suddenly woke up. After waking up, Chen Jiu sat cross-legged on the bed, his palms facing upward and resting on his knees, breathing in a very rhythmic pattern. Time ticked away, and 12 o'clock had just passed. Warning, warning, the system detects danger approaching. Chen Jiu remained calm, looking unfathomably mysterious. You have finally arrived. The exorcist police officer in front of the monitors was taken aback and instinctively checked the display of the exorcism equipment. 2 red marker dots appeared at the entrance of Kingshan Mental Hospital. Pull up the front gate cameras. The monitor showed 2 figures, 1 male and 1 female. The female was the demon that had come last night. The male had a pale, bloated face covered in moss. That face seemed to know someone was watching them and intentionally looked up through the camera to make eye contact with everyone in the duty room. Crack. The monitor screen went completely dark. That is not right. Why are there 2 of them? Oh no, the female demon brought backup. Look, they are about to walk into our sunlight array. The sunlight array, as the name suggests, was an exorcism device built to simulate sunlight, utilizing the principle that ghosts fear the sun. The male demon walked to the edge of the sunlight array, stopped, and mechanically shook his head, signaling the female demon to go first. The female demon was just as terrified as last night. She very reluctantly took a step and entered the sunlight array. The moment she made contact, beams of white light shot out from the sunlight array, hitting the female demon. The spots of light turned into small flames. The male demon stepped forward and shielded the female demon behind him. Only then did the female demon avoid being burned alive. The spots of light hit the male demon, but there was no reaction at all. Increase the power, push it to the maximum. Inside the sunlight array, the intensity of the light beams increased. Countless spots of light hit the male demon, and sparks could faintly be seen bursting from his body. Suddenly, all the devices emitting the light beams exploded simultaneously and spewed black smoke. Wherever they went, all the instruments were destroyed one by one, not even sparing the cameras. They are coming in, they are coming in. The 2 demons easily pushed down the large iron gate at the bottom of the inpatient building. The exorcist police could only check the situation through the cameras in front of them. It was obvious that the male demon was here to get revenge for the female demon. He did not stop at any room. Guided by the female demon, he went up to the floor where Chen Jiu was and came straight to the door of Chen Jiu's ward. With a single palm strike, the entire door collapsed inward. Chen Jiu, who was sitting cross-legged, sighed deeply. You are finally here. Headquarters has come to take me back. Chen Jiu looked up, relaxed and completely at ease with a smile on his face. 1 second. 2 seconds. 3 seconds. Why is it you? Where are my alien comrades? Chen Jiu ran out of bed, shuffled in his slippers to the door and looked around. Except for a puddle of black water on the ground, there was nothing. That is not right. The instructions from headquarters said they would pick me up tonight. Chen Jiu trotted back to the bed, took out his communication device, a large slipper from under the pillow, and called headquarters. 001 calling headquarters. The person sent by headquarters to pick me up has not arrived yet. Was there a mistake on the way? 001 calling headquarters. The person sent by headquarters to pick me up has not arrived yet. Was there a mistake on the way? Over. Putting down the large slipper, Chen Jiu looked at the female demon angrily. What are you doing here? You ruined my good thing. The female demon hid behind the male demon in fear. The male demon was a mid-stage Tier 2 vengeful ghost. He died by drowning, his corpse sinking to the bottom of the water for 1,000 years. His soul was bound to his body, transforming him into a demon. The male demon furiously oozed black water all over the floor. Wherever the black water went, it corroded everything. The system activated the defensive shield. The black water flowed around Chen Zhu's feet, completely corroding his bed, his blanket, his pillow, his toiletries, and even his only tool for contacting headquarters. Bang, bang, bang. Gunshots rang out from the direction of the door as the exorcist police arrived. The male demon slowly turned his body. The black water spread into the air, rushing straight at the exorcist police officers. It wrapped around their firing hands and threw them high into the air. The officers hit the ceiling and then fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Chen Zhu was pacing around anxiously. His only tool to contact headquarters was gone. His only tool to contact headquarters was gone. His only tool to contact headquarters was gone. I am so mad. I am so incredibly mad. Chen Zhu flew into a rage and looked around for a handy weapon, only to realize the room was completely empty with nothing left. He raised his fists. This was the only tool he could find. The system is enhancing the host's fists with the Crimson Flame Golden Sovereign Fist. Damn it, I am going to make you pay with your life. Diamond Great Strength Fist. Chen Zhu roared, rushed toward the male demon, and threw a punch straight at the demon's jaw. The moment they collided, the sound of a temple bell rang out, shaking the soul. The male demon was knocked back a few steps. Chen Zhu leaped up and raised his leg. The system is enhancing the host's leg strength with the Buddha elephant leg. Elephant kick. With one kick, he knocked over the fiercely charging male demon. The exorcist police outside the door hurriedly dodged, but even so, they were splashed with black water. Seeing Chen Zhu in midair, the male demon quickly waved his hands to signal surrender. Chen Zhu was in a fit of rage. How could he give the other party a chance to back out? He struck down with his palm. The Kesidigarbha exorcism talisman that Chen Zhu had thrown away earlier, still crumpled into a ball, appeared out of thin air in his palm. Flames visible to the naked eye spread from Chen Zhu's palm, and the surrounding temperature suddenly rose by dozens of degrees. With that palm strike, the male demon's body burst with billowing black blood, and he vanished from this world. The corridor was enveloped in a foul stench. Having destroyed the male demon, Chen Zhu walked toward the shivering female demon. The female demon quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed. Chen Zhu chopped down with his palm. The residual power of the Kesidigarbha exorcism talisman similarly blasted the female demon into a puddle of dirty water. The host has successfully killed a male demon, rewarding the host with a draw. An enhancement, never mind. Standing in the middle of the dirty water, the clothes on Chen Zhu's body looked as if they had been worn for hundreds of years, so decayed that they would crumble at the slightest movement. Oh dear, my communication device is gone. I cannot go back to my home planet. Chen Zhu stomped in the dirty water, screeching and yelling in exasperation. The next day, Inpatient Building 2 was locked down for renovations. Outside the courtyard, the mental patients, whose hair had been completely corroded away by the dirty water, were wearing brand new hospital gowns. Holding brand new toiletries in their hands and carrying brand new bedding on their backs, they were settled into new wards one by one. Look, I still have one eyebrow hair left. Me too, me too. Down there I have a few left, I will show you secretly. The nurse said, what are you two doing? Pull your pants up properly or you will not get any meat for lunch. Early in the morning, before he even had a chance to eat breakfast, Chen Zhu was led to the door of the director's office by his most familiar nurse. He pushed the door open to find more than a dozen officials in uniform sitting inside, all of them looking stern and expressionless. Chen Zhu stood at the doorway, frozen. Could it be that my true identity has been exposed? Are these foolish humans planning to harm me? Warning, Chen Zhu. There are your favorite chicken feet inside. Look, right there on the table, the nurse coaxed. Indeed, his favorite chicken feet were sitting right on the director's desk. However, his reason told him otherwise. This must be a trap. I must not throw my life away for the sake of a craving. Chen Zhu, do not you want the chicken feet anymore? The nurse sounded anxious as she tried to push Chen Zhu into the room. Chen Zhu swatted the nurse's hand away and said righteously, I truly underestimated you. You are actually joining these bad guys to harm me. With that, he bolted away, leaving the rest of them dumbfounded. The director tried to smooth things over, saying, that fellow who ran away is the great hero you are looking for. Chen Zhu suffers a bit from persecution mania, and he is always vigilant around strangers. We understand that. After watching the surveillance footage from the past 2 days, our police station believes Chen Zhu truly has extraordinary abilities. On behalf of the station, may I make a small request? The speaker was Joe Aguo, the chief of the Exorcism Police Department. With ghosts and spirits running rampant, they could hear wailing and howling in the streets every night. Yet as an exorcism agency, they had no effective way to deal with it. Pressure from the superiors above, and the public below was leaving them breathless. Having finally found a talented individual with such exceptional abilities, they could not care less about the fact that he was mentally ill. "Please go ahead," the director said with a smile. "Given his condition, do you think our police force could make good use of his abilities?" "That is hard to say. The behavior of patients with mental illness is inherently unpredictable. You tell him to go east, and he insists on going west. It is simply impossible to control." Just as Joe Aguo began to speak, a patient draped in a bedsheet appeared at the doorway. Who else could it be but Chen Zhu? After leaving, Chen Zhu could not stop thinking about the chicken feet on the table, yet he remained wary of the uniformed people inside. Racking his brain, Chen Zhu came up with a brilliant plan. He would put on his invisibility cloak to sneak in, completely undetected. Seeing this, the director whispered to everyone, "Do not look at him, just act like you do not see him." Everyone understood and quickly averted their gaze. Chen Zhu, wrapped in his bedsheet, poked his head in and saw that no one was looking at him. He trotted into the office, overjoyed. To ensure his safety, Chen Zhu deliberately waved his hand in front of Joe Aguo. Joe Aguo kept shifting his eyes away, and finally, having no other choice, pulled out his phone and pretended to be busy looking at it. "These big idiots cannot see me now." Chen Zhu was inwardly delighted as he walked smilingly toward the desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 chicken feet. They will not notice if one is missing, right? Chen Zhu sneaked one chicken foot into his pocket. Just as he was about to leave, he pondered that one chicken foot would not be enough to taste, so he thought, how about 3? They will not notice if I take 3. With a mischievous grin, Chen Zhu swiped 3 more. This guy probably is not great at math either. After taking 3, he was not satisfied and continued taking them, again and again, until he had shoved all the chicken feet from the table into his pockets. Someone in the office could not hold it in anymore. Wanting to laugh but not daring to, the urge eventually turned into a cough. Just as everyone was watching Chen Zhu with their peripheral vision, he walked to the door and then turned right back around. These guys must be plotting against me. Since they cannot see me anyway, I might as well listen to what kind of plans they have. Chen Zhu, wrapped in his sheet, darted between their seats, munching on a chicken foot and stuffing the leftover bones into the pockets of the people nearby. Disgust +1. Disgust +2. Disgust +3. Disgust +4. Disgust. Since the people still would not say anything, Chen Zhu left, boredly gnawing on his chicken feet. The moment Chen Zhu left, everyone let out a collective sigh of relief. Dealing with a mentally ill person is truly exhausting. Under normal circumstances, the director would have had security drag Chen Zhu out long ago. But he did not dare say a word while the chief of the Exorcism Police Department was still present and had not said anything himself. While they were still discussing in the office, a uniformed police officer ran over, panting. Chief, something happened in the South District again." "What happened this time?" "A little girl who takes lives appeared again last night. We just received a report from a resident that a family of 7 was found dead." The panting officer said. Chief Joe Aguo furrowed his brows, his heart full of frustration with nowhere to release it. "Director, I will not hide it from you. Cases like this have occurred more than once. Without further ado, the reason I came here today is precisely because of this Chen Zhu." The pressing pressure left him with no intention to dance around the subject with the director anymore. His objective was clear. The Exorcism Police Department personnel and the medical staff of Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital spent the whole morning formulating several plans. Plan A: have Chen Zhu quickly get familiar with the Exorcism Police Department personnel to create a sense of security. A police department staff member put on the psychiatric hospital uniform, carried a large bag of snacks, and sat next to Chen Zhu. Before the staff member could even open his mouth to buddy up with him, Chen Zhu ran far away. Trying the old trick again, Chen Zhu draped a bedsheet over himself and walked off with the bag of snacks without saying a word. Plan A ended in failure. Plan B: have Chen Zhu wear the Exorcism Police uniform to stimulate his sense of honor, blend in with the Exorcism Police, and eliminate his fear of them. After changing into the Exorcism Police uniform, Chen Zhu looked rather handsome and stood in front of the mirror admiring himself for a long time. However, he did not take the initiative to interact with the exorcism police as everyone had expected. Instead, wearing the exorcism police uniform, he transformed into a free butterfly. Flap flap, he flew away. Plan B ended in failure. Being mentally ill does not mean being stupid. It is just that their way of logic is different from normal people. Before Plan C could even be launched, Chen Zhu tightly grasped the initiative in his own hands. He was no longer ostentatious, but found a hidden corner to hide in, secretly observing the exorcism police. At the same time, imitating the scenes from movies, he spoke into a button to pass on messages. 001 calling headquarters. 001 feels he is being monitored by stupid humans. 001 must take the initiative to attack, over. Looked up to observe. Continued. Headquarters, do not contact 001 in the near future. 001 will contact headquarters via a single-line connection. 001 will defend the planet's honor to the death, over. System, I just want to unbind with all my heart. At the entrance of the canteen, a police department personnel was buying water. Chen Zhu actively approached, made a pistol gesture with his right hand, and pressed it against the police staff's waist. Put your hands up. The police staff looked completely bewildered. No one had given him this script. Chen Zhu applied more force. Hurry up or I will shoot you dead. The exorcism police department staff's brain was thinking rapidly. What if this is part of the plan? The big picture comes first. He obediently raised both hands. Speak, who sent you? I do not know. Play games with me and you know the consequences. I will count to 3. If you do not tell me, I will shoot you. I really do not know. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I truly do not know. Coward, you have peed your pants. You must be just a little lackey running errands and risking your life for someone else. Get lost. The police staff subconsciously looked down at his pants. I did not pee. Chen Zhu tucked his pistol-gesturing hand into his waistband. He squatted here, dodged there, and hid in what he considered a safe place. It seems the opponent was prepared early on and left absolutely no loose ends. Cannot underestimate them. All plans were completely wasted on a mentally ill person. Seeing that it was almost getting dark, there was no progress at all on Chen Zhu's side. Director Zhou Aguo could not hold back anymore. Darkness meant danger would descend again. Gritting his teeth and stomping his foot, just drag him to the south of the city first. Chen Zhu, who was wholly focused on observing the enemy's movements, was easily captured by 5 security guards. You finally could not hold back anymore. You are finally making a move on me. Struggled, roared, struggled desperately, roared desperately. A shot of tranquilizer went in. His eyes rolled back. His legs kicked out. He lost consciousness. Going limp, he let others take off his hospital gown, change him into ordinary clothes, and carry him onto the psychiatric hospital's ambulance. Accompanying the vehicle were a doctor and a nurse, along with a large bag of junk that could bring Chen Zhu a sense of security. The exorcism police department's police car led the way, with the ambulance following. They drove away from the psychiatric compound, where Chen Zhu had lived since childhood. By the time Chen Zhu woke up again, he found himself in a strange room with his limbs tied to a bed, and the sky outside the window was already completely dark. He had been sneak attacked by the enemy. Chen Zhu began twisting his body, his feet kicking wildly, rattling the iron bed with clinking sounds. You bunch of bad guys, son of a bitch, let me go if you have the guts. What kind of skill is a sneak attack? Chen Zhu cursed emotionally. Soon the door was pushed open from the outside, and in walked an old man in uniform. He had seen him in the director's office, the director of the exorcism police department, Zhou Aguo. 001. Zhou Aguo said these words with a resonant voice. Hearing this name, Chen Zhu instantly quieted down. His expression darkened. How do you know my code name? Headquarters sent me to support you. I am your comrade, 007. Chen Zhu eyed the old man suspiciously. Ben Borba Barboben. Zhou Aguo recalled the doctor's instructions. Chen Zhu has many secret codes, but actually even Chen Zhu himself cannot answer them. Frankly speaking, whether it is the right response or not entirely depends on his own mood. Black cat detective, paying tribute to you, paying tribute to you. Zhou Aguo sang it out. It was something his grandson had taught him. Chen Zhu fell into thought. In those short few seconds, Zhou Aguo felt like he had waited for a century. This was a spur-of-the-moment idea he had on the way here, and he did not know if it would work. Zhou Eguo looked at Chen Zhu seriously, not daring to show even a hint of anticipation. After a long silence, Chen Zhu said in an equally serious tone, "The planet's most glorious warriors, 001 and 007, connection successful." Hearing this, Zhou Eguo's eyes lit up. He finally succeeded. It was really not easy. A heavy stone in his heart finally dropped. Zhou Eguo straightened his back and issued an order to Chen Zhu. Headquarters is ready to conquer the Earth. The true opponents are not humans, but the tens of thousands of ghosts on Earth. They possess powerful energy fluctuations. On behalf of the Supreme Commander at Headquarters, I issue an order to the heroic warrior 001. Eliminate them. 001 obeys the command, Chen Zhu said with great confidence. Confirming that Chen Zhu's emotions had stabilized, Zhou Eguo untied the ropes binding Chen Zhu's hands and feet, and they exchanged a firm look of conviction. As the old saying goes, when fellow townsmen meet, their eyes brim with tears. Chen Zhu still wanted to chat warmly with 007 for a bit, but the system voice in his head sounded a warning. System warning, danger is approaching. What kind of damn thing did those monkeys in white coats inject into my brain? The light overhead suddenly flickered twice, as if short-circuiting. Zhou Eguo quickly looked toward the door. The staff waiting outside the door answered, yin energy fluctuations detected. Zhou Eguo glanced at Chen Zhu, said nothing, and hurriedly left the room. Chen Zhu knew that 007 had already infiltrated the inside of the stupid humans. In order not to expose their identities, they could not communicate in front of the stupid humans. 007 is truly the most qualified warrior of the planet. Chen Zhu sighed with emotion in his heart. Snapping out of his thoughts about 007, Chen Zia, who had lived in a psychiatric hospital since childhood, was full of curiosity about the furnishings in the room. He picked up a music box on the table, which had a dancing doll on top. He wound up the gear. A melodious tune of music came out of the music box. Chen Zhu subconsciously stuffed it into his clothes, afraid of being caught messing with things. It was not until the music box stopped playing that Chen Zhu was drawn to a human-shaped outline near the door. How could Chen Zhu know this was a crime scene? He just thought it was fun. He arranged his hands and feet according to the posture of the human-shaped outline, but no matter how he posed, it did not feel right. He simply sat down inside it on his butt, his body pressing closely against the edges of the outline. Now that is right. Having played enough in the small room, Chen Jingming draped on his invisibility bedsheet, ran a lap around the living room, turned into the kitchen, and snuck out with a banana. In the living room, Zhou Eguo instructed his subordinates. Our purpose here this time is not to eliminate the little ghosts, but to collect their yin energy values. Once the knocking sounds, no one is allowed to make a sound, hear me. Understood. After finishing one banana, Chen Zhu wanted another and was just about to go get one. Suddenly, a radar map appeared in his mind. There was a small red dot on the map, and the little red dot was approaching him. He looked up toward the door. It was already very close, right outside the door. That son of a bitch old thief in the white coat must have noticed I am gone and sent someone to catch me back. Let me see what kind of tricks you are playing. Chen Zhu charged to the door in large strides and pulled it wide open. Everyone turned their heads toward the door at the sound. Forget the humans, even the little ghost knocking on the door stood frozen in place. She had not even knocked yet, but the door had opened on its own. The little ghost was wearing a tattered, yellowish-white dress. Black veins bulged across her greenish-gray skin, and she clutched a ragged doll whose chest was pierced by a wooden nail. The little ghost looked up, her death-pale face featuring nothing but pitch-black eyes. Deadly little girl, late-stage vengeful spirit, died in early childhood, the third born in her family. Her parents, suffering from the loss of all their children, turned to dark arts to seal her soul and prevent reincarnation, suppressing her in a place of extreme yin to ensure the prosperity and safety of their descendants. The formation was accidentally broken, turning her into a vengeful spirit burdened with 17 lives. System suggestion, terminate immediately. Given your mental impairment, host, here is a note. The little ghost you see had many brothers and sisters while she was alive. The little ghost opened her mouth, about to speak. Chen Zhu suddenly pressed the little ghost's head down, pushing his chest against her crown as he looked outside. There was not even a fly outside the door. Chen Zhu pulled back and asked the little ghost, "When you came, did you see anyone else? Especially anyone in white coats?" The little ghost shook her head. Think carefully. The little ghost actually listened, pondering for a moment before shaking her head again. Chen Zhu's gaze fell upon the little ghost, his arms crossed as he sized her up. Chen Zhuo had decided that the system in his head was the work of the guys in white coats. Since the white coats were his enemies, the system was his enemy too. If the enemy says it is dangerous, that means it is safe. And the enemy of an enemy is a friend. System, are you out of your damn mind? The little ghost tilted her head, feeling as though something was different. Come play with me. The little ghost held out her doll with both hands. Chen Zhuo looked at the dirty doll with disdain. It was missing an eyeball, and he did not want to touch it at all. But still, the other party's attitude was so sincere. Holding back his disgust, Chen Zhuo gripped the doll's hair with his thumb and forefinger and dangled it. A wiggling worm crawled out from the doll's hair. Sorry, he really could not take it anymore. Chen Zhuo flicked his wrist and threw it out the door. Seeing her doll thrown away, the little ghost began to emit black mist, her eyes flashing dark and bright. Chen Zhuo, completely oblivious to the little ghost's rage, reached out and patted her shoulder. The enemy of an enemy is a friend. Come on in, they say it is not safe tonight. The Thachen Zhu referred to her cowering in the corner of the living room, holding specialized handguns. Their yin energy detectors were flashing red. This was no longer a ghost they could handle. Look at Zhou Aiguo sweating buckets. Chen Zhuo led the little ghost inside and told her to sit on the sofa. I will get you something good to eat. Chen Zhuo jogged into the kitchen. Zhou Aiguo led the charge, with the exorcist police following close behind, scrambling into the kitchen for fear that the little ghost might kill one or two of them while Chen Zhuo was not looking. Chen Zhuo pulled fruit, cola, and popsicles out of the fridge, then turned around to find the kitchen packed with people, leaving him unable to get out. Are you guys here for snacks too? Well, yes. The exorcist police shook their heads and then nodded. Chen Zhuo's petty side emerged, and he grabbed all the fruit in the fridge, hugging it to his chest. First come, first served. In the mental hospital, whoever gets to the food line first gets the meat. Those in the back only get broth. Before leaving, he specifically gave Zhou Aiguo the smallest apple. Chen Zhuo happily carried the pile of fruit back to the living room and placed it in front of the little ghost. The exorcist police stood in a row against the wall, watching from afar, daring neither to approach nor to run. On the sofa, Chen Zhuo slapped his thigh. I remember now, there is something in the room that makes noise when you spin it, but unfortunately it is not mine. Chen Zhuo turned back and asked the exorcist police standing by the wall, can I go get it? The exorcist police looked at their chief, Zhou Aiguo. Damn, at a time like this, even if you set the house on fire, would I dare say no? Go ahead, Zhou Aiguo said twice, his voice trembling. Chen Zhuo got up and went into the room again. The exorcist police were mortified. Dude, I finally found a good spot. Could you stop running around? Tell us what you want and let us get it for you. Chen Zhuo brought out a pile of toys, and the human and the ghost sat on the sofa. This thing does not just make noise, it dances too. Look, it is better to turn the lights off for this. No need. The little ghost waved her hand, and the lights went out. That is impressive. Calculating the psychological trauma of the exorcist police. I will let you in on a secret. I have an invisibility cloak. I do not believe you. If you do not believe me, I will show you. Turn the lights on. The lights came back on, and Chen Zhuo draped his bedsheet over himself. Can you see me? The little ghost nodded. That should not be. Chen Zhuo ran over to the police against the wall, darting back and forth in front of them. Can you guys see me? The exorcist police avoided eye contact. I told you they could not. If you do not believe me, give it a try. Chen Zhuo draped the sheet over the little ghost and had her wave in front of the officers. Get closer. The little ghost obediently floated off the ground until her head was level with one of the officers, her pitch-black eyes staring right into the officer's eyes, just centimeters apart. That officer was scared to death. He stubbornly pretended not to see anything. A mental patient and a ghost spent the rest of the night goofing around. Chen Zhuo sat on the floor, leaning his arm against the sofa, yawning as he pointed at the nail in the girl's chest. Why is there a wooden nail stuck in your chest? The little ghost looked down and touched her chest, being quite honest with Chen Zhuo. I have 6 wooden nails in me. The little ghost took off her 2 shoes, revealing a wooden nail in the sole of each foot. She opened her hands to show a wooden nail embedded in each palm. She parted her hair to reveal one on the top of her head as well. Which villain did this to you? I will chop him up and feed him to the dogs, Chen Zhuo asked, filled with righteous indignation. They are already dead, the little ghost said, not mentioning her parents. Chen Zhuo thought about it. How about I pull them out for you? You cannot pull them out. Let me try. Before the little ghost could refuse, Chen Zhuo grabbed the nail in her chest. He gave a tug, and the little ghost's entire body lunged toward him. "That will not work. Lie down on the floor, I will push off you with my feet." The little ghost obediently lay on the floor, and Chen Zhuo braced his feet against her while gripping the nail tightly. 5-element soul-sealing nail, removal technique, Heartgate nail. Heartgate nail. Chen Zhuo summoned all his strength and yanked the nail out in one go. The little ghost's piercing scream released a wave of black mist that shattered all the glassware in the room. Everything was instantly plunged into darkness. He could not tell if the darkness was due to the loss of light or the intensity of the yin energy. Chen Zhuo peered through the dark and saw the little ghost floating in midair, her hair spreading out in all directions. "Are you okay?" Chen Zhuo asked, looking up. The little ghost looked down at Chen Zhuo, descended quietly, and held out her palm. Chen Zhuo grabbed the nail in her palm, ready. The little ghost nodded. 5-element soul-sealing technique, removal method, left guardian palace nail. Left, he could not remember, left-hand nail. Chen Zhuo shouted and pulled the wooden nail out of the little ghost's left hand. This time, there was not as big of a reaction as the Heartgate nail. The black mist just grew more intense. 5-element soul-sealing technique, removal method, right guardian palace nail. 5-element soul-sealing technique, removal method, left deity pressing position. 5-element soul-sealing technique, removal method, right deity pressing position. System danger warning, deadly little girl detected. The celestial palace position is a death trap, do not remove the nail. Chen Zhuo did not care about any of that. He grabbed the nail on the top of the little ghost's head and pulled with all his might. 5-element soul-sealing technique, removal position, celestial palace. As Chen Zhuo yanked the nail on her head, a constant stream of yin energy spewed from the gap, and the little ghost rose into the air, carrying Chen Zhuo with her. Using all his might, Chen Zhuo gritted his teeth and pulled the wooden nail out of the little ghost's head with all his strength. System warning. The vengeful ghost is turning feral and is about to advance to a malicious ghost. The little ghost's eyes turned entirely red. Its scream was several times louder than when the Heartgate nail was used. Bursts of yin energy erupted and spread, creating waves of black energy. Chen Zhuo was hit by the energy waves erupting from the little ghost, blasting him right out the window. The people present had to hold on tightly to fixed objects or their companions just to barely stabilize themselves. In the air outside the building, Chen Zhuo looked at the empty space beneath his feet in bewilderment before gravity took over, making him plummet straight down. The system has activated the defense shield. As he fell, Chen Zhuo flailed his arms and legs anxiously. Suddenly, a streak of black energy swept over, binding Chen Zhuo's feet like a rope and yanking him back inside. Back in the room, Chen Zhuo gripped the window bars tightly, his legs trembling as he looked down at the height of the floor with lingering fear. Oh my God, how can it be so high? The little ghost, drifting in midair, brought its yin energy under control and landed on the shattered floor. It picked up the scattered music box from the floor and twisted the gear, mimicking Chen Zhuo. The familiar melody played from the music box. The little ghost walked up to Chen Zhuo, pulled one of his hands off the window frame, pried open his thumb, and pressed it against its own forehead. An old lady I met a long time ago told me that if a ghost wants to stay with a human without affecting their luck, they can form a ghost contract. I am willing to become your ghost servant, at your disposal. Chen Zhuo was still immersed in the fear of falling. System prompt, the ghost entity wants to form a ghost contract with the host. System prompt, the ghost entity wants to form a ghost contract with the host. The system says, Chen Zhuo, you huge idiot. Who is cursing me? Chen Zhuo snapped out of it. A piece of glass flew up from the ground and sliced across Chen Zhuo's thumb. Swish. Mommy. Chen Zhuo howled as crimson blood flowed from the pad of his thumb. Seeing this, the little ghost pressed its forehead against it. The blood spread across the little ghost's forehead, and the black vein patterns all over its body gradually faded. Damn it, who did that? Chen Zhuo held out his thumb and questioned loudly. The little ghost said, not me. The others were hiding in the corners, and the items in the room were scattered everywhere. It could not possibly be them. The system is currently healing the host's wound. The system only helped the host make the most correct decision. Chen Zhuo tenderly touched his wound, only to find that it had healed itself. Huh? It is healed. Could it be that my cultivation has deepened by another level? The little ghost, now back to looking like the girl next door, turned around to face the huddled group of exorcist police. Joe Aguo swallowed repeatedly, his disobedient feet stepping backward onto an officer's shoes. The little ghost simply bowed slightly. Everyone noticed the character's Yu flash between the hair on the little ghost's forehead, but after blinking twice, the character disappeared. Immediately after, the little ghost turned into a streak of black energy and entered Chen Zhu's body. A long time passed. It was not until a beam of light shone over the horizon that the group dared to let out a long sigh of relief, slumping to the ground and greedily breathing in the morning air. In the early morning, to familiarize Chen Zhu with the working environment of the Exorcist Police Department and dispel his misgivings, Zhou Aguo coaxed and dragged him to the station. In the chief's office, Zhou Aguo sat at his desk holding a file folder labeled, "Deadly Little Girl Case Closed File." On the office sofa, Chen Zhuo, exhausted from tossing and turning all night, snored while sprawling across the cushions. Covered in his invisibility bedsheet, a pool of drool gathered beside his mouth. Despite such an undignified sleeping posture, Zhou Aguo was highly satisfied. Thank heavens, he had indeed picked up a treasure. From now on, as the chief of the Exorcist Police Department, he would not have to suffer indignities everywhere anymore. Zhou Aguo picked up the phone, dialed a number, and said in a deliberately deep voice, "Hello, this is Zhou Aguo, chief of the Exorcist Police Department. The request for backup we sent to the soul-subduing division 5 days ago is no longer needed. The malicious ghost was eradicated last night. Please cancel the request, thank you." Hanging up the phone, Zhou Aguo clenched his fists and softly cheered, "Oh yeah." Previously, he had begged everyone for backup from the soul-subduing division, only to be told that a dignified department chief like himself had to go through normal procedures and queue up with the general public's cases. Things were different now. Their Exorcist Police Department did not need them anymore. "We do not need you bunch of losers anymore." The feeling of not having to beg anyone is just great. Ghosts in this world are divided into 9 tiers. Wandering spirit, vengeful ghost, malicious ghost, evil spirit, ghost general, ghost fiend, ghost king, ghost emperor, and ghost deity. Each tier is further divided into early, middle, and late stages, with the early stage being the weakest and the late stage the strongest. The Exorcist Police Department is an agency for handling ordinary ghosts, dealing with low danger levels. The maximum ghost tier they can handle is a vengeful ghost case. The soul-subduing division is different. They are a special task force specifically targeting malicious ghosts and above. Sometimes the funds they burn through in a single day can eclipse the police department's expenses for an entire year. Last night, Zhou Aguo led the team just to collect yin energy readings, so they could report the ghost's strength to the soul-subduing division and shorten their waiting time. Chen Zhu slept until noon. When he woke up, his already uncooperative stomach was rumbling like thunder. There was a lunchbox on the coffee table with a note on it, left by 007. 007 has gone to execute a mission assigned by Headquarters. Headquarters specifically praised 001. These short few words made Chen Zhu's heart surge with excitement. Headquarters specifically praised 001. Headquarters specifically praised me. This is what the planet's most valiant warrior, 001, should do. After his excitement subsided, Chen Zhu opened the lunchbox. It was covered in golden brown braised pork, and the thick sauce poured over the rice made Chen Zhu drool uncontrollably. The planet's most valiant warrior, 001. Time to eat. He hunched over the lunchbox, shoveling huge mouthfuls into his face. The moment he put down the lunchbox, Chen Zhu's face was covered in sauce, with a grain of rice still hanging from the corner of his mouth. Burp. He let out a satisfied burp. Energized and full, what else could Chen Zhu do? Make mischief, of course. After spending last night with them, Chen Zhu completely dismissed his fear of these guys in uniform. These guys looked fierce on the surface, but they were actually weak as hell, completely incomparable to him. During the day, there were very few people in the Exorcist Police Department, only a few staff on duty. Wearing his bedsheet like a cape, Chen Zhu ran around like a madman for a while until he got tired and his mouth became dry. Sweeping his gaze around, a familiar bottle of cola caught his eye. The bottle of cola Chen Zhu had his eye on belonged to a female officer. Taking without asking is considered stealing. Except for the ones in the Asylum director's office, those were unowned chicken claws. He could take them, and once he took them, they had an owner. Chen Zhu, with his sauce-covered face, leaned over to the female officer's workstation. "Are you still drinking your cola?" The female officer looked at Chen Zhu with his face full of braised pork sauce and a crumb of rice clinging precariously to his skin. Being a neat freak, she could not stand it, so she shoved the cola into his hands. "It is yours." These weaklings were much easier to talk to than the people at the mental hospital. Chen Zhu took the cola in satisfaction, twisted off the cap, and chugged more than half the bottle in one breath. He let out a long, satisfied burp. "I will not take your stuff for free. I will give you." Chen Zhu fumbled through his belongings. He only had a hospital gown, so the only thing he could give were buttons, but he still needed those to contact headquarters. Chen Zhu looked around the female officer's desk, picked up a pen and paper, and drew a picture of a little fish blowing bubbles in a few swift strokes. "I will draw you an amulet. This picture absorbs the spiritual energy of heaven and earth." After saying that, Chen Zhu walked away coolly, hugging his cola. The female officer frowned, and after Chen Zhu left, threw it into the trash can. A colleague nearby saw this and whispered, "Do not let his mental illness fool you. He is very capable. Maybe what he gave you really is an amulet." Who draws an amulet on scrap paper with a ballpoint pen? "If you do not want it, give it to me. I will stick it on my front door." Suspicious, the female officer fished it out of the trash. Ignoring her colleague's outstretched hand, she carefully folded it and put it in her bag. Finding it boring, the colleague opened a drawer, found half a bag of sunflower seeds left over from yesterday, and took the initiative to approach Chen Zhu. As evening approached, more and more exorcist police officers arrived for their shift. Chen Zhu was cornered in the break room by this group of officers. Outside the break room, a long line had formed, with everyone holding paper, pens, and large bags of snacks, all begging for a talisman. "Master, I want 5 of them." With that, the young officer pulled spicy strips, potato chips, dried fruit, candy, and broad beans out of his shopping bag. Chen Zhu counted them carefully to ensure the amount was correct, tucked them all into his bedsheet, then waved his hand and drew flowers and grass on the paper. The officers waiting in line behind craned their necks to get a look. Actually, they didn't even know if these drawings by a mental patient would work, but the memory of last night still haunted them, and everyone had witnessed the patient's power firsthand. Better safe than sorry. Big bag of snacks cost less than 100 yuan in total. If the drawings worked, they had struck gold, and if not, they could just consider it a reward to Chen Zhu for saving their lives, so it wasn't a loss either way. The shelves in the snack section of the small supermarket outside the police station had been completely wiped out. It was already dark by the time Chief Zhou Aguo finally reached the station. Inside, all the staff members were holding a few pieces of paper and whispering to each other. "Do you think these will work? None of my protective talismans look the same." "Forget about yours not looking the same. None of our talismans look the same at all. We will find out if they work when we go out on patrol." More people kept coming out of the break area, each holding a few sheets of paper. "Mine only has a few strokes." "Be grateful, I had to beg and plead just to get him to add a few more strokes." "What is going on here?" Zhou Aguo opened the break room door, and piles upon piles of snacks covered the floor, completely hiding the sofas. Chen Zhu was sitting amidst the snacks, chewing on a lollipop while impatiently scribbling on a piece of paper with one hand. A burly exorcist officer stooped down low and said in a hushed voice, "Draw a few more strokes, and I will buy you duck necks tomorrow." Chen Zhu slashed his pen twice and waved his hand. "Are you questioning my power?" "I wouldn't dare, sir." The burly officer backed out of the room, clutching the talisman with both hands. He ran straight into Chief Zhou Aguo. Zhou Aguo shot him a glare, and the officer shrank his head and scurried away with his tail between his legs. Zhou Aguo walked into the break room with a dark expression and ordered everyone else, "You all head out for now." The staff inside the break room left without saying a word. Zhou Aguo carefully checked behind him to make sure no one was there, then pulled a notebook out of his briefcase. He put on a smiling face and said, 001, help me draw a few as well." Chen Zhu shook his sore and aching hand, his gaze landing on Zhou Aguo's empty hands. His intense look seemed to say, "Did you not see everyone else trading with snacks? You came here empty-handed." Zhou Aguo, being a smart man, reached into his pockets and pulled out a phone and 2 red 100 yuan bills, saying awkwardly, "I will buy you some tomorrow. I was in such a hurry to get to the mission today that I didn't have time. Just give those 2 to me." Chen Zhu was no fool. He knew those were bills, and one could buy a lot of things at the mental hospital's small kiosk with a single red note. "Us all right then." Zhou Aguo felt a sting in his heart. Others were getting 5 or 6 talismans for a few dozen yuan worth of snacks, while he was paying 100 per piece. After drawing 2 talismans for Zhou Aguo, Chen Zhu rummaged through the piles of snacks and found a tiny piece of candy. He handed it to Zhou Aguo quite generously. "Here, eat this, my treat, don't stand on ceremony." Zhou Aguo looked at the pitifully small candy in his hand, and then at the mountains of snacks filling the room. "You really are generous, are not you?" Zhou Aguo took the candy, peeled off the wrapper, and was just about to pop it in his mouth when he felt a pair of eyes staring at him. He looked up and saw Chen Zhu staring intensely at the candy in his hand, his face expressionless. "Can I even eat this?" Zhou Aiguo thought for a moment and placed the candy back on the table. "I suddenly don't feel like eating it anymore." Chen Zhu got what he wanted, picked up the candy from the table and popped it into his own mouth. Zhou Aiguo finally understood. You can give Chen Zhu things and he will be thrilled, but trying to get anything out of his hands is more painful than digging out his liver. Zhou Aiguo tucked away his talisman and walked out of the break room. Zhao Zhang, pull up the file on the Dongda Bridge case and have all the key personnel come to the conference room for a meeting. 2 days ago, the Exorcist police received a call that half a body had been found on Dongda Bridge. The victim died in a bizarre way, with everything above the waist missing, and judging by the jagged wounds, it looked as if they had been torn in half alive. Through the ID found at the scene, the police investigated and learned that the victim had been out drinking with friends that night and had insisted on going home late despite their warnings. After the incident, officers interviewed locals, who reported hearing strange screams on the bridge every night. It was preliminarily determined to be a ghostly manifestation. But the strange thing was that the yin energy levels collected over the past 2 nights were both within the normal range. Having dealt with the deadly little girl, Zhou Aiguo was full of confidence and ready to investigate this case. Late at night, a convoy of police cars, accompanied by an ambulance marked Qingshan Mental Hospital, drove onto Dongda Bridge. Dongda Bridge was 2,400 meters long and about 12 meters wide, spanning across the Jin River. The mental hospital ambulance pulled to a steady stop in the middle of the bridge, and Chen Zhu hopped out, hugging a pile of snacks. The Exorcist police got out of their cars, holding custom-made pistols in one hand and the talismans they had begged from Chen Zhu in the other. Because of the spiritual energy resurgence, there was no traffic at night, and the whole bridge was deathly quiet. Chen Zhu leaned against the bridge railing, the breeze brushing against his cheeks, feeling quite comfortable and pleasant in the sweltering heat of summer. If there were no ghosts in the world, this would actually be a nice place to cool off. Zhou Aiguo stood close to Chen Zhu and asked in a low voice, 001, "Have you noticed anything on the bridge?" Hearing this, Chen Zhu looked left and right, seeing nothing but the terrified officers acting like cowards. "Nope, nothing. Take a closer look or maybe go up ahead and play. It is even higher up there than it is here," Zhou Aiguo coaxed. "Is that so?" Chen Zhu was pleasantly surprised and started jogging away. The officers followed closely behind. It is common knowledge that most bridges have sidewalks that are a few dozen centimeters higher than the road surface. How would a patient who just walked out of a mental hospital know such common sense? He ran for some distance before losing his footing and tripping onto the road's surface. It happened so fast that no one had time to react. By the time they helped Chen Zhu up, his nose was gushing blood, his forehead was scraped open, and his face, hands, and knees were all bloodied. Chen Zhu pursed his lips and gritted his teeth, tears shimmering in his eyes. He wanted to cry. He must not cry. He is the bravest warrior on the planet. While enduring the pain, a single tear escaped from the corner of his eye. That tear, like the floodwater before a levee bursts, broke through Chen Zhu's last line of defense. "What?" Chen Zhu sat on the ground and began to wail loudly. "System warning, danger is approaching." Not far behind them on the bridge, a behemoth slowly emerged from the darkness. Chen Zhu was in so much pain he could not pull himself together. "Little ghost, protect the master." A wisp of black smoke drilled out of Chen Zhu's body and transformed into the deadly little girl from last night, floating in the air above the middle of the bridge. Seeing the deadly little girl, everyone wanted to retreat. Upon retreating, they finally noticed the massive creature behind them. They raised the talismans in their hands in unison, moving more neatly than they ever had during training. The massive creature got closer and closer, its figure appearing in everyone's line of sight. It was a tiger wreathed in ghostly aura, its size comparable to an elephant. Its eyes glowed red, and its whole body radiated a murderous intent. Thousand-Year Tiger Soul, middle-stage malicious ghost, has mastered the first stage of the ghost Shadow Claw, capable of piercing through 10-centimeter thick steel plates, searches for food by the smell of blood. Chen Zhu had accidentally bumped and bloodied his nose, and the smell of blood had attracted the Thousand-Year Tiger Soul. This put Zhou Aiguo and the others in a terrible bind. Ahead was the deadly little girl, and behind was the Thousand-Year Tiger Soul. Roar! The Thousand-Year Tiger Soul let out a massive roar, sweeping like a gale, blowing everyone, including Chen Zhu, to the railing at the edge of the bridge. Facing its certain prey, the Thousand-Year Tiger Soul mockingly licked its fur. Its lazy pace showed no intention of fighting, or rather, the opponent's strength meant they did not even dare to fight it. The little ghost made the first move against the tiger. A wisp of ghostly aura wrapped around the thousand-year tiger soul's neck and continuously tightened. The thousand-year tiger soul lifted its head and flicked, throwing the little ghost straight behind it. How could a mere malicious ghost with 17 lives on its hands compete with a thousand-year tiger soul like itself? The lives it had taken numbered at least 100. The thousand-year tiger soul easily dealt with the little ghost, licked its lips, and walked toward the crowd. 5 meters, 4 meters, 3 meters, 2 meters. Suddenly, streams of golden glowing patterns wrapped around the crowd. The patterns included little fish blowing bubbles, flowers and grass, and crooked, messy lines. These patterns chaotically intertwined together. The crowd's fearful expressions were mixed with a look of surprise. A random drawing by a madman actually contained such strong power. The thousand-year tiger soul was blinded by the countless golden lights and could not open its eyes. It seemed it had to face its opponent head-on. The thousand-year tiger soul put away its lazy posture, its tiger claws sinking deeply into the bridge surface, and continued to step forward. With every step, it felt as if a resistance was pushing it backward. The closer it got, the stronger the resistance. The distance grew shorter, and its steps became smaller and smaller, until it could not take a single step further, only half a meter away from the crowd. Even if it exhausted all its strength, it could not step forward even a tiny bit. This golden light had no lethality against the thousand-year tiger soul, yet it also prevented it from advancing even half a step. The crowd seemed to taste victory, raising their protective amulets with even more morale. As the crowd's morale increased, the thousand-year tiger soul actually moved backward a tiny bit. During the stalemate between the two sides, a bloody arm reached out from the gaps in the crowd toward the tiger's head. An index finger poked the thousand-year tiger soul on the nose. It felt soft and bouncy. Shock. Shock +1. Shock +2. Shock +3. This is going to cost us our lives. The thousand-year tiger soul was utterly bewildered. That hand unscrupulously stroked up along the tiger's nose, climbed onto the tiger's head, and pet its fur. Suddenly, under everyone's watchful eyes, that hand grabbed a tuft of tiger fur. Raised the hand. The tiger fur was plucked. That hand retracted. Roar. The tiger's roar echoed across the bridge. For 1,000 years, not a single person had dared to touch its tiger head, let alone pluck its fur. The thousand-year tiger soul felt completely humiliated and was determined to tear the owner of this hand to shreds. It roared. It bellowed. It crashed against the golden barrier. The thousand-year tiger soul erupts, its strength increasing. Chen Zhuo had successfully enraged the thousand-year tiger soul. The crowd holding the talismans felt their arms ache and go numb from the shock of every impact from the thousand-year tiger soul. Although the talismans were strong, they were too weak. Physically alone, they would not last much longer. Hurry, retreat first. Zhou Aiguo gave the order. Everyone moved their steps together. In the crowding, Chen Zhuo found the squeezing too uncomfortable and fell out of the main group. He still held that tuft of fur from the tiger's head in his hand. The thousand-year tiger soul immediately targeted the isolated Chen Zhuo. Without the golden light obstructing its attack, he was just like meat delivered straight to its mouth. Crouching on its hind legs and exerting force, the tiger leaped up into the air. However, the leaping tiger soul suddenly stopped in midair. Behind it, the little ghost used a wisp of black smoke to laboriously clamp down on one of the tiger soul's hind legs, preventing it from attacking and making it fall back onto the bridge surface. "Go eat someone else. You are not allowed to eat my master," the little ghost said haughtily. Even if she could not defeat this thousand-year tiger soul, the thousand-year tiger soul trying to eat Chen Zhuo was absolutely unacceptable. The thousand-year tiger soul, having fallen onto the bridge, changed direction and roared at the little ghost. Roar! A wave of black energy easily flung the little ghost away. Zhou Aiguo and the others wanted to take advantage of the time. The little ghost entangled the tiger soul to pull Chen Zhuo back into the main group. Unfortunately, they only made it halfway before the tiger soul dealt with the little ghost and turned its head to spot them on their rescue mission. In this situation, they were caught in a dilemma. Standing in front of the tiger soul, Chen Zhuo threw away the fur in his hand and even clapped his hands in disgust. "This is the first time I have ever seen such a big cat. That is a tiger, a large feline." Chen Zhuo walked forward, hugged the big cat's front paw, and rubbed his bloody face against the big cat's fur. Good heavens, a single leg was thicker than his waist. With his mighty stature, he barely reached the big cat's chin. Chen Zhuo stood on his tiptoes and tugged at the big cat's whiskers. Roar! Outrageous, daring to tug at the whiskers of a 1,000-year tiger soul. It seems you want to die first. The tiger soul opened its mouth, revealing sharp fangs. One bite would definitely pierce straight through this guy's head. Agent 001, it wants to eat you, Zhou Cheng shouted from the crowd. Finally sensing the danger, Chen Zhuo took a step back. I wanted to keep you as a pet, and you actually want to eat me. The tiger's mouth descended toward Chen Zhuo's head. The crowd subconsciously closed their eyes, as it reminded them of the last victim. Chen Zhuo raised his scraped hand and threw a punch at the tiger's sharp fangs. The system is currently reinforcing the host's fist, 1,000-pound heavy hammer. Let us see you be arrogant now, meteor tooth smashing punch. The tiger fang was sent flying out of the tiger soul's mouth. The force was so immense that it flipped the tiger soul onto the ground. The 1,000-year tiger soul felt every single bone in its body tremble along with it. The tiger soul got up from the ground, but before it could steady its body, it was met with Chen Zhuo's massive fist again. The system is currently reinforcing the host's fist, 1,000-pound heavy hammer. Kitty cat punch. Both hands took turns entering the fray. Punch after punch landed. On the East Great Bridge, the tiger soul's howls of agony echoed out, shrill and sorrowful. It was not that the tiger soul did not fight back, but rather, when Chen Zhuo attacked, it did not even have a chance to resist. Before long, the 1,000-year tiger soul was cowering on the ground like a stray dog, its two sharp claws that could pierce through 10-centimeter steel plates protecting its head, letting Chen Zhuo beat it at will. Chen Zhuo was having the time of his life beating it. With this little unpresentable bit of strength, it actually dared to covet his life. It should not be surprised its teeth got knocked out. The little ghost who had been roared away drifted back unsteadily, still muttering from her mouth. If you want to eat my master, you will have to step over my body first. Chen Zhuo was also tired of hitting it and waved to the little ghost. Hurry over, it is time to ride the big cat. The little ghost floated forward, her soul turbulent, and was yanked onto the tiger's back by Chen Zhuo. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Chen Zhuo slapped the tiger soul's butt. The tiger let out a yelp, having no choice but to accept its fate. It took a step, started running, and disappeared into the vast night, leaving the crowd standing in the wind on the bridge. Director Chen Zhuo rode the big tiger and ran away. How blind do I have to be to need you to remind me? If you saw it, would not I be able to see it? What are you all standing around for, having a spasm? Chase him. Where do we chase him? How the hell should I know where to chase him? All I know is that if we do not find Chen Zhuo, you will be looking for a new job next month. Riding his big cat, Chen Zhuo dashed through the wind. Host is currently taming the 1,000-year-old tiger spirit. Taming progress is at 20%. Interruption will reset the progress. Whoa. Chen Zhuo imitated what he saw on TV, pulling tightly on the big cat's fur. System. Taming paused, keep the taming data. System, what can I do when faced with a lunatic? Talk about principles? He does not know a damn thing about principles. The 1,000-year-old tiger spirit stopped right in front of the exorcism bureau. Chen Zhuo forgot the pain in his body and forgot about looking for his friend Dong Donkey, but he could not forget his pile of snacks. Chen Zhuo trotted into the exorcism bureau. Playing the part of a secret agent, he dodged the gaze of the bureau staff and slipped into the break room. In the break room, Chen Zhuo carefully counted his snacks and organized them into several large bags. He went back and forth several times to haul them all. When he left the last time, Chen Zhuo never came back. On the back of the 1,000-year-old tiger spirit, which was as big as an elephant, the little ghost used its hands and feet to tie down several bulging bags of snacks. Chen Zhuo rode the big cat with ease, galloping through the city streets. He rode the big cat outside the Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital. In Chen Zhuo's subconscious, he thought of this place as his home. Chen Zhuo took the snacks from the little ghost, hung them on himself, and commanded the little ghost to block the security cameras and open the gate for him from the inside. Chen Zhuo searched the psychiatric ward grounds, scooped up a handful of air to act as a rope, fumbled around the big cat, and used the imaginary rope to tether the big cat to a bench in the hospital yard. The 1,000-year-old tiger spirit watched as it was tethered to absolutely nothing. The tiger spirit quietly took 2 steps back, hoping to sneak away while Chen Zhuo was not looking. Congratulations to the host for taming a mount, 1,000-year-old tiger spirit. A mechanical voice sounded, and a phantom rope circled the tiger spirit's neck, anchoring it to the bench. 1,000-year-old tiger spirit, is that even possible? Under the gaze of the tiger spirit, Chen Zhu, with a bag of snacks in his left hand, one in his right, one on his back, and one on his chest, slipped quietly into his hospital room with the help of the little ghost. He sat on his familiar bed, wrapped in a sheet, and munched on his potato chips. After who knows how long, Chen Zhu fell into a deep sleep. The next morning, the nurse on rounds opened the door to Chen Zhu's room. Chen Zhu was lying on the bed covered in blood. The sheets were stained red, and there was a glaring wound on his forehead. Chen Zhu, help, someone come help. The nurse collapsed on the floor. Chen Zhu sat up in a daze. Not only was his face covered in blood, but there were potato chip crumbs around his mouth, and if you looked closely, you could even see sauce residue from yesterday's braised pork. What is wrong? Chen Zhu squinted, yawning. He had come back way too late last night. Seeing that Chen Zhu was still alive, the nurse stood up by holding onto the doorframe and cautiously approached the bed to check his breathing. It was warm, he was breathing. Chen Zhu, who sent you back? I came back by myself. The nurse could not believe it and reached out to touch the wound on Chen Zhu's forehead. It was shocking. Where did you get this wound? I fell. Does it hurt? Chen Zhu pouted after a moment. It hurts. He pointed out all his wounds. I have them on my arms and legs too. The nurse stroked Chen Zhu's head and coaxed. I see, it is all those bad guys' fault. Yeah, they are all bad guys. The chief of the exorcism bureau arrived upon hearing the news, accompanied by the medical staff who had been out with Chen Zhu. In the office, Director Li Qingshan was furious. If I had not called you, would you have just processed this as a death? The dignified chief of the bureau hung his head like a child being scolded. We did not expect Chen Zhu to run back on his own. We wanted to find him first and then notify you, so as not to make everyone worry together. What if Chen Zhu had not come back? If he had gotten lost or been snatched away by some ghost? It is all our fault. You can scold me all you want, I will not talk back. I, Joe Aguo, swear on my life that there will never be a next time. You want a next time? He is a severely mentally ill patient, not a normal person. He managed to come back this time, but that does not mean he will again. Joe Aguo did not dare say another word, letting the director vent. His purpose in coming here was that even if he had to kneel before the director, he could not let someone with such great abilities as Chen Zhu rot away in a mental hospital. Meanwhile, Chen Zhu, having treated his wounds, sat on a bench in the courtyard basking in the sun, munching on an apple and staring blankly at the clouds. Does the host wish to receive mental illness treatment? Does the host wish to receive mental illness treatment? Host, are you annoying or what? Chen Zhu complained impatiently. System attempt number 43 to treat the patient failed. Outside the hospital, a black private car was parked. 3 people got out, a middle-aged couple and a young woman wearing sunglasses. The 3 of them talked for a while at the entrance, and the young woman pointed in Chen Zhu's direction, discussing something. Chen Zhu lay on the bench, squinting. No matter how he looked at her, she seemed familiar, but he had met too many people in the last 2 days and could not quite remember. After the 3 had spoken with the hospital staff, a nurse brought the young woman over to Chen Zhu. The woman took off her glasses, and Chen Zhu immediately recognized her. Zhang Yaoyu, the one who had gotten sick at the ball pit. Zhang Yaoyu was much thinner than she had been 2 days ago. Her cheeks were sunken, she had dark circles, and her neat ponytail had become loose hair. Chen Zhu almost did not recognize her in casual clothes. Zhang Yaoyu was thinking quickly about how to talk to a mental patient. Ball pit, I have not seen you in a few days. I went to your workplace, but you were not there, Chen Zhu said proactively. Zhang Yaoyu stood in front of Chen Zhu, picking at her fingers. I went to the hospital. Chen Zhu perked up. See, I told you that you were sick. It is terminal. I probably will not live much longer, Zhang Yaoyu said, forcing a faint smile to keep her emotions looking normal. Did you come to me because you want me to help you? Chen Zhu asked. Zhang Yaoyu nodded. Ever since she left the psychiatric hospital last time, she had felt strange. After talking to her mother at home, she followed her mother's advice and went to the hospital for a checkup. Just today, the results came back, exactly as Chen Zhu had said. Zhang Yaoyu had heard about what happened over the last 2 days, which forced her and her parents to believe that this mental patient really did have abilities that normal people did not. She was someone the doctors had declared dead, and Chen Zhu's words were like a blade of grass on a cliff. If you were falling, would you reach out to grab it or not? If you do not grab it, you will definitely die. If you do, you might just live. Chen Zhu leaned back in his chair, rubbing his fingers together to gesture that there is no such thing as a free lunch. Zhang Yaoyu took all the money out of her pocket. Chen Zhu snatched it all without a word, shoved his hands into his pockets, and strolled casually to the convenience store to buy a bottle of mineral water. He shook it wildly. He jumped and shook it. He shook it with his left hand. He shook it with his right hand. This system is a legitimate system, not one of those scamming ones, so please behave yourself, host. The system is currently improving the water quality, with turtle lingering blood. Along with Chen Zhu's shaking, the water in the bottle began to turn slightly red under the sunlight. Zhang Yaoyu rubbed her eyes, and the bottle of water turned back to a transparent color. All right, drink it all in one breath, and your illness will be half cured. Chen Zhu tossed the mineral water bottle, hitting Zhang Heng right in the arms, and turned around to count his money. Zhang Yaoyu picked up the mineral water and examined it carefully. It was just ordinary mineral water. If there was really anything different, it was just a few extra bubbles from the shaking. Could it be that her eyes were playing tricks on her just now? She unscrewed the cap to take a sip first. Chen Zhu shouted from not far away, "It only works if you drink it all in one breath." Zhang Yaoyu gritted her teeth. Gulp, gulp, she drank it all down in one breath. After finishing the whole bottle, Liu Yaoyu carefully felt the mineral water in her stomach, but there was absolutely no special feeling. Holding the empty water bottle in her hand, a bitter smile appeared on her lips. How could she believe that a psycho could cure her illness? Having finished counting the money, Chen Zhu contentedly stuffed it into his own pocket. Come find me again in a week, and I guarantee you will be fully cured. Zhang Yaoyu returned to her parents in disappointment and shook her head at the two elders. Zhang Yaoyu's mother wiped away a couple of tears, offered a few words of comfort, and the three left the hospital. Watching everything from afar, Chen Zhu was puzzled. The illness is about to be cured, so why are they still crying? They must be crying tears of joy. Chen Zhu stood under the bright sun, feeling as if he were a ray of light, warming others and illuminating himself. Truly a hero of this world. His efforts over the past few days allowed Chen Zhu to witness the improvement in his cultivation, which further strengthened his resolve to pursue immortality and the great cow. On the other side, Chief Zhou Aguo talked until he was blue in the face, but he could not sway the hospital director even a bit. In the face of a human life, the director refused to compromise, and Chief Zhou Aguo had lost the trust of Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital. Seeing that his persuasion was useless, Zhou Aguo temporarily gave up on the idea of having Chen Zhu participate in the case. Just temporarily, though, he could never let Chen Zhu's talent be buried in a mental hospital. To be honest, without Chen Zhu, their police department could not handle those cases. Defeated, Zhou Aguo did not leave the hospital and shamelessly mooched a lunch at Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital. Sitting opposite Chen Zhu, Zhou Aguo took a square box out of his bag and placed it in front of him. 001, this is a gift for you. Chen Zhu took the square box and opened the lid. Inside was a smartphone, a special privilege negotiated from the hospital director. Is this phone for me? Yes, we will keep in touch at all times. I have already installed the SIM card for you, and my number is saved on it. Let me teach you how to make calls and help you register for WeChat. The root cause of Chen Zhu getting lost this time was that he did not have a communication device, making it impossible for them to contact him immediately. With a communication device, as long as the phone had a signal, even if Chen Zhu did not answer calls, they could pinpoint his exact location instantly, preventing any further missing incidents. This would turn out to be Zhou Aguo's biggest mistake. In the afternoon, Zhou Aguo prepared to drive away from the mental hospital. Before the car even started, a phone rang. The caller ID showed Chen Zhu. 001 requesting connection to 007. 001 requesting connection to 007. 007 please respond if you copy, over and out. 007 is currently on a mission and cannot connect with 001 for now. He hung up the phone. 5 minutes later, Chen Zhu made a second call. Once 007 completes the mission, please contact 001 immediately, over and out. Copy that, 001. Another 5 minutes passed. Chen Zhu's call came in again. Zhou Aguo was driving himself crazy and simply muted his phone. On WeChat, Chen Zhu's profile picture, showing off a big toothy grin, constantly bombarded him with voice messages. Would you say Chen Zhu did nothing the whole afternoon? No, he did something. He added all the medical staff in the mental hospital as friends, and Zhou Aguo was not the only one getting bombarded. The afternoon vibe at the psychiatric hospital shifted from acting out to this. Chen Zhu, can you stop sending me WeChat messages? Are not you supposed to be cultivating immortality? Chen Zhu, go cultivate your immortality. Are not you about to undergo your heavenly tribulation soon? I do not even dare open WeChat. The moment I open it, it is full of Chen Zhu's messages. I have not looked for 5 minutes and it is already 99 plus. In just one afternoon, Chen Zhu had offended everyone he possibly could. The messages he sent went completely unanswered, with only Zhou Aguo occasionally replying with an insignificant text. Having never stepped out of the mental hospital's gates, he did not know what the outside world looked like, so he assumed the hospital was the entire world. Now that he had been outside and seen the dazzling world out there, how could a psychiatric hospital contain his restless heart? As soon as it got dark, Chen Zhu was too excited to sleep. He was eagerly waiting for Zhou Aguo to pick him up and take him out to play. It was pitch black outside, and the snoring in the non-soundproof ward was deafening. He waited and waited, waited and waited. Chen Zhu, waiting anxiously, could not wait any longer for Zhou Aguo to pick him up, nor could he suppress his urge to go out and have fun. From under the covers, Chen Zhu revealed a pair of bright, dark eyes. Little imp, Chen Zhu called out softly. A wisp of black smoke transformed into the little imp. I want to go out and play. The little imp instantly understood. It phased through the ward into the duty room, blew a puff of ghostly energy, and the two nurses on duty slumped onto the desk, fast asleep. The little imp stole the keys and opened both the door to Chen Zhu's ward and the door on the ground floor. Chen Zhu sneaked out of the building and softly called out at the spot where he had tied the big cat last night. Big cat, big cat. A 1,000-year-old tiger spirit appeared following the sound, opening its mouth wide to show off its tiger-like ferocity. SHH, keep quiet. Grabbing onto the tiger's fur, Chen Zhu climbed onto the tiger spirit's back and softly commanded, "Giddy up." The 1,000-year-old tiger spirit easily leapt over the high walls of the psychiatric hospital and dashed towards the city. On the tiger's back, Hedi-hey-hes, Teddy-ho-hata, quack, 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 giggle, giggle, giggle. In a world where ghostly energy was reviving, the night signaled the arrival of danger. Once it got dark, the citizens hid in their homes, and even if they could not sleep, they would not turn on the lights. After running through the empty streets for a while, Chen Zhu lost interest and slumped dejectedly on the tiger spirit's back. Wanting to cheer Chen Zhu up, the little imp looked around for some new fun and accidentally spotted a figure walking down a small path. Chen Zhu, look, there is someone over there. Where is someone? Chen Zhu looked in the direction the little imp pointed and saw a man carrying a woman on his shoulder, walking towards them. Chen Zhu patted the tiger spirit, hide. The tiger spirit hid in the green belt, but forgot about Chen Zhu, leaving him conspicuously straddling the bushes. You silly cat. Chen Zhu scolded. It was too late for Chen Zhu to hide. The man had already walked over. However, despite the close distance, the man ignored Chen Zhu's presence and walked right past him carrying the woman. The little imp floated beside Chen Zhu and muttered in confusion, "This guy's 3 yang fires are so weak. Not even a dying person's are this weak." What are yang fires? Chen Zhu asked. They are 3 little flames located on a person's 2 shoulders and forehead. All living people have them. Then do you have them? The little imp shook its head. I do not. I'm a ghost, but you do. I do. Chen Zhu looked left and right, but did not see any little flames. Activating the host's heavenly eye. Whoosh! A bright red little flame reflected in Chen Zhu's pupils. I have them, Chen Zhu whispered happily. He reached out to pat the flame on his shoulder. You idiot host, if you put it out, you are dead meat. Who is cursing me again? The little imp tugged at Chen Zhu's arm. Chen Zhu, if we do not chase him now, we will lose him. The man hurrying along had already turned into an alley. Chase, chase, chase. Big silly cat, hurry up and chase. The tiger spirit in the green belt scooped Chen Zhu back up, carrying 1 man and 1 ghost as it chased towards the alley where the man had disappeared. The man took a few turns through the alleyway and walked up to a small, single-story house in the urban village. He knocked on the gate of the small courtyard. The door was opened from the inside, and the man carried the woman inside. Chen Zhu followed on the big cat, peeking over the wall. Inside the courtyard, there was only the figure of the man carrying the woman. The person who opened the door was nowhere to be seen. The courtyard was overgrown with weeds, showing no signs of life. As the man entered the house, a light lit up from within. It did not look like any electronic device, but rather like the flickering flame of a candle. System warning, the host is approaching a dangerous area. A precise location map appeared in Chen Zhu's mind, with the target marked exactly where the man had entered the house. The map showed 3 small red dots inside the house. Chen Zhu signaled for the big cat to crouch on the ground, then stepped on its body to jump into the courtyard. Feeling guilty like a thief, Chen Zhuo grabbed his pants at the knees, hunched his back, pulled in his neck, and tiptoed quietly toward the house. The house was clearly abandoned for years, with its doors and windows severely damaged. Chen Zhuo hid by the wall and glanced inside with his peripheral vision. There were 5 people inside, 2 women and 3 men. One of the women was the one carried by the man. Her hands and feet were tied, her mouth was stuffed, and she was left on the floor unconscious. The others sat around a broken wooden table with 2 large white candles on it. Other than that, the room was empty. What was strange was that in the dusty room, there was only one set of footprints. There was not a single mark around the other 3, which made it obvious to anyone with eyes that they were ghosts. The 3 ghosts were also dressed strangely. The female ghost sitting on the west side of the table wore a green kippah and held a red fan, though only her profile was visible. Opposite the kippah-wearing ghost sat a refined-looking young man with a stitched scar around his neck. The north sat a dwarf with a deeply wrinkled face. The man who had just entered sat on the south side, facing away from Chen Zhuo. He pulled a cloth bag from his chest, unfolded it on the table, and revealed a set of mahjong tiles. The female ghost in the kippah fanned herself, while stealthily glancing toward Chen Zhuo's position. As ghosts, how could they not know when a living person stepped onto their turf? The female ghost did not expose Chen Zhuo. Instead, she took an interest in the unconscious woman on the floor and said to the man, "You have no more lifespan left to gamble with us." The man stared fixedly at the dwarf across the table and pointed to the woman he had brought. "Is her life enough?" "You are truly hypocritical. To keep yourself alive, you put someone else's life on the betting table. Are not you afraid you will lose her life along with your own?" The female ghost turned to look at the man in a coquettish way, but the other half of her face hung loose like a melting candle. The man showed no surprise. It seemed he had been here more than once. The man snorted coldly, "I only have a few days left to live. If you want to blame someone, blame her for giving me this chance. If I win, we both live. If I lose, it is just her bad luck to be the one covering for me." The dwarf took out a piece of paper from somewhere and placed it in front of the man. "Same old rules, put your mark on it first," the dwarf said with a wizened voice. Without the slightest hesitation, the man pulled out a knife and pricked the unconscious woman's finger. The pain jolted the woman from her unconscious state, and she looked at the scene in the room with terror. The man grabbed the woman's hand and pressed her fingerprint onto the paper. Everyone in the room ignored the woman's struggle. This scene only made Chen Zhuo more curious. Why does playing mahjong feel like an underground resistance meeting? The man's speed at playing mahjong was truly at a snail's pace. A normal game takes anywhere from 10 minutes to half an hour, but look at him. He takes at least 5 minutes just to discard a single tile. Chen Zhuo was getting impatient just watching, yet the other 3 did not seem bothered at all. The wait lasted for 2 hours. At first, Chen Zhuo watched with interest, but it became increasingly boring. Open Button Zhuo sat by the wall, listening to the occasional sound of mahjong tiles clicking, and began to drift off into sleepiness. Just as Chen Zhuo was about to fall asleep, the door to the house opened. The man left the courtyard in low spirits. Chen Zhuo noticed that the mung bean-sized flame on the man's shoulder had dwindled to the size of a grain of rice. Chen Zhuo stood up and peered into the room. The tied-up woman had somehow turned into an old lady, with gray hair and a face full of wrinkles, her eyes welling with tears as she watched the man leave. And those clothes. They were the exact same clothes the woman had been wearing when she was carried in. Chen Zhuo scratched the back of his head, confused about what had happened while he was napping, unable to connect the dots. "Little brother, since you are here, why not come in and take a look?" The female ghost in the kippah appeared at Chen Zhuo's side suddenly. By the time Chen Zhuo turned his head, she flashed away and disappeared again. Chen Zhuo quickly looked into the house. The 3 of them were still sitting there, expressionless. A normal person would have bolted away the moment they saw something like this. But who is Chen Zhuo? A patient with severe mental illness. In his eyes, anything unexplainable is possible. When it comes to being bold and stubborn, if Chen Zhuo says he is second, who dares to claim first? Instead of feeling scared, Chen Zhuo felt a bit ashamed. He had snuck into someone's courtyard, and not only did they not blame him, they invited him in. How could he, the one who made a mistake, just walk away? Chen Zhuo straightened his clothes. Damn this leg, it did not fall asleep earlier, why now? He hobbled into the small room as if it were his own house, and even poked the old lady on the floor with his foot. The old lady's face was covered in dust, and she looked at Chen Zhuo with hopelessness. Even though her face had aged, her features were far beyond what an average old lady possessed. The concept of kidnapping did not exist in Chen Zhuo's mind. He was curious about the old lady for a while, then sat down on a chair, looking left and right. Zhao Zhaoqui, early-stage fierce ghost, born during the Republic of China era, a courtesan who caught the eye of a certain military district commander and was taken as his 9th concubine. Later, she was caught having an affair with an actor and was burned alive. She became an evil spirit after death. Zhang Changshan, early-stage fierce ghost, born during the Republic of China era, a young actor at the Fushun Theater. He had an affair with the 9th concubine of a certain military district commander, was caught, and beheaded. He became an evil spirit after death. Gupazi, early-stage fierce ghost, a village guardian who remained a virgin his whole life, became a fierce ghost after death. Gupazi, who actually names their kid that. This was the first time Chen Zhu heard such a unique name, and he laughed without any restraint. The dwarf ghost sitting opposite him looked serious and slapped a piece of paper in front of Chen Zhu. The kippa-wearing female ghost said eerily, "Little brother, is your leg injured?" Chen Zhu pounded his thigh. "It is numb." The female ghost felt awkward and changed the subject. "Little brother, do you want to gamble on something? Perhaps endless money, a virtuous wife, respectful children, and healthy parents, or maybe a rise in your official career?" Chen Zhu shook his head. He had no concept of money. As for family, he was the only one left. And as for a career, he was a madman. How high could a madman's career get, leading a group of other mental patients? Chen Zhu asked curiously, the guy who just left, what was he gambling on? He was gambling with his life. His life, Chen Zhu was confused. He is a dying man who came here to gamble for his life. He staked all of this woman's lifespan. If he loses, this woman's life belongs to us. If he wins, he gains 3 times the woman's remaining lifespan. The bigger the stake, the bigger the reward. The female ghost in the kippa raised her fan, pressed it against Chen Zhu's chin, and said with a dazed look in her eyes. Chen Zhu suddenly realized that the old lady tied up on the ground was the young woman the man had carried in. He must have gambled away the young woman's lifespan. Stupid humans. At the same time, Chen Zhu's mind raced. If he bet his entire lifespan, could it be quadrupled? Assuming 60 years, 4 times 6 is 24, making it 240 years. 3 against 1, a 1 in 4 chance. Can I gamble my own life? The female ghost in the kippa covered her face and laughed. You are supposed to gamble your own life. Gambling your own life brings better luck. System warning, scam alert, host, please do not be fooled. Chen Zhu rolled up his sleeves and stuck out his thumb. I will bet my life too. How much are you betting? All in. Chen Zhu picked up the knife left by the previous man who bet his life. He stared at the pad of his thumb for a long time, and with the system's help made a quick cut, pressing his thumbprint down firmly. Seeing this, the 3 ghosts looked at Chen Zhu in disbelief. Judging by this kid's yang energy, he could live to be at least 80 or 90. If he bet his entire lifespan and the 3 ghosts split it, their ghost energy cultivation could rise by at least a whole level. At that point, as 3 ghost generals, why would they worry about not having a place in the ghost realm? You are straightforward, brother, mahjong or dice. Chen Zhu shook his head. I do not know how. Then what do you want to play? Drawing the turtle. Drawing the turtle? The female ghost in the kippa was astonished. Chen Zhu rubbed his hands together, explaining impatiently. With a deck of cards, take out 1 small joker and 3 eights. Deal the remaining cards evenly, discard the pairs in your hand, and take turns drawing a card from each other. In the end, whoever is left with the unmatchable cards loses. The 3 ghosts exchanged glances, feeling that something was wrong with Chen Zhu. Not to mention betting his life on a game of drawing the turtle, he was so eager. This guy either had something wrong with his head, or he was here to cause trouble. Seeing the 3 ghosts frowning, Chen Zhu pressed on. Do you still not know how to play? Then I will explain it again. We all know. Are we using your cards or ours? I do not have cards, we will use yours. The atmosphere took a sudden turn. 1 person and 3 ghosts sat facing a deck of playing cards. Chen Zhu's eyes darted around. I will draw first. 1 by 1, they drew the entire deck. With 3 ghosts presiding, could Chen Zhu's luck be any good? The 8 and the big joker were both in Chen Zhu's hands. Chen Zhu placed his cards face down on the table and shuffled them. He smiled wickedly at Zhang Changshan. Your turn to draw. System notification. Anti-cheat protection activated. Zhang Changshan scanned the backs of Chen Zhu's cards with his eyes, but he could not see through them as he had expected. He tried again, but still could not see through the cards. That should not be happening. The cards were his own, and the person playing them was currently focused on picking his toes. Hurry up, dawdling just to draw a card. Look at you being all sissy, not decisive at all, Chen Zhu said bluntly. Zhang Changshan reached out his pale hand and hovered over Chen Zhu's cards. He absolutely could not discern what was on the faces of the cards. System message. In line with the principle of safeguarding the host's life, the system needs to provide special means for the host under exceptional circumstances. What Zhang Changshan did not know was that every time he hovered over a card, its face would change from the original number into the big joker. Unable to see through the cards, Zhang Changshan randomly pulled one out. He lifted it up and saw the big joker. Chen Zhu immediately gathered his cards, held them to his chest to guard against the three ghosts, and sneakily glanced at his hand, noticing that the big joker was gone. He, Chen Zhu chuckled wickedly. Zhang Changshan frowned and shook his head at the dwarf ghost. Zhang Changshan said telepathically, "Very strange, I cannot see through his cards." The dwarf ghost replied telepathically, "Do not act rashly for now." In the second round, Zhang Changshan drew the 8. The three ghosts exchanged telepathic messages again. The dwarf ghost communicated telepathically, "This guy has some skills." The female ghost in the Kipao communicated telepathically, "Could he be here to look for trouble?" Zhang Changshan communicated telepathically, "Let us see what his purpose is." Unaware of their telepathic exchange, Chen Zhu was still immersed in his own joy, thinking that his luck tonight was simply too good. After a few rounds, everyone only had 3 cards left. It was Chen Zhu's turn to draw. He placed his hand on the female ghost's cards. When touching the middle card, Chen Zhu felt a slight numbness in his hand. "This is the one?" Chen Zhu pulled out the card and heroically slammed it on the table. "Haha, made a pair, I am out." Chen Zhu tossed aside the cards in his hand and spun around happily. System prompt: the host's lifespan has increased by 180 years, leaving a balance of 240 years. The yin energy of the 3 ghosts at the card table dissipated. Corpse spots gradually appeared on the female ghost's half-intact face, and the bright colors of her clothes faded. The wound on the male ghost's neck became more hideous, his face taking on a livid, corpse-like hue. The dwarf ghost aged rapidly, looking like a pug. The 3 ghosts sat at the table, looking at each other's true post-mortem appearances, and communicated telepathically. The female ghost in the Kipao communicated telepathically, "We worked hard to win this lifespan over the years. We cannot let this kid win it all away." Zhang Changshan communicated telepathically, "This guy is obviously here to cause trouble. We must teach him a lesson." The dwarf ghost communicated telepathically, "Since he is here to pick a fight, do not blame us for being ruthless." The dwarf ghost stood up from his chair and slammed his palm on the table. The temperature in the room dropped sharply. The candle flames on the table danced wildly, their color gradually replaced by a livid green. Under the green candlelight, the 3 ghosts looked exceptionally terrifying. Bang! The wooden door shut automatically. The noise made Chen Zhu jolt in fright. Still immersed in happiness, Chen Zhu did not sense the approaching danger. What bad intentions could ghosts who invited him inside to play cards possibly have? The wind probably blew the door open. Chen Zhu ran to the door and effortlessly pulled the wooden door open. He shook it side to side a couple of times, and because the wooden door was simply too dilapidated, it fell off its hinges. What should he do now? They had kindly invited him in to play cards, and he had just dismantled their door. Noticing the changing colors of the candles inside, he wondered if they were angry over a door. About your door, I did not mean it." Chen Zhu appeared at a loss. The 3 ghosts flashed in front of Chen Zhu simultaneously, their 3 faces glowing with a livid green light. Standing by the door, Chen Zhu swallowed hard and shouted towards the courtyard, "Little ghost, big cat." The little ghost in the Millennium Tiger soul phased through the wall from the courtyard and arrived by Chen Zhu's side. Seeing the imposing manner of the 3 ghosts, the little ghost rose into the air, her hair floating in all directions, black mist swirling around her body and her eyes turning blood red. The Millennium Tiger soul stepped back with its hind legs, adopting a stance ready to attack at any moment. Roar! With a single tiger roar, the intimidating aura of the 3 fierce ghosts inside the room was completely obliterated. "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Chen Zhu scolded. He strode in front of the tiger soul and raised his hand. The Millennium Tiger soul retracted its hind legs that were ready to attack, lowered its head, and took a punch from Chen Zhu. Seeing this, the little ghost obediently landed, put away her fierce appearance, lowered her head, and received a flick on the forehead from Chen Zhu. "Little ghost, bring out my snacks." Chen Zhu then whispered, "Get the ones that do not taste good." The little ghost obediently floated onto the tiger soul's back, rummaged through a bag to find a few packets of snacks, and handed them to Chen Zhu. Holding the bags of snacks, Chen Zhu faced the 3 fierce ghosts inside the room whose imposing auras had completely vanished. "I am really sorry. I truly did not do it on purpose." As he spoke, he stuffed the snacks from his arms into the hands of the 3 fierce ghosts. The three fierce ghosts all turned their gazes simultaneously toward the tiger soul and the little ghost. Ghost Lady in Chongsam's thought, is this tiger spirit the one from Dingdaekyo? Zhang Changshan's thought, it must be. Ghost Lady in Chongsam's thought, we almost got eaten by it when the three of us crossed the bridge at night last time. If we cannot even beat one of its tiger spirits, and there is still that little ghost kid. Dwarf Ghost, it seems he was prepared all along. A wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. As long as there is life, there is hope. The three evil spirits obediently retreated to the table and sat down, and the flames also docilely returned to their original color. Zia Zhu trotted on tiptoes to the chair and sat down, asking the three of them, "Are you guys not angry, right?" Looking at the ghost lady in Cheongsam, she forced a twitch of her lips, sneaking a peek at the tiger spirit outside the house. Of course not. Chen Zhu looked at the dwarf ghost, who sighed, "You are too polite." Zhang Changshan, not at all, not at all. The three ghosts were screaming internally, how could we dare? Seeing that the three ghosts were not angry, Chen Zhu took his phone out of his pocket. "I feel like I have known you three for a long time. Let us take a photo for my moments. Once you are in my moments, you are my friends." Chen Zhu opened the camera app, pointed it at himself and the three evil spirits, and made a peace sign. The three ghosts sat at the table, each with their own troubled thoughts. Chen Zhu turned to look at the three ghosts. "Cheer up, smile, follow me, say peace." Fearing the tiger spirit outside, the three ghosts forced out smiles and made peace signs. "Say cheese together." "Cheese." "Dog, rake, your smile is too ugly, it looks worse than crying. You would better not smile." Click. Dashing youth with a wide, toothy grin and three equally cheerful evil spirits captured a precious photo of their friendship. Moments post, "Look how much fun we are having. My new friends insisted on playing cards with me. It is hard to refuse such hospitality." Post. Chen Zhu tucked his phone back into his pocket with satisfaction and sat back on the chair with a cheeky grin. "Let us continue. Let us keep betting our lives. I have 240 years of life left now." Dwarf Ghost. Ghost Lady in Cheongsam. Zhang Changshan. "If we bet again, we will have to bet our cultivation." "Hurry up, we are having so much fun." Chen Zhu had just won a round and was in high spirits. The female ghost looked at the other two, hesitated for a long time, and then pointed to the old lady on the ground. "Let us bet on her. If you win, we will return her lifespan. If you lose, you pay with your own lifespan." The ghost lady in Cheongsam felt uneasy, thinking Zia Zhu did not seem like the type to sacrifice himself for others. Chen Zhu sized up the old lady, thinking she did not have many days left anyway. She was just an old bean sprout. A glimmer of hope flickered in the old lady's lifeless eyes, and she cast a look of hope. Zhang Changshan looked on with hopeful eyes. The dwarf ghost looked on with hopeful eyes. The ghost lady in Cheongsam looked on with hopeful eyes. Chen Zhu was silent for a long time. Seeing their expectant looks, he actually found it hard to refuse. It is just a card game, does the bet matter that much? Chen Zhu did not care and waved his hand. All right, come on, deal the cards." Except for Chen Zhu, all three ghosts breathed a sigh of relief. Zhou Aguo of the exorcism police station sat in his office, suffering from a headache over his pending cases, occasionally picking up his phone and staring blankly at Chen Zhu's avatar. Should I send him a message? Chen Zhu must be asleep by now, forget it. Wait, this kid actually posted a status on Moments. Behind a big grinning head in the photo, there was a wooden table with 2 white candles and 3 miserable-looking evil spirits squeezing out forced smiles. Posted 5 minutes ago. Good heavens, where did this kid find ghosts to play cards with? Why do these 3 evil spirits look so familiar? Zhou Aguo's heart sank, and he started tapping away on his computer. On the Soul Suppression Bureau's wanted list for ghosts, these 3 ranked 3rd in the evil spirit category. Zhou Aguo rubbed his eyes, holding his phone to look at Chen Zhu's photo, then back at the wanted list. These 3 ghosts roam various cities committing crimes, specializing in betting lives against living people. At least dozens of people have died at their hands. Holy cow, are not these the exact evil spirits on the Soul Suppression Bureau's wanted list? Chen Zhu. Wanted ghosts by the Soul Suppression Bureau. How did they end up together? Zhou Aguo hurriedly tracked Chen Zhu's phone signal and ordered his subordinates to mobilize. Half an hour later, exorcism police surrounded the small courtyard. Several agile officers vaulted into the courtyard and took positions outside the bungalow, waiting for further instructions. Everyone was in position. Go, Zhou Aguo gave the order over the radio outside the yard. The officers rushed into the dilapidated house, holding special pistols in one hand and talismans in the other. surrounding Chen Zhu and the three evil spirits. Yin energy detection, grudge ghost. Does not the Soul Suppression Bureau's wanted list say they are evil spirits? Zhou Aiguo, who arrived shortly after, snatched the Yin energy detector and restarted it. Yin energy detection, grudge ghost. Zhou Aiguo was stunned. Bring another Yin energy detector over here. Yin energy detection, grudge ghost. This is truly strange. Zhou Aiguo looked at the three ghosts holding playing cards. Upon seeing Zhou Aiguo, the three ghosts seemed more relieved than seeing their own fathers. The ghost lady's outfit was no longer recognizable as a cheongsam. It was just a pile of rags hanging on her, and her fan was reduced to just the frame. Zhang Changshan's eyes were dull, and some of the stitches on his neck had come undone. His head might fall off if he were not careful. The dwarf ghost's skin was sagging over the chair, and he had to use his hands to lift his eyelids just to see his cards. Can someone tell him what is going on? Seeing an acquaintance, Chen Zhu dropped his cards and greeted him cheerfully. I was just thinking of finding you after finishing this game. Since you are here, why not join us for a few rounds? When the three ghosts heard it was Chen Zhu's acquaintance, they were so startled that their cards scattered all over the floor. Are you three evil spirits? Zhou Aiguo could not overcome his curiosity. How did perfectly capable evil spirits turn into mere grudge ghosts? The three ghosts looked at each other. The dwarf remained silent, while Zhang Changshan held onto his own head. Only the ghost lady in Cheongsam wailed, Our cultivation was all lost to him. If Zhou Aiguo had not arrived, they might not even be grudge ghosts anymore. If this game finished, they had been downgraded to stray souls. Chen Zhu scratched his head, feeling embarrassed. It is just a card game. You win some, you lose some. I just have good luck today. The ghost lady in Cheongsam lowered her head and grumbled quietly, We are the ones always losing. Have you ever lost? The once fearsome evil spirits had now turned into bitter, weeping women. The woman tied up on the floor had returned to her young appearance. Seeing Zhou Aiguo, she squirmed and let out a hum through her gagged mouth. Zhou Aiguo ordered for her to be untied. Uncle Zhou. Once untied, the woman let out a cry and grabbed onto Zhou Aiguo's arm. Zhou Aiguo brushed aside her hair. Her small face was delicate as a porcelain doll, and her eyes were filled with tears, looking pitiable. Kiki. Zhou Aiguo was surprised. This girl was Wu Xuanqi, the youngest daughter of local real estate mogul Wu Batang. Chen Zhu leaned in and lifted Wu Xuanqi's hair. Do you know this little old lady? Little old lady? I am obviously in my prime, okay. Where do I look like a little old lady? Wu Xuanqi glared at Chen Zhu. Zhou Aiguo smiled awkwardly. This is a friend's daughter. Your friend. Chen Zhu looked the little old lady up and down, chuckled a few times, yawned, and said, Then I will leave this to you. I am done. I played cards all night and cannot hold on anymore. I am going home to sleep. I will send a car to take you back. Your little black box is too slow. Chen Zhu waved his hand to refuse and shouted toward the courtyard outside, Big Cat. The Millennium Tiger Soul appeared at the sound, and along with it was the little ghost. The Yin energy detector in Zhou Aiguo's hand beeped nonstop. Little Ghost's Yin energy detection, mid-stage tier 3 vengeful spirit. Millennium Tiger Soul's Yin energy detection, late-stage tier 3 vengeful spirit. They all got stronger. Zhou Aiguo almost bit his tongue. Chen Zhu got on Big Cat, waved at Zhou Aiguo, leaped up, and disappeared into the early morning darkness. After helplessly watching Chen Zhu leave, Zhou Aiguo arranged for the victims to get medical help and arrested the three ghosts. When packing up, Zhou Aiguo straightened his back, took out his phone, dialed a number, and gave two pretentious dry coughs. Hello, Soul Suppression Bureau. The third place on the Vengeful Spirits section of the Ghost Wanted list on your Soul Suppression Bureau website has been arrested by our Exorcism Police Department. Close the case for these three vengeful spirits. All right, I'm still busy here, hanging up. After hanging up, Zhou Aiguo instantly felt the whole world was beautiful and hummed a little tune as he got into the police car. Halfway back to the psychiatric hospital, the sky did not cooperate and fine rain began to fall. Chen Zhu felt playful and ran wild in the rain for a while, getting soaked to the bone before returning to Kingshan's psychiatric hospital. Having had enough fun outside, Chen Zhu returned to his ward and fell asleep snoring in his wet clothes. In the morning, the nurse came to wake Chen Zhu up and noticed his little face was flushed. She touched his forehead and it was burning hot. While Chen Zhu was asleep, she took his temperature. He had a high fever of 40 degrees. The nurse patted Hu Zhu awake. Chen Zhu, wake up. Come to the duty room and help me out later. Chen Zhu woke up from his deep sleep, his hair as messy as a chicken coop that had been through a fight. His head was groggy, and his eyes were narrowed into slits. "Help with what?" "Dr. Ayuan is sick and needs an injection. Do not you hold a grudge against him. Go hold him down." Ayuan was Chen Zhu's attending physician. On Chen Zhu's enemy list, many people came and went, but only Dr. Ayuan permanently occupied the #1 spot. Because of this, Chen Zhu even gave him a nickname, Ayuan the Monkey. As soon as Chen Zhu heard that Ayuan the Monkey was getting an injection, his long-accumulated resentment was finally released. "This monkey Ayuan has finally fallen into my hands." Chen Zhu was genuinely happy. He quickly got up, washed up, and ran to the duty room right away. In the duty room, there was a medicine tray. Dr. Ayuan was sitting on a chair and coughed violently twice when he saw Chen Zhu come in. Seeing this, Chen Zhu was ecstatic inside. "Just wait and see how hard I stab you." The nurse waved at Chen Zhu, and Chen Zhu knowingly ran up and firmly held down Ayuan the monkey on the chair. "Haha, did not expect this, did you? The day has finally come when you fall into my hands," Chen Zhu gloated. The nurse nearby used a syringe to draw medicine from a vial and flicked it. "Stab him hard, he will recover faster," Chen Zhu said excitedly to the nurse. Dr. Ayuan bent down and tightly grabbed Chen Zhu's arms with both hands, causing Chen Zhu to stick his butt out. Watching the liquid overflow from the syringe, an image of the needle stabbing deeply into Ayuan, the monkey's butt appeared in Chen Zhu's mind. Just thinking about it felt incredibly satisfying. Seeing Chen Zhu lost in his fantasy. Before he knew it, the nurse pulled down Chen Zhu's pants and gave the injection. It stabbed solidly right into Chen Zhu's butt. Chen Zhu completely failed to react. He tried to pull his hands back, but Ayuan the monkey held onto them tightly. "Oops, wrong person. I am sorry, Chen Zhu, I gave it to the wrong person. I will pull it out right away." The nurse feigned surprise while pushing the medicine in. After the injection was done, Dr. Ayuan also let go of Chen Zhu's hands. Chen Zhu clutched his butt, completely bewildered. How can someone give an injection to the wrong person? Was not the injection for Ayuan the monkey? Why did it stab into my butt? This makes no sense. The system laughed wildly. "Learned it, I have learned it." With a mix of coaxing and trickery, Chen Zhu was ushered out of the duty room. For the whole morning, Chen Zhu was thinking about the injection incident. He truly could not figure out how an injection meant for Ayuan the monkey ended up in his butt. Did not that mean he took a shot for Ayuan the monkey for nothing? The more he thought about it, the more he felt he had been shortchanged. And the more shortchanged he felt, the more he thought about it. Chen Zhu focused solely on pondering the injection. Outside Wenshan Psychiatric Hospital, Zhang Yaoyu's family's black sedan appeared once again. The ones who got out were still Zhang Yaoyu's parents, but this time, the three of them were carrying a lot of things. The three registered at the guardhouse. The guardhouse tried calling the hospital director, but the line was constantly busy. At that moment, the director was sitting in his office, holding the phone and loudly questioning the other end. "Chen Zhu ran out last night. Such a big deal, and you are only notifying me now. Chief Zhou, should not you have contacted our hospital immediately?" All right, I knew you would use vengeful spirits as an excuse. I do not believe you did not even have time to make a phone call since the incident happened. Do not tell me you are on your way. You are not welcome at our Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital." The security guard who came to report trotted over, motioned for the director to look out the window, and whispered, "Director, someone's here. The guardhouse could not get through to your phone." Seeing the three members of the Zhang family at the gate, the director rudely hung up on Zhou Aguo. Because of the rainy day, Zhang Yaoyu and her parents were led into the reception room to wait for Chen Zhu. Mixed in among the many psychiatric patients, Chen Zhu still held a grudge over the injection incident in the morning. He secretly swore never to trust the nurse's words again and added her to his enemy list. "Chen Zhu, someone brought you food," the nurse called out. "Do you think I would still believe you?" "Coming," Chen Zhu answered crisply. After the morning's incident, Chen Zhu was extremely cautious. If anything seemed off, he would run away immediately. In the reception room, there was no injection nurse and no Ayuan the monkey. It was initially determined to be safe. "Chen Zhu." Zhang Yaoyu waved at Chen Zhu with a sweet smile, her long hair tied behind her head again. Without any makeup, pure and neat, she must be the unattainable first love of so many people. Chen Zhu stuck his index finger into his nostril, dug around, and fixed his gaze on the pile of gifts on the table. Zhang Yaoyu's mother pushed the things on the table forward. Not knowing how to communicate with a psychiatric patient, she broke the awkward silence. "Chen Zhu, these are all for you." Chen Zhu pointed at himself, "For me." Zhang Yaoyu's father said, "Thank you for saving my daughter. These small gifts are just a token of our appreciation." After going back yesterday, they felt a bit uneasy and specially went to the hospital for a checkup. As a result, Zhang Yaoyu's breast cancer had miraculously shrunk by more than half. This made them so happy that they bought bags of gifts early this morning to come and thank Chen Zhuo. You are welcome. Saving a life is better than building a 7-story pagoda. Chen Zhuo, who had been depressed all morning, regained his happiness upon seeing these gifts. He sat on the table without any manners and tore into the gifts Zhang Yaoyu had given him. Seeing this, Zhang Yaoyu hurried to get closer to Chen Zhuo. My mom runs a clothing store and I brought you a few outfits. I'm not sure if they will fit though. New clothes. Chen Zhuo was taken aback. Having lived in a psychiatric hospital since childhood, he could count the number of times he had worn new clothes on one hand. Come on, put this set on and try it out. With Zhang Yaoyu's help, Chen Zhuo quickly changed into a new outfit and began striking various heroic poses in front of the mirror. Oh, and here are some fruits and snacks. I was not sure what you liked, so I just bought a little of everything. The corners of Chen Zhuo's mouth stretched and curled upward, a clear sign that he was happy and very happy at that. Then I will have a taste. If it is good, you should buy more next time. Chen Zhuo happily munched away, holding a dragon fruit in one hand and a banana in the other, while wearing a Pikachu knit hat on his head. Watching Chen Zhuo's joy, Zhang Yaoyu smiled happily as well. He had looked into Chen Zhuo's background and knew he had been abandoned by his parents due to a congenital mental illness. Having grown up in the asylum, he had basically no contact with the outside world. Because Chen Zhuo had given her a second chance at life, her family had decided to treat him like a relative and would visit him at the hospital whenever they had time. Just then, 3 people walked into the reception area. Leading them was Zhou Aiguo, the chief of the Exorcism Police Bureau, followed by a man and a woman. The man was short and stocky, wearing a thick gold chain around his neck. The woman was tall with long legs, wearing exquisite makeup. Her features were beautiful, and her looks were in no way inferior to the police officer Zhang Yaoyu. Oh my, it is pouring out there, but your hospital is still so lively, Zhou Aiguo said with a familiar, easygoing smile. When the director saw Zhou Aiguo walk in, his previously cheerful expression darkened. What are you doing here? Zhou Aiguo chuckled apologetically. This is Mr. Wu Batang, chairman of Hengfeng Real Estate, and this is his beloved daughter, Ms. Wu Xuanqi. Chen Zhuo saved her from 3 fierce ghosts last night, and Mr. Wu and his daughter are here to thank him. The director's face softened slightly. Chen Zhuo, do you remember me? My name is Wu Xuanqi. You saved me last night. Wu Xuanqi stepped forward, looking at Chen Zhuo with curiosity. Chen Zhuo, his face covered in dragon fruit residue, glanced at her, turned his head away in disdain, and went back to devouring the fruit in his hands. He had seen the little old lady and her father come in earlier. When little Kyukyu came to save him, she brought bags full of gifts, but these 2 came empty-handed. He could not believe they had the nerve to visit him. The atmosphere in the reception room turned chilly. You have to be patient with a mentally ill patient. Wu Xuanqi bent down and greeted him gently. Hello, Chen Zhuo. This clueless little old lady. Chen Zhuo continued to turn his body, keeping his back to Wu Xuanqi. The director could not stand it anymore and said, Chen Zhuo, they came a long way to see you. How can you be so rude? Chen Zhuo's fiery temper flared. Am I being rude? Did I ask them to come see me? They chose to come here themselves. Look at little Kyukyu. That is how you visit someone. They came empty-handed, so who are they here to see? The room fell into an awkward silence. This guy is just too realistic. Zhou Aiguo, understanding Chen Zhuo's personality, whispered to the father and daughter, giving him some money works too. He gets happy when he sees the red bills. Wu Batang smiled obsequiously. I have already prepared it. Mr. Chen, thank you so much for saving my daughter last night. Please fill in this check with any amount you like. Whatever you write is the reward I will give you. Wu Batang took out a pen and a check from his briefcase and handed them to Chen Zhuo. Wu Batang was a shrewd man. In this era of ghost recurrence, money did not mean much, as you never knew when some spirit might come to claim your life. On the contrary, a powerful individual like Chen Zhuo was worth cultivating a relationship with. Therefore, even though Chen Zhuo was mentally ill, Wu Batang remained incredibly humble. This little old man is quite sensible. Chen Zhuo's eyes lit up. He knew what checks were from the movies. The wealthy would always whip one out to solve problems and write whatever amount they pleased. It looked so cool. Chen Zhuo took the check, feeling its weight. So this is what those checks from the movies look like. They are just like regular paper. Chen Zhuo poked his finger at the blank space for the amount. Units, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. Then he looked up at Wu Batang. Can I really fill in any amount? Before Wu Hu could react, he picked up the pen and started writing from the 100 million spot, muttering, 999,999,999. The flesh on Wu Batong's face twitched, and his legs went weak with fear. He nearly collapsed. This crazy man is too greedy. That is only 1 yuan short of 1 billion. Even if he sold everything he owned, it would not add up to 1 billion. Seeing Chen Zhu put the pen away, Wu Lu wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and signaled to Zhou Aiguo, who was watching the spectacle. Zhou Aiguo did not know whether to laugh or cry. Of course, he knew Wu Batong's net worth. That amount was impossible for him to pay even if he were sold. He signaled to Wu Batong to stay calm, then walked to the restroom door, found a quiet corner, and sent a text to Chen Zhu. The most heroic warrior of the planet, Dong Yao, report to the restroom immediately. Back in the reception room, after Chen Zhu finished filling out the check, his phone in his pocket chimed with a notification. Chen Zhu clutched his phone and opened WeChat. Upon seeing Zhou Aiguo's message, he instantly felt his stature grow taller. I am going to the restroom. No one follow me. Chen Zhu kept glancing back as he walked, and once he confirmed no one was following, he trotted over to the restroom door. Dongdongqi, there are too many eyes here. Speak quickly if you have something to say. Chen Zhu said, looking at Zhou Aiguo. Dong Yao, I have a feeling that check is a trap. Think about it. Once you have written it, where will you actually go to cash it? The bank, of course. Dongdongqi, you still do not fully understand these foolish humans. I mean, what if you go to the bank and they do not honor it? Who are you going to find then? What if those two are just con artists? Chen Zhu pondered this. Dong Yao thinks Dongdongqi makes a good point. Do you have any good suggestions? A bad check is no substitute for real goods. Goods, I already have plenty of food. I mean physical, tangible items. I see, thanks for the heads up, Dongdongqi. After saying that, Chen Zhu ran back to the reception room. In the reception room, Wu Batong was sweating bullets. Seeing Chen Zhu return, his heart leaped into his throat. Chen Zhu threw the check to Wu Xuenqi. I do not want the check anymore. I want actual items, and they must be delivered right in front of me. Wu Batong let out a breath of relief and quickly followed up. Then what do you want? Chen Zhu scratched his head and ears, opened his mouth, but then hesitated. In the past, others would always buy things for him, and he just had to accept them. If you really asked him what he wanted, he knew so little about new things in the outside world that he genuinely did not know what to ask for. Chen Zhu looked at the 3 members of the Zhang family, then at the Wu father and daughter, and then glanced at the hospital director and Zhou Aiguo. What they were wearing, Chen Zhu already had. The cell phones they carried, Chen Zhu also already had. They all rode in black box cars when they went out, which Chen Zhu did not have yet. A black box, I want a black box, Chen Zhu blurted out. A black box, everyone was puzzled. Zhou Aiguo, leaning against the doorway, sighed softly. He means a 4-wheeled sedan. A 4-wheeled sedan. Severely mentally ill patient wants a 4-wheeled sedan. Who would dare to give him a car? If an accident happened, whose fault would it be? Wu Batong swallowed hard. It is not that I cannot afford it. If Director Zhou and your hospital director agree, I am willing to give you one. That was a beautiful passing of the buck. Chen Zhu looked at Zhou Aiguo and Director Li Qingshan with expectant eyes. Li Qingshan thought, what does this have to do with me? Zhou Aiguo thought, I just helped you and you passed the buck to me. That is really unfair of you. The director did not dare to look into Chen Zhu's eyes and scratched his head. He would have to be wanting an early retirement to agree to let a mental patient drive a car. The bureau chief also wanted to avoid Chen Zhu's gaze. Chen Zhu's big face was right in front of Zhou Aiguo. Rejecting Chen Zhu would mean the hard-earned friendship they had built would crumble and collapse. Chen Zhu hid to the side, took out his phone, and secretly sent a message to Zhou Aiguo. 007, the time to fight side by side has come. Zhou Aiguo felt anxious inside. What should I do? What should I do? Is there a compromise? Oh heavens, give me some wisdom. Chen Zio tapped on his phone keyboard again. 007, you really have betrayed the planet. Zhou Aiguo frowned, swept his gaze over the gloating crowd, gritted his teeth, stomped his foot, and said, fine, I agree. Shock, astonishment, horror. Zhou Aiguo did not dare to look into everyone's eyes and explained. What I mean is, our police department will provide a person to act as Chen Zhu's driver. Boss Wu will buy the car for Chen Zhu, and director, you just need to cooperate. Zhou Aiguo thought to himself, you guys threw the problem at me and I have no choice. I cannot just offend Chen Zhu because of you. Anyway, after what happened last night, the mental hospital definitely could not keep Chen Zhu locked up anymore. The director had to compromise with the exorcism police department. and the car given by Wu Batong would be the perfect excuse to plant an informant by Chen Zhu's side. For him, why not go along with it? I disagree, I can drive myself, Chen Zhu refused. You might as well drive a tractor. You are dreaming if you think anyone would dare let you drive. Zhou Eguo knew Chen Zhu's temper well and coaxed him. People of high status do not drive. If you do not believe me, ask Boss Wu. Wu Batong had not even realized how the topic had shifted to him. Right. I have a dedicated driver whenever I go out. Exactly, you are a person of status. You cannot drive, you can only be driven, Zhou Eguo coaxed. Chen Hong turned back and asked Zhang Yaoyu, "Little ball, is that true?" Zhang Yaoyu's mouth twitched. "Why, yes, I suppose so." Chen Zhu's gaze moved to Li Qingshan. The director frowned. What could he do? Was he capable of locking Chen Zhu up, or would Chen Zhu even listen to him? Yeah, Li Qingshan answered extremely reluctantly. Having received answers from everyone, Chen Zhu pointed at Zhang Yaoyu gleefully. Then little ball can drive for me. That will not do. My daughter is still sick and cannot overwork herself. Zhang Yaoyu's mother, nervous about her daughter's condition, subconsciously refused. As soon as she said it, Zhang Yaoyu's mother regretted her hasty decision. What if she made Chen Zhu unhappy and he refused to treat her daughter's illness anymore? That would be terrible. Chen Zhu did not think that much of it. He slapped his thigh. Little ball, go to the convenience store and buy a bottle of mineral water. Did not you say to come back in a week? Zhang Yaoyu asked in confusion. If I say a week, it is a week. If I say a day, it is a day. Hurry up and go, Chen Zhu said with some impatience in his tone. Oh, okay, I will go right now. Zhang Yaoyu looked hesitantly at her parents, who waved their hands, gesturing for her to hurry up. Before long, a bottle of mineral water was bought and brought back. Chen Zhu sat cross-legged on the table with his eyes tightly closed, his hands resting on his knees and the mineral water placed in front of him. While I am channeling my energy, no one is allowed to make a sound. Otherwise, if you ruin my powers, do not blame me for being ruthless. Chen Zhu issued a warning to the crowd. Zhang Yaoyu's parents had witnessed Chen Zhu's formidable skills. Terrified that someone might ruin this matter of life and death for their daughter, they pressed their palms together and bowed to everyone, pleading with them not to make a sound. Chen Zhu on the table kept his eyes tightly closed, but his restless eyeballs could be seen moving beneath his eyelids. The quiet lasted barely a dozen seconds before Chen Zhu swung his arms up. Universe invincible wind and fire wheels, whoosh, whoosh. How was this channeling energy? It was clearly a mental patient acting crazy. According to the director's years of work experience, a mental patient suddenly going crazy like this should have long been carried into a ward by security guards and settled in minutes with a shot of tranquilizer. Chen Zhu jumped off the table and hopped around it, jumping left and right, muttering incomprehensible things under his breath. He brought his palm down. The mineral water lost its center of gravity, got knocked over, and rolled off the table onto the floor. Chen Zhu glared fiercely at Zhang Yaoyu, adopting the posture of an elite master. Hold it steady. Zhang Yaoyu hurriedly picked up the fallen mineral water and held it firmly with both hands. Chen Zhu slammed his palm onto the cap of the mineral water bottle. The system emphasized again that it is a legitimate system, not one of those scamming systems, and advised the host to behave. The system was now improving the water quality, adding turtle entanglement blood. Separated only by his palm and the bottle cap, a strong red hue spread downward at a speed visible to the naked eye. Creak! Wu Batong, sitting on his chair, was so startled that he slipped and fell to the floor. Everyone's eyes fell on Wu Batong. He raised his hands, wanting to apologize to the crowd. Zhang Yaoyu's parents hurriedly made a shushing gesture. Wu Batong stood to the side, not daring to make another sound. On the other hand, Chen Zhu gripped the bottle tightly with his fingers and pulled the mineral water out of Zhang Yaoyu's hands. As usual, he shook it madly. Shaking it madly, jumping up and down while shaking it. Shaking it with his left hand. Shaking it with his right hand. A bottle of thick red liquid gradually returned to its original transparent state with every shake from Chen Zhu. Thud! With a loud sound, Chen Zhu slammed the mineral water heavily onto the table, sweating profusely from exhaustion. This bottle of water has been infused with 50 years of my cultivation. Drink it in one gulp, Chen Zhu said, panting. The system noted that it was obviously because the host was tired from running around like a maniac. Zhang Yaoyu did not say much. She picked up the mineral water, twisted off the cap, and gulped it down. The water this time had a faint smell of blood. She finished it all in one breath. Unlike last time, Zhang Yaoyu could clearly feel the water in her stomach spreading through her meridians, cleansing every impurity within her body. Especially in her chest, a warm liquid was swirling around. At first, there was a slight pain, but gradually it turned into a sense of comfort. A few minutes later, she felt an unprecedented sense of lightness throughout her entire body, as if she were a newborn baby, untouched by the dust of the world. "Yaoyu, how do you feel?" Zhang Yaoyu's mother asked her daughter with concern. Zhang Yaoyu touched her own face. This lightness was truly and tangibly real. Zhang Yaoyu's father pointed at his daughter's hand and said in surprise, "The needle marks are gone." Having been hospitalized for breast cancer, Zhang Yaoyu had to receive a large amount of medication almost every day, leaving many needle puncture marks on her arms. Chen Zhu sat on the table, crossed his legs, and said lazily, "Duh, this bottle of water cost me 50 years of cultivation. To save Xiao Qiuqiu, I wasted 50 years of training." Zhang Yaoyu looked at her smooth hands in astonishment. Even the calluses from holding a gun had become soft. Recovering from her shock, Zhang Yaoyu bowed 90 degrees to Chen Zhu, too moved to know what to say. "Chen Zhu, thank you so much. I am really so grateful to you." Zhang Yaoyu's mother covered her mouth as tears fell, and her father's eyes also welled up. Zhang Yaoyu was their only daughter, and she was the life of the elderly couple. It was another case of tears of joy. "Why do stupid humans always like to thank me?" Chen Zhu sat on the edge of the table with one foot hanging down and the other resting on the edge, his hand against his knee and his forehead, imitating the pose of a boss from a Hong Kong movie. "Xiao Qiuqiu is fated to be with me, master. I wonder if Xiao Qiuqiu is willing to be my master. No, that is not right." "How does that go again?" Chen Zhu had lost his previous cool demeanor, clutching his head with both hands, trying to remember what he should say. "You be my master," Zhang Yaoyu spoke up first. Yes, that is what I meant. While everyone is here, kneel and become my disciple." Chen Zhu sat up straight. Kneel to become a disciple?" Zhang Yaoyu questioned the era she was living in. "What year is it, and we are still doing the kneeling apprenticeship thing?" Chen Zhu stretched out a hand, pointed to the floor, his excitement evident. Zhang Yaoyu's mother poked her daughter and whispered, "Are you stupid? Not only can he save your life, but he can also help you quite a bit with your future career." Zhang Yaoyu walked to the spot Chen Zhu pointed to, knelt on the ground and kowtowed. "Master is here, please accept your disciple's bow." Chen Zhu got what he wanted, jumped off the table, and pulled his disciple up from the ground with both hands. "Good disciple Xiao Qiuqiu, get up, get up." Chen Zhu reached into his clothes and rummaged around. System gift, 100 Ghost Bell. When a ghost approaches, the bell will ring automatically and can disperse low-level ghosts depending on the owner's level. Chen Zhu pulled the 100 Ghost Bell from his body and placed it in Zhang Yaoyu's hand. "As your master, I have nothing good to give, so I bestow this 100 Ghost Bell upon you." Bronze-colored bell appeared in Zhang Yaoyu's hand, covered with unintelligible characters both inside and out. This bell is called the 100 Ghost Bell. Once a ghost gets close, it will ring on its own to drive the ghost away. Before Zhang Yaoyu could get a good look at it, a large hand reached over and took the bell from her. The owner of the hand, Zhou Aiguo, carefully examined the texture of the bell. The craftsmanship and material showed great effort. Thinking of Chen Zhu's talisman, which prevented a 5-star fierce ghost-level tiger spirit from approaching, one could see how powerful this 100 Ghost Bell must be. He held it in his hand and shook it, but it did not ring. It seems it only rings when it encounters a ghost. "What a treasure!" Chen Zhu snatched the bell back. "This is for her, let Xiao Qiuqiu hold it." Chen Zhu placed the 100 Ghost Bell back into Zhang Yaoyu's hand. Zhou Aiguo's look was one of envy, jealousy, and desire to own it. "Master, no, Chen Zhu, are you still taking disciples?" Chen Zhu looked at Zhou Aiguo with disdain. Although he did not say anything, his eyes conveyed his opinion. "Do you think you are worthy?" Zhou Aiguo slunk aside, feeling awkward, and fell silent. Wu Batang's values had been completely overturned. This lunatic could not only drive away ghosts but also heal illnesses. If he could get close to such a master, was there anything he could not accomplish? "Master Chen, would you like to go to a 4S dealership to pick out a car you like? That black box you mentioned, we have sent one over. I hope it meets your approval." At this moment, Wu Batang no longer had the air of a business tycoon. He only wanted to curry favor with Chen Zhu. "Go now." Chen Zhu became excited again at the mention of the black box. "We will go now," Wu Batang replied, then turned to the dean. "That is okay, right?" Wu Batang, a well-known real estate tycoon in the city with connections in both the underworld and legitimate circles, was not someone most people dared to offend. Add in Zhou Aiguo, the director of the Demon Suppression Police Station, who loved to stir up trouble, and they would all be sharing a hospital room with Chen Zhu sooner or later. They are all crazy. Go quickly and come back soon, Li Qingshan said with a fake smile. The group left the Qingshan psychiatric hospital in a noisy bustle. Just after seeing them off, before Li Qingshan could even turn around, another car arrived on the small road leading to the hospital. What is going on today? People are coming in wave after wave. Sir, hello, is this Qingshan psychiatric hospital? A head poked out from the driver's seat. Sir, was he that old? Li Qingshan put his hands behind his back and looked back at the hospital's sign. Was the sign not conspicuous enough compared to him? Yes. That is good, get out of the car, get out. The person in the driver's seat said to the people inside. 5 people, men and women of all ages, got out of the car and pulled a lot of things out of the trunk. Are you relatives of any patients? The dean asked curiously. Sir, we are here to see Master Chen Zhu to ask for a talisman. My brother is a police officer at the demon suppression station, and he said Master Chen's talismans are very powerful, so we brought the family to ask for a few. Looking for Chen Zhu again. Chen Zhu, that pile of dog poop, has really become popular. That is truly unfortunate. He left just a moment before you arrived. Oh, will he be coming back? Probably not until tomorrow. Knowing Zhou Aiguo's nature, he certainly would not send Chen Zhu back tonight, and Chen Zhu definitely would not stay in the psychiatric hospital tonight. Sir, when he gets back, could you please tell him? The car turned around and drove off without even a goodbye. Li Qingshan stood at the hospital entrance, muttering to himself, calling me sir and expecting me to pass a message. Keep dreaming. He did not know why he was angry, but he was just very angry. Li Qingshan walked into the hospital in a huff. Wu Badong bought a thank you gift for Chen Zhu. Zhang's parents found it inconvenient to tag along, so they bid farewell to Chen Zhu at the crossroad. Zhang Yaoyu was pulled into Wu Badong's Mercedes-Benz G-Class by Chen Zhu. Chen Zhu sat in the middle of the back seat, with his newly accepted good disciple Zhang Yaoyu on his left, and Wu Xuanqi, the youngest daughter of the Wu family he saved last night, on his right. The 2 pretty girls occasionally made eye contact, and it felt as if sparks were flying in the air. Although this man was a psychiatric patient, he had real abilities, so both of them hoped to build a good relationship with him. As for Chen Zhu, he had no idea what these 2 girls were thinking. At this moment, he was curiously examining the facilities inside the car. What is this big round disc? This is called a steering wheel. It controls the direction of the car, Wu Badong responded with a smile. Then what is this? This is a dash cam. Your black box does not run very fast. It is not even as good as my big cat. You think this is not fast? Let me speed up and show you. Zhou Aiguo, who was sitting in the passenger seat, had witnessed the speed of the 1,000-year-old tiger soul with his own eyes. Boss Wu, your car really cannot compare to his big cat. His big cat disappears in a flash. You would not even be able to catch a glimpse of its shadow. How big of a cat must that be? I really want to see it for myself. Wu Xuanqi interjected. Dad, that is a tiger soul at the level of a malicious ghost. Big cat is just the name Master Chen gave it. A tiger soul? I know humans have souls after they die, but tigers have them too. And at the level of a malicious ghost, then I definitely would not dare to see it. If it gets unhappy and eats me, I will not even know how I died. The group arrived at the Mercedes-Benz dealership laughing and talking. Chen Zhu wore the casual suit Zhang Yaoyu bought for him, looking fresh and handsome. As long as he did not act out, it was hard to tell he was a psychiatric patient. A person like Wu Batong was a major client anywhere. As soon as the sales staff at the dealership saw it was the big boss Wu Batong, they immediately surrounded him, so attentive that they looked like they wanted to kneel down and call him daddy. Chen Zhu was eating the snacks provided by the sales staff, wandering among the many luxury cars, touching this one and looking at that one. Finally, he stood in front of a compact smart car. The car only had 2 seats and a trunk, and its overall size was only about as big as the front hood of a normal car. This is it is destined for me. Chen Zhu patted the car body with satisfaction. Seeing this, the sales staff reminded him, this model is not suitable for family travel. Family? Chen Zhu was all by himself. Was he a person who needed a family? Can a strong man who is tied down still be called a strong man? Are you doubting my judgment? Chen Zhu looked at the sales staff with disdain. Wu Badong quickly agreed, this is it. Since Master Chen likes it, we will buy it. Zhou Aiguo secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Chen Zhu was not someone who would take good care of a car. If he really chose a luxury car, the exorcism police department would not be able to afford the maintenance fees alone. Choosing a smart model meant that as long as it was not severely damaged and could still be driven, it would not need repairs. More importantly, the exorcism police department's crappy little cars could still catch up to it. Very good, very good. Yes, we must buy the car Master Chen picked out, Joe Aguo chimed in. Since the buyers all agreed, the salesperson could not easily introduce other models. There are no brand new cars of this model in this city. We will need to transfer one from elsewhere. I just want this one. Chen Zhu sat inside the car and refused to come out. Wu Badong took out his card and handed it to the salesperson. Swipe the card. We will take this one and drive it away right now. Buying a car was like buying cabbage. The whole process took less than 10 minutes. Joe Aguo helped process the temporary license plate. Just like that, Zhang Yaoyu, acting as the driver, took Chen Zhu's black box out on the road. Wu Badong, carrying Joe Aguo and a reluctant Wu Xuanqi, led the way in the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. The sun sank to the west, and the streetlights along the road lit up. Darkness signaled the arrival of danger. The once bustling streets were left with only a few cars hurrying home, as no one wanted to stay in the dark night for a second longer. Wu Badong's car led the way, with Chen Zhu's little car following behind. In comparison, Chen Zhu's car looked adorably small. Sitting in the passenger seat, Chen Zhu held the snacks he snagged from the dealership, eating them while staring at Wu Badong's car in front. The more he looked, the angrier he got. Outrageous. How dare foolish humans run ahead of him? Little Kyukyu, overtake them, Chen Zhu said to Zhang Yaoyu in the driver's seat. Master, our car is not that fast, Zhang Yaoyu replied. Yes, it is. You just speed up and leave the rest to me. Zhang Yaoyu stepped on the gas pedal. System bonus activated, increasing the speed by 100%. Whoosh! The small smart car shot forward like a firework. Without needing Zhang Yaoyu's control, it perfectly dodged Wu Batong's car and left it far behind. That is more like it. The strong should always be at the very front, Chen Zhu said with satisfaction, holding his snacks. Zhang Yaoyu looked bewildered. The speed of this car was abnormally fast. Behind them, Wu Badong and Joe Aguo completely failed to realize that Chen Zhu had sped ahead. The two were discussing an important matter. Director Joe, you have a good relationship with Master Chen. Please do me a favor and put in a good word for me. 4 people have died for no reason in my residential complex project, and we still cannot find out the cause. If we do not resume work soon, I will not be able to bear the losses. I will ask him for you. It should not be a big problem, but I cannot guarantee he will be able to solve your issue. Speaking of which, are you sure you have not offended anyone? Our police department's professional detection equipment has been stationed there for a week, and we have not detected any fluctuations of negative energy at the site. I also suspected it was man-made. I had someone investigate everyone on the construction site, but they are all just wage earners with no one pulling strings behind the scenes. Besides, who would be stupid enough to use their lives to get things done? Wu Badong said in distress. Half a year ago, Wu Badong bought a plot of land, intending to develop real estate and build a residential complex. On the first day of construction, blood was spilled when a worker crushed his foot while working. This was not a good omen. But with such a massive project and the money already invested, they could not just stop. He gave every worker a red envelope, and the matter was dropped. Would have thought that on the 5th day of construction, a worker accidentally had his internal organs pierced by a steel rebar while working. He died before the ambulance even arrived halfway. It was witnessed by coworkers and supported by surveillance footage, and was ultimately ruled an accidental death. Less than half a month after this incident, while another worker was swinging a sledgehammer, the hammer suddenly broke and hit him right on the head, killing him on the spot. Similarly, with witnesses and surveillance footage, it was ruled an accidental death. Having no choice, as heavy investments were made and the project could not stop, Wu Badong pulled some strings and bit the bullet to continue construction. The third case happened when the building reached the 5th floor. A worker jumped off the building. Right under everyone's watchful eyes, he chose to end his own life, even though he had been laughing and joking during lunch. 3 times is the limit. Panic spread among the workers at the site and they went on strike, refusing to work anymore. The exorcism police station sent people to stake out the site non-stop for a whole week, deploying all kinds of detection equipment. The team on duty stayed safe, and the equipment did not pick up a single thing, so in the end, it had to be classified as accidental deaths. Wu Badong could not just watch the money he invested go down the drain, so he raised the workers' wages. Tempted by the money, the workers agreed to work 6 hours a day. This trick worked for a while, but about 2 months later, a worker who had already clocked out for the afternoon returned to the site for some reason and died of a sudden heart attack inside the building under construction. After 4 workers died at the site due to various accidents in a row, even as bold as Wu Badong was, he did not dare to continue construction. He pulled strings and begged for help, hiring one master after another to look at the feng shui, catch ghosts, and consult spirits. They all acted high and mighty and charged exorbitant fees, but their peachwood swords and ghost-repelling talismans were absolutely useless. This matter left him worn out and desperate, and then his youngest daughter got into trouble, tricked by a villain into a vicious ghost's gambling table. We all know the rest. By the time he found that person, the guy was already dead. Fortunately, Chen Zhu saved his daughter Wu Xuanqi. Coupled with Zhou Aiguo's strong recommendation and the fact that he saw mineral water turn into a miracle cure, he became convinced that Chen Zhu was his savior. Never mind a car. As long as Chen Zhu can solve his current predicament, he would be willing to give him anything he asked for. Sitting in the back seat, Wu Xuanqi looked back at the car, then looked ahead into the distance. "Dad, Master Chen seems to be faster than us." "Impossible, in that little car of his, even at full throttle." Zhou Aiguo looked in the rearview mirror and choked mid-sentence as if a chicken feather got stuck in his throat. "Where is Chen Zhu?" Wu Xuanqi reached out her slender hand through the gap between the front seats and pointed ahead. "We are almost losing sight of him." Zhou Aiguo looked in the direction of Wu Xuanqi's finger and saw the tail of Chen Zhu's small car getting further and further away. Zhou Aiguo took out his phone and called Zhang Yaoyu. "What are you doing? Driving a rocket? Trying to fly to the moon or something?" Zhang Yaoyu's voice came from the other end of the line. "I do not know what is going on, but this car seems faster than normal." Chen Zhu was heard shouting on the other end. "Come and catch me if you can. You cannot catch me, walla walla walla." Zhou Aiguo could not help but laugh and cry. "Go to the Jinjiang Hotel. Mr. Wu has set up a banquet there." "Okay," Zhang Yaoyu replied curtly and hung up the phone. Chen Zhu and Zhang Yaoyu arrived at the Cheng Hotel first. They mentioned Wu Batong's name, and a waiter led them into a private room. After Wu Batong and the others finally caught up and everyone was seated, Wu Xuanqi and Zhang Yaoyu were extra attentive to Chen Zhu, peeling shrimp and crabs for him. Wu Batong and Zhou Aiguo just looked at each other. How could the petty thoughts of foolish humans escape Chen Zhu's fiery golden eyes? "Do you guys have something you need my help with?" Chen Zhu asked while chewing on a crab leg. Zhou Aiguo smiled apologetically. "Mr. Wu is developing a real estate project. Since construction began, workers have been dying in constant accidents. Our officers from the exorcism police station have been there, but they could not detect any yin energy, so we wanted to ask you to take a look." Yes, exactly. Master Chen, I would like to ask for your help. If you can fix it, I will definitely reward you handsomely." Zhou Aiguo leaned into Chen Zhu's ear and whispered, 001, do not forget, that black box of yours was a gift from him. If you eat someone's food, you have to be soft-spoken and do as they ask. Chen Zhu understood that principle. "All right, then this master shall go and take a look with you." Chen Zhu readily agreed. Wu Batong raised his glass and said joyfully, "Master Chen, this drink is for you. Thank you very much." After dinner, the two cars drove to Wu Batong's construction site, where the officers Zhou Aiguo had notified in advance had been waiting for a long time. Nightfall made Wu Batong timid as a mouse, his eyes darting around, nervously checking for danger. Standing in front of the large iron gate of the construction site, he fumbled around trying to look calm, but could not even manage to open the lock. Pairs of eyes waited for the gate to open. Given Wu Batong's status, no one dared to say anything. Chen Zhu was baffled. How could anyone take so long just to open a lock? He walked over with his head down, picking his nose. A glance was all it took to realize that the key Wu Batong was holding did not belong to that lock at all. And he kept jamming it into the keyhole. "Stop jamming it, you will not get it in even if you try until dawn. Just look at the key you are holding. Does it look like it belongs to this lock? Move aside." Chen Shi mercilessly pushed Wu Batong away, grabbed the lock firmly with one hand in front of everyone. "The system is unlocking the door." Snap! Chen Zhu pulled the lock open and tossed it aside. Opening a lock, it really is that easy. Wu Batong wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. In this day and age, who would dare to go out at night? If it were not for the fact that no one else dared to come, he would not be in this haunted place. Chen Zhu placed both hands on the iron gate and pushed it open with force. The construction site in the dark, with its unfinished buildings, looked like hungry beasts waiting for prey to walk right into their trap. On the surface, it looked perfectly normal. Chen Zhu strode into the site, squinting as he surveyed the area. The system is activating the host's heavenly eye. A black line appeared out of thin air at Chen Zhu's feet, spreading outwards in an arc. Inside the circle, mysterious black characters and patterns were floating. Everything visible to the naked eye was merely the tip of the iceberg. Wanting a better view, Chen Zhu looked up, searching for a vantage point. Big Cat Chen Zhu shouted. The Millennium Tiger Soul appeared at his call, yawning lazily. Zhou Aguo instinctively checked the yin energy detector in the officer's hand. It showed no fluctuations from the Tiger Soul. This place really is not normal. Chen Zhu pointed at the tallest building on the site. Go there. He leapt up and climbed onto the Tiger Soul's back. Roar. The tiger let out a roar. Using the surrounding structures as leverage, the Tiger Soul bounded up and reached the top in just a few leaps, leaving the rest of the group bewildered. He has a Tiger Soul, but they have to rely on their own 2 feet. Keep track of the person next to you and stay close. Zhou Aguo led the team, with Zhang Yaoyu by his side, following in Chen Zhu's direction. Perched on the rooftop, Chen Zhu looked down. A massive circular pattern laid out before his eyes, enclosing the entire construction site. Inside, there were 3 smaller circles sharing the same center, 4 circles in total, covered in dense, floating characters that rotated in different directions. Eye of Sacrifice, worshipping evil ghosts as gods, suppressing them at the center of the formation, feeding them human flesh and blood to enhance their cultivation. The formation is activated. The sacrifice begins. Chen Zhu stared at the messy array of runes. Eye of Sacrifice, what the heck is that? The bravest warrior of the universe, 001, is answering the call. The bravest warrior of the universe, 001, is answering the call. Chen Zhu's phone rang in his pocket. He took it out and saw it was Zhou Aguo calling. 001, where are you? 007 is requesting backup. 001 acknowledges the request and is heading there at full speed. Wee woo, wee woo. Chen Zhu rode the Tiger Spirit, leaped down from the tall building, pierced through the darkness, and found Zhou Aguo and the others on the 3rd floor. The group was shivering, hiding in a corner, holding talismans facing the empty ground not far away. Chen Zhu took 2 steps forward, feeling his body merge into some kind of barrier. Through his eyes, he could faintly see thin ghostly energy lingering around. At the same time, Chen Zhu also saw what the group was terrified of. In the open space of the floor, a worker wearing a hard hat appeared, vigorously swinging the sledgehammer in his hands. Although the hammer fell heavily, the ground remained completely undamaged. In the construction site case, there was a worker swinging a sledgehammer who was struck dead on the spot when the hammer broke. It must be the one right in front of him. The worker gave a bizarre smile towards the group. He suddenly raised the sledgehammer. The handle of the sledgehammer snapped. The hammerhead spun half a circle in the air and smashed solidly right onto the worker's head. Blood splattered everywhere. The people present had no time to dodge. Chen Zhu saw a stream of blood shooting out, spraying right toward him. Chen Zhu quickly hopped twice in succession and dodged it. Chen Zhu patted his chest with lingering fear. That was close. His new clothes were almost ruined. But it was not over yet. The worker who had been smashed to death wriggled his body and crawled back up. With a large hole smashed into his head and blood streaming all over his body, he had become a bloody mess, yet he was still smiling bizarrely at the group. This was a beginner-level ghost domain. A nearby ghost was using Wu Batang's fear to create a ghost domain, isolating the local area from the outside world and amplifying his inner terror. In the very center of the group, Chen Zhu found Wu Batang, who was scared out of his wits. With a contorted face, Wu Batang was desperately clutching Zhou Aguo's arm, pulling so hard that the seams on Zhou Aguo's clothes were coming apart. Zhang Yaoyu noticed Chen Zhu's arrival and excitedly called out, "Master." The shout of "Master" instantly made Chen Zhu's image seem incredibly heroic. "Fear not, my disciple, your master is here to save you." Chen Zhu walked behind the worker and pushed out a palm strike. Under his palm, the worker holding the sledgehammer instantly turned into flying ash and dissipated. The group's tense nerves relaxed slightly, but not far away, another brick-moving worker appeared. The brick worker was carrying a stack of red bricks in his hands. He gave the group the same bizarre smile, walked slowly to the glassless window, and threw himself out head first. Not long after, the brick worker reappeared in the group's line of sight in a bloody, mangled state. Looking at Wu Batang again, his face was distorted, his features squeezed together. He bared his teeth in terror, looking as if he wished he could jump right onto Zhou Aguo's body. Sweeping his gaze past his disciple, Chen Hong heroically struck out with another palm, turning the brick worker to ash as well. Wu Batang's inner drama was quite rich. Just as the brick worker was taken care of, this guy started imagining the worker who had died of sudden cardiac arrest. That worker was lying on the ground, twitching continuously and bleeding from all his orifices. The group was no longer just scared, they were mostly puzzled. Are they going to die all over again or what? Chen Jiu ignored the worker dying of cardiac arrest and beckoned to Wu Batang with his finger. "Come here." Seeing this, Wu Batang not only did not dare to step forward, but kept backing away. Chen Jiu grabbed Wu Batang, who was hiding in the crowd, and dragged him out. Without another word, smack, he slapped Wu Batang right across the face. All the surrounding illusions vanished instantly. Wu Batang clutched his face, looking completely bewildered. The group vaguely seemed to understand something. At this moment, the tracking map in Chen Jiu's mind showed a small red dot appearing not far from them. He abruptly turned his head and looked in the direction of the red dot. A long-haired female ghost was standing next to a concrete pillar. Meeting Chen Jiu's gaze, the female ghost dodged away into the distance. "Little ghost, stop her for me," Chen Jiu commanded. Little ghost appeared, blocking the fleeing female ghost. Little ghost wore a black dress, exuding black energy all around her. No matter where the female ghost ran, little ghost accurately cut off her escape route. Forced back again and again. The female ghost was driven right in front of Chen Jiu. This was a wrongfully deceased soul. It was a Tier 2 resentful ghost in its early stage, having died in a car accident. She was searching for a substitute to prepare for reincarnation, but was trapped in the Eye of Sacrifice. The female ghost's long hair covered her face. She was barefoot, wearing a white dress that bore the faded stains of washed-out blood. Seeing that she had no way out, the female ghost channeled the ghostly energy around her, her feet slowly leaving the ground. Chen Jiu slapped the female ghost on the head, shoving her back down to the ground just as she had risen 3 or 4 centimeters. Do ghosts not need dignity too? The female ghost stretched out her pale hands, gripping Chen Jiu's neck tightly, trying with all her might to lift him up. She pushed hard, but could not lift him. Strangling Chen Jiu's neck with both hands, she tried even harder. Still could not lift him. Chen Jiu reached out and tickled the female ghost under her armpit. The female ghost giggled and pulled her hands back. It was not very damaging, but it was highly insulting. "I am a ghost. How could I laugh? This is so embarrassing for a ghost." Chen Jiu brushed aside the hair covering the female ghost's face. There was no blood, no horror. Her pale face was picturesque with pitch-black pupils. She must have been a great beauty when she was alive. The only slightly discordant thing was that her eyes looked a bit crossed, pointing left and right, making her look adorably silly. Chen Jiu moved close to the female ghost's face, tip of nose to tip of nose. The female ghost swallowed hard and fixed her hair. "What are you looking at? I'm warning you, leave quickly. If you do not, you will all die." Saying the harshest words, but using the cutest voice. Seeing the female ghost like this, even Joe Aguo did not feel she had any lethal power. He held the ghostly energy detector right up against her, but it still could not detect anything. She does not seem like a ghost who has ever harmed anyone either. She has no ghostly presence at all. Just look at little ghost. When she gets serious, both her eyes turn completely red, terrifying anyone who looks at her. Wu Batang, not knowing where he got the courage, reached out a finger and poked the female ghost. After poking her, he fearfully pulled his hand back. Warning alert, the ghost deity suppressed by the Eye of Sacrifice is fluctuating. Host, please leave immediately. Hurry up and leave, go quickly. The female ghost suddenly went frantic. As a ghost inside the formation, she could sense the fluctuations within it. Chen Jiu ran to the window. His pupils reflected the outline of the Eye of Sacrifice, and the center of the formation core was slightly shifting. The female ghost had appeared by Chen Jiu's side at some unknown point, clutching his arm. "You cannot let it wake up. Hurry up and leave." The female ghost's voice was almost begging. "Who is waking up?" Joe Aguo was confused. Looking in the direction Chen Jiu was facing, everything seemed perfectly normal to his naked eyes. The guy suppressed down there. "My true opponent," Chen Jiu said with some excitement. "Suppressed." Joe Aguo looked completely dumbfounded. The breeze grew cooler, blowing through the building's openings and making a howling sound. The female ghost looked at the clueless group. "You must choose one person to sacrifice to it, otherwise everyone will die." The group was confused and turned to director Joe Hong. But Joe Aguo did not know squat. A mental patient and a ghost. Who was he supposed to ask? For everyone's safety, Joe Aguo decided, let us retreat first. At the window, Chen Jiu leaped into the air. Accept the judgment of the gods, Astura. Joe Aguo turned his head, but Chen Jiu, who had been standing at the window, was nowhere to be seen, and the source of his voice was descending. The 3rd floor. He jumped down. Who is Astura? Everyone ran to the edge of the window opening and leaned out to check on Chen Jiu's condition. Descending, Chen Zhuo maintained a half-kneeling posture, his right palm level with his feet, his left hand raised high. System boost activated, Buddha's palm. Boom! The ground suddenly caved in, and with Chen Zhuo at the center, dust flew in every direction. The building Zhou Aiguo was swayed, followed by a massive cloud of dust that rushed toward them, making it impossible to keep their eyes open. When the dust settled, what appeared before their eyes was a giant palm print, with a pitch-black circular pit at its very center. This pit... Wu Xuanqi widened her eyes and let out a gasp. This was caused by Chen Zhuo. Wu Badong stammered, his awe of Chen Zhuo reaching an absolute peak. "Where is my master?" Zhang Yaoyu could not find Chen Zhuo's figure in the pit. "Quick, go down and take a look," Zhou Aiguo said hurriedly. Everyone swarmed down the stairs and arrived at the edge of the pit. Only then did they discover 9 coffins inside. 8 coffins were arranged in a bagua formation around a large bronze coffin, connected by chains. In the direction corresponding to each of the 8 coffins lay a black stone carved with strange spells. "Master, master," Zhang Yaoyu yelled anxiously, leaning over the edge of the pit. "Cough, cough." In a corner of the pit, Chen Zhuo coughed as he climbed out of the dust, covered in dirt and ash. Chen Zhuo wiped the soil off his face and immediately spotted the 9 large coffins. "Hey, so many big black boxes." Chen Zhuo was full of curiosity and wanted to go up for a closer look. 001, do not move. Zhou Aiguo let out a sharp cry and slid down into the pit, tumbling twice and nearly rolling right up to the coffins. Zhou Aiguo scrambled to his feet, staring at the coffins and the runes on the black stones, feeling his hair stand on end. 007, what is wrong with you? Chen Zhuo asked curiously. Zhou Aiguo grabbed Chen Zhuo's arm tightly, sweat and dirt dripping from his forehead, and stammered, "Chen Zhuo, let us go, we have to go now." Chen Zhuo thought quickly. Seeing Zhou Aiguo so anxious, there might be some incredible treasure hidden inside. It is just like in the TV shows, where a group of treasure hunters enters a big cave and finds several large chests filled with gold and jewels. These chests are even bigger than the ones on TV, so there must be even more treasure. You sly 007, you probably want to keep all these treasures for yourself. Why should I? I was the one who found the treasure, so I should be the one to have it. I'm not leaving, why should I leave? The treasure I found belongs to me. Chen Zhuo pushed Zhou Aiguo's hand away and draped himself over the coffin. Zhou Aiguo said with a trembling voice, "Oh no, this is not treasure, this is the Eye of Sacrifice of the Sky Demon sect." "I know, and that is mine too." No matter what Zhou Aiguo said, Chen Zhuo was convinced that these large coffins were boxes filled with treasure. However, the words Eye of Sacrifice filled the faces of Wu Badong, Wu Xuanqi, and Zhang Yaoyu with terror. 3 years ago, ghost energy began to resurge, and legendary ghosts and monsters appeared all over the world. Fortunately, powerful beings still existed among humanity, and countries successively established demon exorcism police bureaus and soul-suppressing departments to suppress the ghosts appearing across the globe. Although the resurgence of ghost energy had a significant impact on the world, after the sun rose, the ghost entities dissipated, allowing human life to return to normal. However, the resurgence of ghost energy also brought other unexpected disasters. The most notorious among them is the Sky Demon sect. The Sky Demon sect is mainly composed of evil cultivators for whom the resurgence of ghost energy is a perfect opportunity to enhance their power. They sacrifice ordinary people to make deals with ghosts and demons, thereby increasing their own strength. A year ago, the Sky Demon sect initiated a sacrifice in Yuanxing City to summon a demon god from the ghost realm, and in a single night, all 300,000 residents of the city perished. Later investigations revealed that this sacrificial array was known as the Eye of Sacrifice. The Eye of Sacrifice consists of 8 main arrays, each containing 9 coffins. 8 of the coffins are placed in the 8 directions: east, south, west, north, southeast, southwest, northwest, and northeast, corresponding exactly to the 8 trigrams: Kaian, Kun, Zhen, Zun, Kan, Li, Zhen, and Dui. Inside these 8 coffins lie ghosts above the level of fierce ghosts, utilizing their yin energy to form a yin-gathering array that nourishes the entity in the 9th coffin. This 9th coffin is the eye of the formation, and the ghost inside is at least of the evil spirit level, far beyond what they could ever hope to rival. Seeing Chen Zhuo's money-grubbing expression, Zhou Aiguo had no choice but to step forward and pull on him while yelling toward the pit above. "Call the soul-suppressing department quickly." The demon exorcism police above the pit pulled out their phones one by one, immediately attempting to contact the soul-suppressing department. "Wait, why is there no signal? My phone has no signal either. I had a signal just a moment ago. The demon exorcism police said, holding up their phones. Just as everyone was puzzling over the lack of signal, the coffins in the pit began to tremble slightly. Feeling the vibration, Joe Aguo slumped to the ground in terror. Chen Zhu lay on the coffin, his body swaying along with the movement of the casket. Sitting up, Chen Zhu put his hands behind his back and tapped the coffin lid twice, knock knock. The vibration of the coffins intensified, causing the chains between them to collide and rattle loudly. Chen Zhu straddled the coffin, hunched down, and peered through the gap between the lid and the coffin body. It was sealed too tight. He could not see a thing. With a bang, a sudden noise rang out. The lids of the 8 coffins were blasted open by an internal force, and because of the tension of the chains, the lids shattered into pieces. Chen Zhu, holding a piece of coffin plank, was knocked onto the blue stone. The entire pit filled with ghost energy, accompanied by a thick, foul stench. 001, where are you, 001? Joe Aguo, trapped in the pit, panicked. The black gas was so dense that his eyes were completely useless. Chen Zhu, having had his heavenly eyes opened by the system, climbed up from the stone, dropped the piece of plank, stretched his neck, and aimed his gaze at the big coffins. Standing in the 8 large coffins were 8 corpses. These 8 corpses were over 2 meters tall, unclothed, with massive skeletons. Their skin was a layer of black leather wrapped around bone. Their ribs were clearly defined, and on their heads were a few long, white hairs swaying in the wind. Dry corpse, late stage of a 3rd-tier fierce ghost. After death, the body is refined and buried in a location of great yin to nourish the corpse. Legend has it that such a place can preserve a body for 1,000 years, waiting for the soul to achieve perfection, so that it may return to the body. Joe Aguo, sitting at the edge of a coffin, had his vision blocked by the yin energy, so he reached out his hands to feel his way along the coffin wall. In his memory, Chen Zhu had just been lying on the coffin. After fumbling for a bit, he reached the opening of the coffin and grabbed at the air. He touched one of the legs of the dry corpse. 001, is that you? Joe Aguo grabbed the dry corpse's leg and squeezed it. Dead flesh. It would not squeeze. Oh, what is that? Terrified, Joe Aguo stumbled backward, tripped over his own feet, and fell hard on his backside. The mummy closest to Joe Aguo raised its leg and kicked away the coffin board on one side. It walked slowly towards Joe Aguo, grabbed his neck with one hand, and lifted him up like a little chicken. It opened its foul-smelling mouth and began to suck away Joe Aguo's vital energy. Joe Aguo's feet kicked in the air. The mummy's suction made his head throb with pain, forcefully tearing his soul apart from his physical body and causing his spirit to waver. Joe Aguo's head and limbs struggled, while his 3 ethereal and 7 physical souls followed sluggishly. It was like a powerless tug-of-war. Even knowing he would lose, he still had to put up a fight. Midst his struggle, Joe Aguo remembered something. Clenching his teeth, he forced his almost paralyzed hand into his pocket, used the only 2 fingers he could still control to pull out the protective amulet drawn by Chen Zhu, and sluggishly moved it closer to the mummy's body. The amulet's power could force a 1,000-year-old tiger spirit of the malicious ghost level to retreat half a meter. He only hoped it would have the same effect on the ghostly creature of the Eye of Sacrifice. Golden lines floated up from the paper of the amulet, forming an isolated space. This isolated space pushed the mummy a step back, and also pushed Joe Aguo a step back. This pushing force caused the mummy's nails to brutally scratch off 5 strips of flesh from Joe Aguo's neck, letting warm blood flow out. The mummy launched another attack, but the isolated space in between reacted and bounced the mummy flying away, while Joe Aguo was also pushed to the edge of the pit. No matter how much force the mummy used, the amulet rebounded it all entirely back onto the mummy itself. Thrown to the ground, Joe Aguo could no longer care about the wound on his neck. His mind lingered between clarity and chaos, and every organ in his body was telling him to close his eyes and go to sleep. But his mind clearly realized that he could not sleep. If he slept, his soul would leave his body, which meant he would end up like the dead workers on the construction site, his soul sacrificed to the Eye of Sacrifice. Joe Aguo would cease to exist in the world, and he would never see his family and friends again in any lifetime. Joe Aguo's situation frightened Chen Zhu, who was in the coffin array. He bared his teeth, frowned deeply, and his face contorted, as if the shocking wound had happened to himself. Chen Zhu approached the mummy in the coffin. Its eye area twitched. Even though it was unclear whether it was an eyeball or black mud, Chen Zhu noticed it immediately. He locked eyes with the mummy. "What the hell are you looking at?" Chen Zhu raised a fist. "System boost, demon subduing palm." A demon-subduing fist. He smashed it right into the mummy's face. Crack, crack. The sound of the mummy's facial bones shattering. Chen Zhu's fist pierced right through the mummy's skull. The mummy hung on Chen Zhu's arm like air-dried cured meat. Disgusted, Chen Zhu pulled his hand back and shoved off the mummy's corpse. The mummy stood in place, swayed side to side twice, and crashed to the ground. By taking out one mummy, Chen Zhu drew a massive amount of aggro. The neck bones of all the mummies made cracking sounds, and they stepped forward in unison, walking towards Chen Zhu. The bottom of the pit was filled with sinister energy, which could be seen clearly from above. The exorcist police at the top of the pit saw all the mummies walking toward Chen Zhu. They held hands and went down into the pit, and the 5 bravest exorcist police officers carried the injured Zhou Aguo out. He clearly could not win, yet he insisted on throwing his life away. The remaining 7 mummies were nothing but skin and bones, but they were huge in stature, towering a full head over Chen Zhu. Chen Zhu felt like he had absolutely no imposing presence. Chen Zhu climbed onto the largest bronze coffin in the center, which made him half a body taller than the group of mummies. Standing on the bronze coffin, Chen Zhu rested his hands on his waist and jiggled his leg. He pointed his finger across each of the mummies. You cannot beat me, so you resort to cheating. Trying to gang up on me? A bunch of weak losers. Come on, try touching even a single finger of mine. Chen Zhu gave them the middle finger, walking from the head to the tail of the bronze coffin and back again, despising the 7 mummies with all his might. The 7 mummies surrounded the main coffin, but dared not step forward. It was not because they were afraid of Chen Zhu, but because they feared the true master inside the main coffin. But in Chen Zhu's eyes, they were simply scared of him and did not dare to make a move. He stomped his feet twice on the bronze coffin lid, lecturing the 7 mummies. You little mummies who do not know your own limits, what goes around comes around. The living breath of Chen Zhu awakened the true master inside the main bronze coffin. Sensing the awakening of the true master, the 7 mummies all knelt down around the main bronze coffin. That is more like it. There is no shame in surrendering to the strong. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. Just as he was speaking, the iron chains on the bronze coffin snapped one after another. Crack, crack, crack. The 7 mummies kowtowed and prostrated themselves on the ground. Chen Zhu jumped down from the coffin lid. The lid of the bronze coffin slowly slid off and fell to the ground with a muffled thud. Chen Zhu looked inside the coffin. There was a well-preserved mummy. Unlike the mummies in the 8 outer coffins, its cheeks were sunken but not noticeably so. It wore armor and combat boots with its hands clasped over its abdomen. Beside it were various scattered items, the most prominent being a sword. Mummy General, an early-stage Tier 4 evil spirit. In life, a chore boy in the military camp who envied the general's prestige. When the 2 armies clashed, he fled the camp, deceiving the locals with a stolen set of general's armor. After death, he was buried as a general. Protected by the evil aura of the armor, his body absorbed dark, malevolent energy for years, and was later excavated by cultists of the heavenly demon sect to gather evil energy and nourish his corpse. Warning to the host, slay him as quickly as possible before he fully regains consciousness. It turned out that the one suppressed in the core of the array was a fake general. It had to be said that this swindler had really good luck. He used stolen armor to deceive people and live as a fake general for his whole life. And even after he died, people still nourished his corpse as if he were a real general. He definitely did not lose out in this lifetime. Chen Zhu touched the armor in the bronze coffin. Nourished by the evil aura, it was dark and shiny. The scratches on it represented the memories of battling on the battlefield. Even after so many years, it remained incredibly majestic and domineering. Although the general was fake, this armor was real. Chen Zhu thought if he were to wear it. On the day Chen Zhu returned triumphantly to his planet, bathed in the sunlight, he would step out from the brightness wearing a suit of armor just like this. The most heroic warrior on the planet, Agent 001, has returned in triumph. People all over the planet cheered and shouted for him. Standing perfectly straight, he raised his proud head and declared, "I vow to defend the planet's honor with my life." With every movement, he displayed absolute majestic dominance. He. Chen Zhu let out a snicker. In front of everyone, Chen Zhu pried open the mummy general's hands, took the jade cicada from them and shoved it into his pocket. He pulled out the mummy general's sword and, imitating what he saw in TV shows, pressed the sword against one of the kneeling mummies. If you kneel and beg for mercy, this general will spare you. After he had enough of playing with the sword and went to grope around for other things, he glanced at the bronze coffin. The mummy general had opened his eyes at some unknown point. His gaze was fierce and thick with killing intent. Without any leverage, the mummy general rose straight up, looking down imperiously at Chen Zhu and the kneeling mummies, his gaze finally resting on Chen Zhu. If one did not know he was a fake general, they would really think this oppressive aura was naturally radiating from him. The mummified general's eyes moved mechanically from Chen Zhu's body to his hand. He raised his hand toward the sword in Chen Zhu's grip. The sword in Chen Zhu's hand began to tremble, as if it recognized its true master and wanted to return to them. Chen Zhu held on tightly to the sheathed sword, refusing to let go. How absurd! He was the bravest warrior on the planet. He represented the glorious image of the planet. How dare the aura of this fake general overshadow his own? Chen Zhu's lips pressed tight, his brows furrowed, and a scarlet light flared in his eyes. System boost, general's aura. A sudden, overwhelming sense of pressure surged from Chen Zhu. With every breath, he became indistinguishable from a battle-hardened general. The blade that had claimed countless lives finally sensed its master's aura, and it rested quietly in Chen Zhu's hand, becoming a mere accessory. Chen Zhu gripped the scabbard, his right hand exerting force. The blade left its sheath. The righteous energy radiating from Chen Zhu enveloped the long-dormant blade. Wherever it passed, dark and impure things turned to smoke. Under the moonlight, the blade shimmered with silver light, reflecting the countless heroic spirits sacrificed beneath it. Whether they were exorcist police or mummies, no one on the scene dared to utter a sound. Chen Zhu pointed his sword at the mummy general. Audacious deserter, how dare you steal a general's belongings? Prepare to meet your end. Giving the mummy general no time to beg for mercy, he swung his sword across the creature's neck. The sword passed, but the head remained. Chen Zhu flicked his gaze. The mummy general's head rolled off in one smooth motion, and the body collapsed. Chen Zhu turned his gaze back. Without another word, he raised his sword. A flash of blade light struck the 8 mummies. He sheathed the sword. The 8 mummies were sliced in half at the waist. True general, a king of the battlefield, with countless lonely souls beneath his blade. A suit of armor and a sharp sword could turn a mere common soldier into a demon. One can only imagine how magnificent the general himself must have been. Fierce ghosts and evil spirits alike were nothing more than lonely souls beneath his blade. The general's regalia seemed to sense a familiar aura. It automatically disassembled itself to find its true master. With armor on his body and the sword in his hand, Chen Zhu's figure became imposing. Chen Zhu's mindset was automatically subsumed into the general's persona. He stepped out of the pit and stood before everyone. His gaze swept across the crowd. Everyone felt a piercing chill. Their knees went weak, and they dared not look Chen Zhu in the eye. The exorcist police lowered their heads, swallowing hard, glancing at each other nervously. The feeling of oppression was simply too intense. Thump. An exorcist officer, unable to withstand the pressure, knelt down submissively, pressing his forehead firmly against the ground. Once it started, it spread. The rest of the crowd, unable to bear the aura any longer, knelt before Chen Zhu. Finally, the mighty business tycoon Wu Batong gritted his teeth and knelt down as well. Transport the large coffin from the pit to my manor. Chen Zhu walked toward the crowd, and they quickly knelt and parted to clear a path for him. Chen Zhu strode past and headed toward the exit of the construction site. The people remained kneeling, turning their bodies to see him off. Only after Chen Zhu's figure vanished did they dare to move. They lifted their heads with lingering fear and finally stood up. What just happened? My legs were shaking uncontrollably, and my brain kept telling me to kneel. When Chen Zhu came out of that pit, I only took one look and nearly thought I would committed a grave sin. I will never believe he is mentally ill again. I have never seen him afraid of anything, not even ghosts. He said before that the ghosts in there were his real opponents. Does that mean all the little ghosts before were just child's play? Did you see his real opponent? He finished it with one strike. It was terrifying. Comparing him to the unconscious Joe Aguo on the ground. It was obvious Joe Aguo went down there just to feed the enemy. He was no help and just caused trouble. There is a signal, I have got a signal, someone shouted excitedly. Do we still notify the Soul Suppression Agency? Our chief is unconscious. It is the Eye of Sacrifice, man. How many lives do you have? You would dare not report this to the Soul Suppression Agency. The exorcist police contacted the agency, and Joe Aguo was carried out of the site. After the night's chaos, Wu Batong was badly shaken. His face was deathly pale as he left, needing Wu Xuanqi to support him. Once Chen Zhu left the site, The system-boosted aura faded, and the sudden weight of the dozens of pounds of gear became too much for him, causing him to trip and fall. Fortunately, no one saw him embarrass himself. He took off the armor and ran back to his car to tend to his scraped knee. To ensure Joe Aguo's safety, the officers decided to have Chen Zhu tag along, as he possessed both ghost fighting and healing abilities. Chen Zhu led the way in his car, while Wu Xuanqi drove her father's car, taking the injured man to the hospital. At the hospital, the comatose Joe Aguo was rushed into the emergency room, with 2 officers guarding outside. Chen Zhu and Zhang Yaoyu sat on chairs, Chen Zhu clutching his stomach and acting fidgety. "Master, what is wrong? Do you not feel well either?" Zhang Yaoyu asked nervously, unsure of the level of the ghost in the pit. If negative energy had entered his body, it would not be a laughing matter. "I need to take a dump." After a night of tossing and turning, the food Chen Lu had eaten had long turned into waste. Zhang Yaoyu was speechless. Zhang Yaoyu led Chen Zhu to the restroom entrance. Chen Zhu had a fast metabolism and finished his business in mere seconds. After wiping, Chen Zhu overheard a man in the restroom talking on the phone. "The doctor says it is a fracture, nothing to do with ghosts. Do not worry, she does not have any particular cravings. Braised pork trotters, the doctor said it is fine, she can have some." Chen Zhu, hiding in the stall, licked his lips. The voice on the phone continued, "Rib soup is fine too. Have her drink some soup to build her strength." Chen Zhu swallowed his saliva. "He wanted some too. If you get sick, do you get to eat these things? But what if they give me an injection when I pretend to be sick? A shot for a few bites of food, that does not seem like a good trade." Chen Zhu thought quickly. After careful consideration, he came up with a great plan. After the man left, Chen Zhu stepped out of the restroom. He could not stop swallowing his own saliva. This scene made Zhang Yaoyu feel like Chen Zhu had not gone to the bathroom to poop, but to eat it. Seeing Zhang Yaoyu, Chen Zhu stood up straight, one hand behind his back, the other stroking a non-existent beard. "My disciple, in the fight earlier, I exhausted the true energy within my body. I fear I cannot last much longer." "Did you even fight? Those mummies did not seem to cause you any harm." Spending time with Chen Zhu for the first time, Zhang Yaoyu's brain worked overtime, wondering what kind of scene he was pulling now. "Good disciple, why are not you asking your master how to preserve his true energy?" Zhang Yaoyu was confused. "Then how do you preserve your true energy, master?" "I must be hospitalized." Zhang Yaoyu looked perplexed. Free from the jurisdiction of the psychiatric hospital, Chen Zhu completely took the dominant position. Chen Zhu's situation was completely beyond Zhang Yaoyu's control. The only person who could coax him was lying in the emergency room. She wanted to call the psychiatric hospital for backup, but it was the middle of the night before dawn, and no one dared to drive at this hour. Chen Zhu's eyes were full of expectation. Direbear Bayabo had no choice but to bite the bullet and communicate with the hospital. Under Chen Zhu's pestering and screaming, in order to stabilize his emotions, he was wrapped up like a mummy with gauze according to his request, exposing only his eyes, 2 nostrils, and a mouth. After kicking up a fuss until dawn, Chen Zhu finally stated his purpose. "My true qi is leaking from my body right now. I need to eat braised pig trotters and pork rib soup to deeply nourish your master's body. I need to eat them every day for every meal." Early in the morning, Zhang's parents came to visit Chen Zhu, carrying braised pig trotters and pork rib soup. Chen Zhu ate with absolute delight, smearing the sauce of the braised pig trotters all over the gauze on his body. While Chen Zhu was acting up, Joe Aguo's 3 generations of descendants, over a dozen people in total, rushed to the hospital. After emergency treatment by the doctors, Joe Aguo was technically saved, but his condition was far from optimistic. In the hospital consultation room, the doctor held Joe Aguo's scans and frowned repeatedly. When Chief Joe was brought in, yin energy had entered his body and invaded his organs. His liver, lungs, kidneys, and heart all show obvious signs of failure, and his brain is undergoing pathological changes, the doctor said. "Then hurry up and save him," Joe Aguo's wife said, wiping her tears. The doctor shook his head helplessly. The yin energy has already attacked his internal organs. With our current medical capabilities regarding ghost-related cases, we can only reduce the patient's pain and prolong his life. You family members need to prepare for the worst. Joe Aguo's wife sobbed. He was perfectly fine when he left home. How could he? "Doctor, how much time does my dad have left?" His son asked the question the whole family did not dare to voice. 2 or 3 days, the doctor lowered his head. Ever since ghosts invaded Earth, more and more people had come to the hospital like Chief Joe. Yet as doctors, they could not offer effective treatment plans. After leaving the consultation room, the family members comforted each other in the corridor, crying silently. Although the 3- or 4-year-old grandson did not know why his elders were crying, he shed tears along with them. Round 9 o'clock in the morning, the comatose Joe Aguo woke up in the intensive care unit. His entire body, except for his eyes, could not move. He felt numb below the neck and had no control over his limbs, as if they were not his. Looking at the room full of family members, he vaguely felt that something was wrong. "Grandpa, you are awake." The little grandson who was playing with his toys was the first to notice Joe Aguo waking up. Joe Aguo forced a smile, his mouth so dry it felt like he had just returned from a desert. "Old Joe, you are finally awake. Is there anything you would particularly like to eat?" Joe Aguo's wife held back her grief and smiled. "Joe Aguo, how is my condition?" "With your physique, what could possibly happen? You are like a young lad," Joe Aguo's wife said forcefully. Joe Aguo looked at his sons and daughters-in-law. "Dad, do not think too much. It is just yin energy entering your body and paralyzing your nerves. As long as you take your medicine on time and rest for a couple of days, you will be fine," his son reassured him. Things were definitely not as simple as his family claimed. Having lived with his wife for most of his life, Joe Aguo understood her temper and character well. Every time he got injured on duty, his wife would scold him severely right to his face. If his injury was really as his son said, his wife would definitely have scolded him harshly. There was no way she would speak in such a polite tone. Besides, would a minor injury warrant the whole family coming to see him? Joe Aguo sighed deeply. "You do not need to comfort me. Tell me the truth." The family had prepared for this. His daughter said, "Dad, why would we just comfort you? Rest assured, you are really fine. You will be discharged after a couple of days of rest." "I am a bureau chief after all. I have seen more liars than all of you combined. Tell me the truth." Joe Aguo did not feel like he was going to die. He still had a final lifeline. He had seen with his own eyes how Chen Zhu cured Zhang Yaoyu's breast cancer with a bottle of mineral water. Given that he and Chen Zhu were comrades from the same planet, how could Chen Zhu ignore him and leave him to his fate? Absolutely impossible. Joe Aguo was still quite confident in this. Although Chen Zhu was a psychiatric patient, he was a loyal one. "Good boy, tell Grandpa." The little grandson, holding his toy train, answered obediently. The doctor said the organs in Grandpa's tummy are failing, and he also said you only have a couple of days left. "Grandpa, what does having only a couple of days mean?" The grandson was carried out of the ward by the daughter-in-law. The remaining family members in the room could no longer hold back their grief and shed tears one after another. Where is Chen Zhuo? Faced with his grieving family, Joe Aguo unexpectedly thought of a psychiatric patient. "Dad, you are already like this. Why do you still care about Chen Zhuo?" "I'm just asking you, where is Chen Zhuo?" Joe Aguo asked weakly. "He is also in this hospital, in a regular ward." "Take me to him?" Joe Aguo just wanted to see Chen Zhu as quickly as possible to grab his lifeline without delay. "Dad, that is a regular ward. Your condition requires a sterile environment." His son clearly felt guilty when mentioning a sterile environment. With so many people keeping him company, the sterile environment had long become an incubator for bacteria. No one knows a husband better than his wife. Seeing Joe Aguo so insistent, and facing the fact that he only had a couple of days left, how could a wife not fulfill her husband's final wish? "Transfer your dad to that ward." Under the nurse's arrangement, Joe Aguo's bed was pushed into the regular ward where Chen Zhu was staying. At this time, Chen Zhu was fast asleep, his entire body wrapped in gauze. The braised meat sauce stained on the gauze looked like seeping blood. Facing Chen Zhu covered entirely in gauze, Joe Aguo felt disappointed on one hand and a deep sense of guilt on the other. After sending his grieving relatives away, Joe Aguo lay on his bed and turned his head to look at the unconscious Chen Zhu. Wrapped so tightly, there probably was not a single uninjured spot left on him. Looking at Chen Zhu's condition, it seemed even more severe than his own. Unable to speak for a long time, a tear slipped from the corner of Joe Aguo's eye. "It is all my fault. If I had not dragged you to the construction site, you would probably still be in the psychiatric hospital's courtyard, wearing a bedsheet and acting like a butterfly or contacting headquarters." Joe Aguo felt a sting in his nose. "Look at you, someone who is so afraid of pain. Last time you scraped your nose at the East Bridge, you cried out loud from the pain. Now your whole body is wrapped in gauze with not a single good spot left. Why are not you crying out? It looks like the two of us are really going to be taken back by headquarters. It is my first time going back, so you have to lead the way. You are the bravest warrior on the planet, 001 after all." Tears flowed continuously from the corners of Zhou Aiguo's eyes, as he made a joke that was not funny at all. Chen Zhuo, deep in sleep, felt like there was a pig squealing by his ear. He rolled over and went back to sleep. Zhou Aiguo stared at the ceiling and let out a deep sigh. Sigh, I can say I have lived a contented life. My son and daughter are married and settled, and I have even held my grandchildren. Chen Zhuo was thoroughly woken up by Zhou Aiguo's constant muttering. Blah, 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 will you ever let a person sleep? Chen Zhuo sat up on the bed, his tone filled with annoyance. Teary-eyed, Zhou Aiguo turned his head in a daze. Not dead. The comatose mummy man. The mummy man raging on the bed. Chen Zhuo is alive. Zhou Aiguo's heart began to race with excitement. That means there is still hope for him. His heart felt like it had been on a roller coaster. Just as he had fallen into darkness, a light suddenly appeared, and the appearance of that light signaled heaven. Chen Zhuo, no, I mean Dong Dong Yao, it is so good that you are okay, Zhou Aiguo said excitedly. Chen Zhuo narrowed his sleepy eyes and saw his comrade, Dong Dong Qi, lying on the next bed. Ignoring the tear-streaked face of Dong Dong Qi, he looked at the fruit basket on his bedside table. Apples, bananas, and grapes. That was a close call. My inner energy was leaking, but fortunately I discovered it in time and stopped the leak. Dong Dong Qi, your physical fitness is pathetic. Why did the planet send a loser like you to support me? Chen Zhuo's eyes were fixed on the fruit basket. What is that yellow thing with the little corners? I have never eaten that before. The corners of Zhou Aiguo's mouth twitched. That was too blunt. After all, he is a department director. How could he be insulted with a word like loser? Never mind, staying alive is what matters. Noticing Chen Zhuo staring at his fruit basket, Zhou Aiguo said, colleagues at work sent me a lot of things. My body cannot handle them right now, so you should eat them. Having received permission from the owner, Chen Zhuo, wrapped in bandages, ran off the bed, crudely tore open the basket packaging, grabbed a starfruit, and took a bite. It was sweet and sour. You have to trim the edges off that one, Zhou Biaobao's kindly reminded him. Chen Zhuo took a bite, threw it back into the basket, picked up a banana, peeled it, and tasted a bite. He tasted every single fruit in the basket. Zhou Aiguo was a veteran. Unlike Zhang Yaoyu, he was not flustered by Chen Zhuo. It seemed these bandages on Chen Zhuo were just another masterpiece after his latest antics. Dong Dong Yao, I have more snacks under my bed. You can have them all, Zhou Aiguo offered eagerly. Chen Zhuo, muttering while chewing the fruit, blinked his eyes innocently. All for me. Chen Zhuo was not the type to be polite. Chen Zhuo ransacked everything under Zhou Aiguo's bed, not even sparing the toiletries or the urinal. Seeing Chen Zhuo's happy, messy face, Zhou Aiguo felt the time was right. Dong Dong Yao, you are the bravest warrior on our planet and the pride of our planet. You are the strongest existence on our planet. Zhou Aiguo flattered him according to Chen Zhuo's way of thinking, deliberately using the word we to include them both. Chen Zhuo, who was busy arranging his food, was suddenly touched by something, and a sense of pride welled up inside him. Zhou Aiguo continued, a warrior like me is 100,000 miles behind you. I finally understand why the planet chose to send you to Earth to complete the mission. As for me, I could not even withstand a single move from the enemy. I am too much of a loser. Chen Zhuo stood up and said solemnly, no, every warrior needs to grow. I believe that one day you will also become a warrior like me. Zhou Aiguo sighed deeply. Sigh, I have no feeling in my body anymore. The doctor says I am going to die. The saddened Zhou Aiguo cast a sneaky glance at Chen Zhuo. Those guys in white coats are idiots. How could they understand the advanced medical level of our planet? Do not worry, a small illness like yours is as common as a cold or fever on our planet, Chen Zhuo said with a look of disdain. Then Dong Dong Yao, do you have any good solutions? Chen Zhuo searched through Zhou Aiguo's bag to find paper and a pen, drew flowers and grass on the paper, and tore it into strips. He used his saliva to stick them onto Zhou Aiguo's face. Zhou Aiguo, to stay alive, I will endure this. He stuck a circle of them along Zhou Aiguo's hairline. Mission accomplished. These talismans cost me 100 years of cultivation. You must keep them on for 49 days, and then you will be safe and sound. 49 days. What if they fall off? Zhou Aiguo asked. If they fall off, it just means you are healed. By the way, I need to eat chicken, duck, and fish to make up for the 100 years of cultivation I used on you. Chen Zhuo returned to his hospital bed and contentedly cuddled his fruit while he continued eating. Although Zhou Aiguo was paralyzed, his brain was not. If they fall off when you are healed, what is the point of the 49 days? It must be something Chen Zhuo, this mental patient, just made up to make it rhyme. To think a mental patient has such capability, is it not maddening? Talisman bonus, yin repelling talisman. System bonus, 7-law body protection talisman. Chen Zhuo, you big idiot, stop abusing the talismans. This system is not some cheap street market product. Who is insulting me again? Chen Zhuo turned his head, darting his eyes around. The bandages on his face had lost their original color, covered in fruit juice and pulp. Lying on the hospital bed, the talismans on Zhou Aguo's face flickered with a white light. Wisps of black energy, visible to the naked eye, drifted out from Zhou Aguo's body. Zhou Aguo clearly felt his heavy body becoming lighter, his breathing starting to smooth out, his mind clearing, and his swollen eyes being moistened by a cool stream. He felt refreshed from head to toe. Zhou Aguo controlled his right hand. Although it was still difficult to command his body, he could already feel slight sensations. The soothing sensation faded, and pain began to take its place. This feeling became more and more intense. It started to hurt. It was hurting more and more. His body, which had no sensation before, became filled with pain. Zhou Aguo broke into a cold sweat from the pain. Dong Dong Yao, why does it hurt more and more? I cannot stand this pain anymore, Zhou Aguo asked through gritted teeth. Chen Zhuo sat with his back to Zhou Aguo, not even turning his head. Knowing it hurts means you have feeling again. Do not worry, I will not let you die from the pain. But it is hurting more and more, Zhou Aguo said, his teeth chattering from the agony. Chen Zhuo ignored him from then on. Chen Zhuo only said he would not let him die from pain. He did not say he would not let him feel pain. No, Zhou Aguo felt as if his internal organs were splitting apart. It was beyond his capacity to endure. Zhou Aguo struggled to lift his hand, which had just regained feeling inch by inch. It took him more than 2 minutes to press the call button on the bedside. Family members and medical staff rushed into the ward. I cannot take this pain, give me anesthesia. Do not touch my face, do not move my talismans. I do not want the ventilator, do not move the talismans, get your hands off my face. Zhou Aguo shouted frantically at the medical staff, his voice booming with strength. For the dying patient, the hospital administered a shot of anesthetic to Zhou Aguo out of humanitarianism. No one noticed that the talisman on Zhou Aguo's face flickered. The talisman automatically treated the anesthetic as a source of harm and evaporated it into water vapor. What kind of garbage anesthetic is this? It is completely useless. Hurry up, I am dying of pain. At this moment, Zhou Aguo truly wished he could just die and get it over with. The talisman had protected all of Zhou Aguo's organs, including his brain. No matter how much pain his body was in, he could not pass out. With no other choice, the doctors could only arrange for nurses to wheel Zhou Aguo away for various tests to find the root cause of the anesthetic suppression. This scene was witnessed by the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators, who came to investigate Chen Zhuo. Yin energy has invaded his body. He will not survive. One of the cultivators saw through Zhou Aguo's condition at a glance and said to his companion, "Keep your voice down, do not let his family hear." Seeing a passing nurse, the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators took out their IDs and said, "Soul Suppression Bureau on a case. Which ward is Chen Zhuo in?" Hearing the word Soul Suppression Bureau, the nurse's eyes lit up looking at the two of them. In an era where ghost energy was recovering, the people highly praised were no longer popular young actors on TV, but the great heroes who exorcised ghosts and subdued demons. The Soul Suppression Bureau was a specialized agency targeting ghosts of the malignant spirit level and above. Those who could enter the Soul Suppression Bureau were all exceptionally capable talents. Inside, there were cultivators trained by the government, as well as cultivators stationed there from major sects. The stopped nurse, acting like a little fangirl, shyly pointed in the direction of Chen Zhuo's ward. The two cultivators turned around coolly and walked toward Chen Zhuo's ward. Chen Zhuo stood with his back to the door, hunched over, tearing into a box of bird's nest. The two Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators walked to Chen Zhuo's bedside, and using the same routine as with the nurse, pulled out their IDs. Soul Suppression Bureau on a case. Chen Zhuo turned his head, saw two people in small black suits, with badges bearing the words Soul Suppression Bureau pinned to their chests. "You are Chen Zhuo?" one of the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators asked. The Soul Suppression Bureau was full of talents. Every person who joined the Bureau needed to pass an assessment. Having seen many individuals with extraordinary abilities, they were somewhat dismissive of ordinary ability users. Moreover, Chen Zhuo was a psychiatric patient. Even if he had some skills, the Soul Suppression Bureau would not waste human and material resources on a crazy person. To put it bluntly, a phoenix in a mountain village would just become a pheasant when placed in a flock of phoenixes. Chen Zhuo looked the two of them up and down, left and right. He got out of bed and stood in front of them. A foot wrapped in gauze swept over to their feet. With a hook, he hooked a bag of fruit by their feet under the bed. He even kicked it further inside with his foot. Then Chen Zhu warily returned to his bed and went back to studying the instructions for the bird's nest. The Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators looked at each other in dismay. This was the first time in their careers they had been given the cold shoulder. Soul Suppression Bureau, on a case, please cooperate. Although they used the word please, their tone was commanding. Chen Zhu pointed at the consumption instructions for the bird's nest and read them out word by word. He tossed the instructions aside. Clutching a small spoon, he picked up a small cup of bird's nest, twisted off the cap, and tore open the seal. He took a slurp. He smacked his lips. Smack, smack. It was sweet, a somewhat familiar taste. Sugar water with a slight strange taste. He poured it into his mouth in one gulp, chewed loudly, and swallowed it down into his stomach. After he finished drinking the bird's nest, he noticed the spoon clutched in his hand. He forgot to use the spoon. Never mind, he will just have another cup. Chen Zhu opened another cup of bird's nest. The Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators, ignored in front of the hospital bed, became somewhat irritated. One of the cultivators heavily patted Chen Zhu's shoulder with one hand. When Chen Zhu turned his head to look, he held his ID right in front of Chen Zhu's eyes with his other hand, saying, pausing after each word, Soul Suppression Bureau, on a case, please cooperate. Chen Zhu was holding a spoon in one hand and the bird's nest in the other. His hand holding the bird's nest tilted, and half of it spilled. Chen Zhu quietly drank the remaining half cup of bird's nest. The calm before the storm. After finishing the bird's nest, Chen Zhu snatched the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivator's ID. Rip! He tore it in half down the middle and tossed it behind the two of them. Chen Zhu, the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivator whose ID was torn, became furious. Chen Jai stood up from the hospital bed, looking down from above. He swung a fist over, hitting the cultivator right on the bridge of his nose. Pay for my bird's nest, pay for my bird's nest. Chen Zhu stomped his feet and gritted his teeth. His hands were like wind and fire wheels as he wildly swung his fists at the Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators. The Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators dodged backward, attempting to use spiritual power to subdue Chen Zhu. But every time they gathered their energy, they felt an inexplicable force erupting from Chen Zhu's fists, dispersing the spiritual power they had condensed. Two dignified Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators at the Cleansing Gate realm were actually beaten so badly by Chen Zhu's flurry of wild punches that they could not even lift their heads. Chen Zhu pursued relentlessly, using both hands and feet. Swish swish, in just a few moves, he blasted the two Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators out the door. Their neat black suits were also stamped with several large slipper footprints kicked by Chen Zhu. Chen Zhu heavily slammed the door shut. Not long after, it opened again. He threw out the ID he had torn in half. Outside the door, the two Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators were in a sorry state. A madman, he is an absolute madman. The cultivator who had his nose bloodied by Chen Zhu cursed in fear and anger. Although they were civilian staff of the Soul Suppression Bureau, their strength was not weak. Ordinary resentful ghosts were no match for them at all. But just now, when dealing with Chen Zhu, they discovered that the spiritual power they had cultivated was completely unable to cope with Chen Zhu's wild punches. On the other side of the corridor, Zhang Yaoyu walked over, carrying a lunchbox, humming a tune and full of joy. She had just gotten her breast cancer test results. The doctors could not even believe it. A patient with late-stage breast cancer had been completely cured. It was simply a medical miracle. Arriving outside Chen Zhu's ward, Zhang Yaoyu paused for a moment and glanced at the two of them. She felt strange inside but said nothing, pushing open Chen Zhu's door. Master, time for lunch. Zhang Yaoyu raised the lunchbox in her hand and shook it. Little ball, you are here. Come quick, your master has something delicious here. For the first time in his entire life, Chen Zhu generously shared a cup of bird's nest with Zhang Yaoyu. Thank you, master. My mom made fish soup for you. She simmered it for a long time. Quick, let your master taste it. The two of them got along happily and harmoniously. Through the window on the ward door, the two bruised and battered Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators peered inside. Why was not she blasted out? Are you stupid? Did not you hear her call him master? She is pretty good looking. How could she acknowledge a psycho as her master? How are we going to report back when we return? The higher-ups told us to test this psycho's strength. Sai, let us wait a bit longer. Sai. While Chen Zhu was eating, Zhang Yaoyu walked out carrying a wash basin. The two Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators hurriedly stopped Zhang Yaoyu, who was about to fetch water for Chen Zhu to wash his face. "Hello, we are staff members of the Soul Suppression Bureau. We are here at the request of our superiors to test Chen Zhu's abilities." This was their last chance, and their speech was noticeably much more polite than before. Zhang Yaoyu checked their IDs. One of them was torn in half, and she could figure out with her toes that her master was the one who did it. "Hello," Zhang Yaoyu replied politely. The testing staff pointed at his own head. "Chen Zhu has a problem with his brain. We cannot communicate with him. Could you do us a favor and have Chen Zhu hold this testing stone for a while?" The testing staff opened his palm, revealing a black stone resting on it. Zhang Yaoyu, who had been quite polite initially, instantly became displeased upon hearing the other party say Chen Zhu had a problem with his brain. "You are the ones with a problem with your brains. Is not he a psychiatric patient? You are the psychiatric patients. Your whole family are psychiatric patients." Zhang Yaoyu carried a wash basin to the water room. Master hates it most when people call him a psychiatric patient. Her life was saved by Master, so whoever Master dislikes, she dislikes too. She and Master have to be of one mind. The two Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators looked at each other. "Do not you think this woman might be mentally ill too? I have heard that if you stay with the mentally ill long enough, you will become one yourself. Looks like it is true." "Then what about our mission? Go get the nurses to help." While the two were whispering at the door, Zhou Aiguo was wheeled back after his checkup, biting down on a towel, his whole body dripping with cold sweat. "Change my room. I am in so much pain it is unbearable. It will affect Chen Zhu. Do not disturb Chen Zhu's rest. Hurry up and change my room, hurry up. Be careful, do not touch the charms on my face." Zhou Aiguo's hospital bed was pushed away, his voice fading into the distance. In the hospital conference room, a team of experts specializing in ghost-related cases was holding an emergency meeting. Displayed on the projector were the two medical scans of Zhou Aiguo. Zhou Aiguo's attending physician pointed to the first scan. This was taken when the patient was first admitted. Large amounts of yin energy could be detected in all his organs, and they were undergoing uncontrollable, rapid failure. When he arrived, most of the nerves in his body were necrotic. Now look at the second one, the results just taken. As shown, a protective layer has appeared around all his organs, and his nerves have begun self-repairing, which is why the patient can now feel physical pain. The anesthetics we injected into the patient were also rejected by this protective layer, which is why we could not anesthetize him. Normally, under such intense pain, the patient would have long since fallen into a coma, but because of the protective layer, the patient's brain remains incredibly clear. At the same time, the organs in the patient's body are being repaired by this layer. At this rate, within 4 days, the patient's physical condition will not only be cured, but his organ functions will be no different from those of a man in his 20s. Did the patient develop some kind of rare self-protection mechanism? The dean asked. The attending physician shook his head. This has nothing to do with the patient himself. The attending physician pulled up a photo of Zhou Aiguo with his face covered in paper strips. According to the patient, it has to do with the strips on his face, but he refuses to let our medical staff examine them. How is that possible? A strip of paper can cure an illness. The attending physician found Zhang Yaoyu's medical report. This patient was diagnosed with late-stage breast cancer here a few days ago. A day later, she came back, and the results showed early to mid-stage. Today, a new result came in. She is completely cured. The more they talked, the less the others could understand. The attending physician continued. Both patients are from the exorcism police station, and the main reason for their recovery is one person. Who? Asked the experts in the room. Chen Zhu, a patient from Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital. He is currently hospitalized here. The dean knows about this. Chen Zhu insisted on being admitted last night, and the dean gave special approval. The dean nodded and added, "That is right. Chen Zhu is very likely our hospital's breakthrough for ghost-related cases. Let us see if we can emulate his methods to treat other patients infiltrated by yin energy." Dean, that is easier said than done. He is a psychiatric patient. How are we supposed to communicate with him? Exactly, Dean. He does not have to be responsible for what he says, but we have to be responsible for our actions. The dean waved his hand. "Do not worry, I have already contacted the director of Kingshan Psychiatric Hospital. He is on his way and will help us approach Chen Zhu." In the ward, Chen Zhu was holding a bowl of fish soup, drinking it in big gulps. Lately, his standard of living had seen a qualitative leap. Zhang Yaoyu fetched a basin of water and placed it beside the bed. "Master, is your internal energy still leaking?" Chen Zhu had a fish bone in his mouth. "It is not leaking now. In a while, I will take care of this troublesome stuff. Before you arrived, I transferred 100 years of internal energy to Dong." To your boss, so I still need nourishment. It was obviously just because he did not want to part with his food, but only Chen Zhuo could come up with such an excuse. Okay, Zhang Yaoyu pretended not to notice. Due to the host's mental impairment, the system is reclaiming the general's armor and sword, and will provide them whenever the host requires them. Chen Zhuo was already used to the system's presence. At this reminder, he did indeed forget where he had left his armor. Speaking of armor, he felt like he had forgotten something else. Has my big coffin been taken home yet? Chen Zhuo remembered the bronze coffin from the construction site yesterday. That was a great treasure for absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. He had been leaking internal energy lately. If he did not practice to get it back, no amount of power would be enough for him to give away like this. Zhang Yaoyu hesitated, not knowing how to bring it up. The Eye of Sacrifice was no small matter. The Exorcism police station had already contacted the Soul Suppression Bureau. Once the Soul Suppression Bureau people arrived, there was no room for the police station to say anything. Those coffins would definitely be confiscated by the Bureau. Little Kyukyu, has my big coffin been taken home? Master, please do not get angry when I tell you, Zhang Yaoyu said, sounding worried. I will listen first. Your big coffin may have been taken by the Soul Suppression Bureau. Soul Suppression Bureau, those two idiots from earlier. There are many people in the Soul Suppression Bureau, just like in the Exorcism police station. Those two were just two among many, Zhang Yaoyu explained. The treasure that helped him cultivate was taken by those idiots from the Soul Suppression Bureau. That is daylight robbery. That was a trophy he had won himself. He was counting on that big coffin to boost his internal energy. How unreasonable. This is intolerable. Chen Zhuo punched the bed. He had to get his things back. With Zhang Yaoyu's help, he pulled off the bandages and washed his face clean. Before he could leave the room, Li Qingshan, the director of Qingshan Psychiatric Hospital, walked in carrying various snacks and fruits. Behind him followed a group of doctors in white coats, including Chen Zhuo's attending physician Ah Yuan, as well as the director and doctors from Jinhai Hospital. Chen Zhuo, you have a home to go back to but choose to be hospitalized here instead. Is this place better than ours? Li Qingshan said with a smile. Like everyone who knew Chen Zhuo, he knew that as long as you had something for him, Chen Zhuo would be happy. Chen Zhuo had been looking at the director's face for over 20 years. He was more than familiar with it. But what was the meaning of the director bringing that monkey Ah Yuan along? In Chen Zhuo's eyes, that monkey Ah Yuan must have found out about his internal energy leak and came to ambush him. Monkey Ah Yuan, you despicable little brat, are you here to ambush me while my energy is leaking? Chen Zhuo was like a rooster with ruffled feathers, standing there baring his fangs and brandishing his claws, striking a posture ready to attack at any moment. Despicable child, cruel-hearted bastard with no martial ethics, you shameless junior. Dr. A. Yuan was already used to Chen Zhuo's cursing. In the entire mental hospital, who had not seen Chen Zhuo stomping his feet and cursing at him? During the worst period, he would wait at the hospital entrance for him to come to work in the morning and curse him all the way until he got off work. Prevent Chen Zhuo from getting too agitated, Li Qingshan signaled a Yuan with his eyes to go out first. Yuan deliberately took a few glances at Chen Zhuo and walked out in silence. In Chen Zhuo's eyes, not saying a word meant he had chickened out. Chen Zhuo was not the type to know when to stop. Now that the monkey Yuan had chickened out, he became even more smug. Come on, you despicable, shameless, lowly scum. Do you really think I cannot beat you just because my true energy is leaking? Even two monkey Yuans are no match for me, you little weakling. Chen Zhuo gave the middle finger to the door. Dr. A. Yuan stood at the door with his hands in his pockets, standing together with two bruised and swollen Soul-Quelling Division cultivators. The two Soul-Quelling Division cultivators glanced at a Yuan and inexplicably felt a bit of comfort. This guy is also a victim. Chen Zhuo cursed for a long time before his emotions settled down, and he sat on the edge of the bed, puffing with anger. Only then did Li Qingshan step forward to comfort him. Chen Zhuo, stop being angry. Getting mad over a Yuan just is not worth it. Li Qingshan placed the things he bought by Chen Zhuo's feet. Chen Zhuo's little face turned pale. Li Qingshan shot a glance at the director of Jinhai Hospital. The director of Jinhai Hospital stepped forward with a smile, placed the gifts by Chen Zhuo's feet, and humbly introduced himself. Hello, Chen Zhuo. My name is Sun Tong. You can call me Director Sun. I was the one who got you the ward last night, do you remember? Chen Zhuo's eyes rolled over the chubby director Sun Tong, but he remained silent. The doctors who came along all followed the director's example, placing their items by Chen Zhuo's feet with awkward smiles. Everyone was hoping in their hearts, hoping that Chen Zhuo would not reject them. According to what Director Qingshan said, Once a mental patient rejects someone at first sight, no matter how you try to approach him, his subjective mind will view you as an enemy. Dr. A Yuan was the perfect example. A few quiet seconds passed. Chen Zhuo sized up the things in the bags. A weasel paying a New Year's visit to a chicken. They probably harbor no good intentions. Director Kingshan saw through Chen Zhuo's hesitation and adopted the same approach as Zhou Aguo, flattery. Now everyone knows you are a great hero, and they all want to be friends with you. Chen Zhuo still maintained his vigilance. He took a step back, staring fixedly at the unfamiliar faces. He could not just throw away his little life for a few bites of food. He was the planet's most glorious warrior, the hope of the planet. Outside the ward, a wheelchair was pushed in. On the wheelchair was a 5- or 6-year-old child, bald with a chubby little face and faint dark circles around the eyes, wearing a hospital gown, making it hard to tell the gender. This little girl was a specially selected patient. Firstly, a child could dispel Chen Zhuo's misgivings. Secondly, deep down, humans are defenseless against cute things. Sensing Chen Zhuo's xenophobic mentality, Director Sun did not let the child's family in. He pushed the wheelchair himself and came in front of Chen Zhuo. "Hello, big brother," the child called out sweetly. Judging from the voice, it was definitely a little girl. Chen Zhuo's brain raced, completely unable to figure out what their game plan was. Director Kingshan introduced, "Chen Zhuo, this little girl is Kian. Yin energy has invaded her body. We would like to ask you to help her. Look, she is only 6. So all this big fuss was just to ask him for a favor." In that case, it made sense. If they wanted his help, they definitely had to suck up to him. These things were used to flatter him. Chen Zhuo's tense body relaxed. He stuffed all the things the crowd had brought under his bed. "Big brother, can you help me?" The little girl named Sue blinked her eyes innocently. System notification popped up stating that yin energy had invaded the body. The leg nerves were dead, and the yin energy was slowly spreading. Chen Zhuo picked his ear, hesitating. He had already spent a lot of his skill power to help 007, and he did not want to waste any more power helping a human cub. The little girl thought Chen Zhuo could not help her and felt guilty. Since being hospitalized, she had seen too many looks like that. The little girl held one of Chen Zhuo's fingers and comforted him sensibly. "It is okay, big brother. Kian is just too sick. I do not blame you." Damn human cub. Is she questioning his abilities? Strained. Faced with such doubt, he surprisingly was not angry at all. He even wanted to pinch the human cub's little cheeks. Chen Zhuo shifted his gaze to the adults, those foolish humans full of bad intentions. Looking back at the little girl in the wheelchair, he surprisingly did not really want to disappoint her. The little girl reached out and opened her small palm. On her palm was a candy in a transparent wrapper. "Big brother, I will give you my candy, and then we will be friends." Yo! Chen Zhuo started jumping around on the spot, scratching his hair. How could he feel pity for a human cub? As a qualified planetary warrior, he should not sympathize with the enemy. Chen Zhuo dodged the little girl's eyes, occasionally taking a secret peek. "It is over." He compromised. All right, I will help you." Chen Zhuo took the candy from the little girl's hand and held it in his palm. Chen Zhuo stared at his clenched fist. He was going to exert his power. His fist started trembling slightly. The system cursed, "Chen Zhuo, you huge idiot, when are you going to cure your own mental illness?" The system announced it was improving the candy's ingredients, turning it into a turtle lingering pill. After the trembling, Chen Zhuo opened his palm. The transparent candy had turned blood red. Rip! He tore open the wrapper and threw it into his own mouth. Crunch, crunch. The system was speechless, stammering that it was supposed to be for the little girl to eat. Chen Zhuo reached out and patted the little girl on the head a few times. "Done, you can go now." The system cried out for someone to save it, while proceeding to repair the little girl's necrotic nerves and dispel the yin energy from her body. The system felt completely done with life. The little girl fell silent in confusion. The people present were all left speechless and confused. Chen Zhuo took an interest in the wheelchair under the little girl. "Can you give this to me?" "Big brother, I..." Before the little girl could even finish her sentence, Chen Zhuo grabbed her clothes and yanked her to the side. Everyone was caught off guard. The little girl stumbled and almost fell to the ground, but luckily she grabbed hold of the bed. The little girl seemed to sense something. From the top of her head where the big brother had touched, a stream of warm gas was coursing through her whole body. It moved very fast, and when it reached her legs, they started to itch. In the eyes of the others, the little girl was holding onto the bed, but her legs were strongly supporting her body. The examination results clearly showed that her legs were dead. Let alone supporting her, she should not have had any feeling in them at all. How is this possible? She was cured just like that. Chen Zhu clearly did not do anything. All the doctors present, even though they saw it with their own eyes, could not believe it. This was an absolutely impossible occurrence. The little girl held onto the bed and took a few tentative steps. Her legs felt weak, but she was definitely able to walk. Big brother Kainqian can walk now. The little girl was so happy, her innocent, large eyes blinking as she looked at Chen Zhu. Chen Zhu felt an inexplicable sense of happiness. He sat in his wheelchair, fiddling with its parts, and waved his hand dismissively. Then, once you walk out, do not come back. The little girl froze, and the dean signaled for her to leave first. With the doctor's help, the little girl slowly made her way out of the ward. Chen Zhu noticed that although the task was done, the others had not left yet. You do not want to take back the gifts you gave me, do you? Chen Zhu instinctively shielded his things. Dean's son had originally brought the doctors to secretly learn his craft. Logically, the little girl's condition was the same as Zhou Aguo's, caused by evil energy entering the body, so the treatment methods should be similar. But who would have thought he did not even draw a talisman or go through any treatment process at all? They did not even see how he did it, let alone learn a trick or two. The dean of Jinhai Hospital whispered to the doctor beside him, "Quick, go and bring another patient over." The doctor hurriedly left Chen Zhu's ward. Not long after, the doctor pushed in a hospital bed, with the family members standing outside the door, carrying gifts they had bought on the fly. This time, the dean got smart and specifically brought paper and pens, so that Chen Zhu's treatment process would leave a trail. As they wished, Chen Zhu drew a little dog on the paper and stuck it onto the patient's forehead. Throughout the afternoon, patients kept coming in and out. A group of professional doctors stood by and watched, even pulling out their phones to record. Every talisman aiming's Cheng drew was so casual, and everyone was different. The Jinhai Hospital doctors whispered to each other. "Did you understand any of that?" "I did not understand a damn thing. The paper is ours, the pen is ours, he just drew a few lines and it works. There is just no helping it." After treating over a dozen patients in a row, Chen Zhu lost interest. Once the excitement wore off, he did not want to do it anymore. Dean's son was truly at a loss. He could not learn the skill, and after watching for so long, he had nothing to show for it. Some opportunities, once lost, never return. Chen Zhu staying at Jinhai Hospital was just a whim, and perhaps by tonight he would be back at Kingshan's psychiatric hospital. Dean's son could not watch such a great opportunity slip through his fingers. Judging by the way Chen Zhu spoke and acted, he was not a complicated person. Time to try being straightforward. "Mr. Chen, our hospital has many patients like this. We know your time is precious, and we dare not waste it, but I have a request. I'm not sure how you feel about it." Dean's son used a respectful form of address, showing that Chen Zhu's abilities had completely conquered him. "What is it?" "We have all witnessed the power of the talismans you drew. Even the dead can be pulled back from the gates of hell. Would you consider teaching us a trick or two?" Chen Zhu looked at them with a disdainful expression. "These talismans contain my 10,000-year cultivation power. Even if you practiced for 100 or 1,000 years, you would never reach my level." Dean's son adopted a fawning attitude. Of course, we know that. If you could just teach us a little bit of the basics, it would also save you the trouble of dealing with patients with minor illnesses." Chen Zhu pondered for a moment. "That actually sounds like it makes sense. But why should he teach them his skills?" Chen Zhu rubbed his fingers toward the group. Dean's son was confused. Director Kingshan lowered his head and adjusted his glasses. Money. Wait, did not they already give him gifts? One thing is one thing, another is another. He calculates better than we do, the Kingshan dean explained. God knows why a psychiatric patient who does not need to spend money would want so much of it. Dean's son took out his wallet, and Chen Zhu craned his neck to get a look. He took out 100 and handed it to Chen Zhu. "What else? You have not emptied it." "Empty it?" Dean's son looked at his wallet. There was over 1,000 yuan in there. Chen Zhu did not argue or fight. He just held out his hand in front of the dean. Gritting his teeth, Dean's son gave all the money in his wallet to Chen Zhu. Every doctor present had their wallet cleaned out by Chen Zhu without exception. Chen Zhu turned his back to the crowd and rummaged through his light clothing. System warning, system cultivation techniques cannot be traded. System gift, Ghost Repelling Talisman Manual Basic Edition. In Chen Zhu's hand, a page of yellowed grass paper was displayed before everyone. The talismans and text on it were not products of modern printing, but a page with a real sense of age. Dean Sun received the talisman with both hands, treating it like a treasure. The grass paper had a front and back. The front was a talisman template with annotations for every component, and the back was covered in dense text. However, the characters were neat, but they were impossible to understand. "Mr. Chen, what is written on this?" Dean Sun asked cautiously. Chen Zhuo pointed at the largest characters. Zhuo-style ghost-repelling talisman manual basic edition, Ghost Cave script. So stupid. Ghost and Ghost Cave script. Is not that the script of the Ghost Realm? Ghost Cave script is forbidden by the Soul Suppression Bureau for ordinary people to learn. The terrifying thing about it is that it can capture human souls. At best it leads to insanity, at worst it attracts evil ghosts, resulting in the death of one's whole family. Many rogue cultivators, in order to understand the Ghost Realm, tried to learn Ghost Cave script, but because their willpower was not strong enough, they went insane and died. What Chen Zhuo gave them was essentially a hot potato. Who would dare risk their life for it? I told you could not do it, but you would not believe me. If you cannot learn it, give it back. I am not returning the money. It is because you are not good enough. Chen Zhuo reached out to take the page back. Dean Sun hurriedly held it to his chest. We will learn, we will learn. After some polite exchanges, Dean Sun led the doctors out of the ward. Su Hong, exhausted from the commotion, lay on the bed, happily eating snacks. Dean Sun and the others returned to the conference room. The dean held up the Zhuo-style ghost-repelling talisman manual basic edition he had gotten from Chen Zhuo. You have obtained the template for the talisman. As for the Ghost Cave script, to ensure the safety of translation, I will communicate directly with people from the Soul Suppression Bureau. They will send people to assist us in translating this document. Our hospital will form a research group. Participation is voluntary, and I hope you communicate with your families before signing up. Secondly, there is another very important point. The Zhuo-style ghost-repelling talisman manual cannot be made public. This document is very likely to be our breakthrough for ghost-related cases. We know its importance, the ghosts know it, and evil cultivators know it too. For the sake of the document's safety and our own, I do not want this spread around until it is officially deciphered. Dean, I have a brother, so I volunteer. Dean, I will join too. I'm old enough, my children are all adults, count me in. The doctors present spoke up one after another. Over the past year, they had seen too many cases of patients possessed by evil energy who eventually died. That sense of powerlessness had deeply tortured everyone, and now that they finally saw hope in dealing with evil energy, no one wanted to miss out. Besides, if they could decipher this document, the risk would be matched by the glory. In the industry, no hospital had yet conquered the challenge of ghost possession, and they would be the pioneers. Outside Chen Zhuo's ward, 2 Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators had watched the whole spectacle. The dean of a provincial top-tier hospital and the lead physicians personally carrying gifts to visit a mental patient. Although they did not know what they talked about, the lineup was truly terrifying. So the 2 Soul Suppression Bureau cultivators looked at each other, as if seeing each other's resolve. 20 minutes later, they also brought 2 bags of gifts to the door of Chen Zhuo's ward. Peering through the glass on the door, 2 faces secretly watched Chen Zhuo inside as he ate a banana. He cannot be holding a grudge, right? We did not do anything. What would he hold a grudge about? Then you go in first. I went in first last time. It is your turn now. No way, let us play rock, paper, scissors. Whoever loses goes first. Rock, paper, scissors.